The Liu family's supposedly ugly daughter was holding a bridal ball ceremony to choose a husband, yet no one dared to catch it because of her looks. Just then Wang Tung, who had just transmigrated, was so hungry that his vision blurred. A red bridal ball suddenly fell from the sky and hit him squarely on the head. Dear neighbors, today is the day my daughter Liu Yinxi will choose a groom by throwing the bridal ball. Any adult man over 16 and unmarried may compete for it. On the ceremonial tower, Liu Guan, the head of the Liu family, announced in a full, resonant voice with his hands clasped behind his back. Beside him stood a slender lady in a white veil. The woman was none other than Liu Yinxi, dressed in a white glazed silk gown, her figure graceful and her bearing elegant, holding a red bridal ball in her hand. Because of her white veil, her face could not be clearly seen. One would think a lady from a noble family could not be too plain. Yet the crowd below the tower was full of gossip about her appearance. Liu Yinxi is a famously ugly girl far and wide. What man would want to marry an ugly woman and bring her home? Exactly. At 20 she still hasn't married. That's why Patriarch Liu is desperate enough to hold this bridal ball ceremony. I've heard Miss Liu was born ugly with birthmarks covering her face. She'd frighten anyone to death. Who would dare marry her? Liu Guan listened to the crowd's mean remarks about his daughter below the tower and frowned. His daughter Liu Yinxi had remained unmarried because of her looks. With only 3 months until she turned 20, if she still had no husband, the Liu family would have to pay extra taxes. Under the laws of Great Xia martial dynasty, if a woman remained unmarried past 20, her family had to pay an additional 10% tax. That was exactly why Liu Guan had arranged today's ceremony. He had no other choice. Liu Yinxi understood her father's hardship and thus agreed to his plan. Now holding the bridal ball behind her white veil, Liu Yinxi also heard the crowd's gossip. A faint trace of disappointment and grievance shimmered in her watery eyes. Only because of the birthmarks covering her face had she been labeled an ugly girl all her life. Since childhood, she had been pointed at and whispered about until she was afraid to even step outside. Her father Liu Guan seemed to notice her low spirits. He walked over and hugged her in silent comfort, then said helplessly, "Yinxi, it's time. Throw the bridal ball." Liu Yinxi nodded obediently, moved gracefully to the edge of the tower, and looked at the crowd below who were mocking her. For a moment, she had no idea where to throw it. She did not know any of the men below, nor did she like any of them. But fate pressed down on her, and she had no choice but to bow her head. Then Liu Yinxi closed her eyes and tossed the red bridal ball down, leaving everything to fate. At the same time, on a street directly opposite the tower, a ragged beggar was staggering toward it. Wang Tung, newly transmigrated, was so hungry that his limbs felt weak and his steps unsteady. Where am I? Wasn't I just sleeping through a class? Why did everything change when I woke up? Wang Tung patted his heavy head. His memories felt chaotic, full of strange new recollections that also seemed strangely familiar. After sorting through the memories for a while, Wang Tung finally understood why he was here. I actually transmigrated, and it seems I've ended up in the body of a crown prince. But this prince was crippled by his own imperial brother and hunted for over half a year. What a miserable fate. Wang Tung quickly pieced together the truth. His new body was Noble, the crown prince of the Great Xia martial dynasty. Because of the struggle for the throne, his imperial brother had sent assassins after him, and a master had broken his cultivation. For over half a year he lived in hiding, never safe for a single day, which left him looking as miserable as a beggar. Just a moment ago, while fighting a dog for food, this man was knocked over by the dog and hit his head on a stone, and that was how he died. And so Wang Tung crossed over and took over the body. Killed by a dog. Perhaps this was the most tragic crown prince in history. But although Wang Tung had seized the body, he was still starving. If he didn't get food soon, he might die here too. So hungry. Wang Tung staggered forward, his only thought to fill his stomach. At that moment, if anyone offered him a bite to eat, he would immediately kneel and call them father. He would even call them grandfather. Through his days, Wang Tung saw a crowd gathered nearby and went over to beg for food. Below the tower, Liu Yinxi's bridal ball was passed from person to person, but no one was willing to catch it. Wang Matzi, you don't have a wife yet, do you? This bridal ball is for you. A meddlesome man laughed, tossing the ball he had just caught to a young pockmarked man. I don't want to marry an ugly woman. I'd be scared to death sleeping at night. Wang Matzi knocked the bridal ball away with one hand. The ball happened to land on a middle-aged man nearby. Uncle, since the ball has fallen into your hands, you should marry Miss Liu. You're over 40. A wife for free, what a deal. Someone else in the crowd jeered. I'm just here to watch the fun. Don't push an ugly woman on me. With that, the middle-aged man threw the bridal ball out of his arms again. The man was already 40 and desperately poor. Of finding any wife at all would have been a blessing. Yet even he was unwilling to marry Liu Yinxi. Everyone pushed it and tossed it away, turning the entire bridal ball ceremony into a game. They were happy to play, but no one would catch the ball. The sight made Liu Guan on the tower anxious. Whenever the ball landed on a young distinguished man, he desperately wished the man would just catch it and keep it. But when it landed on ruffians or down-and-out men, he wished someone would snatch it away at once. Liu Guan truly exhausted himself worrying about his daughter's marriage. Liu Yinchi herself, in contrast, had gone numb. Those men had no intention of marrying her. They were simply playing with the ball. At that moment, a ragged beggar stumbled into the crowd. As luck would have it, the bridal ball was deliberately flung away again and hit the beggar squarely on the head, leaving him dizzy. Who threw that at me? I'm just here to beg for food. Why hit me? Wang Tung cursed inwardly. But the next second, an ethereal voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Ding. Congratulations, host, you have successfully bound to the God King system. The first mission is triggered. Option 1, catch Liu Yinchi's bridal ball. Reward 1 spirit chicken leg. Option 2, throw the bridal ball away. Reward the sunflower scripture. Wang Tung was stunned. It seemed he had triggered some kind of system, and catching the ball would reward him with a chicken leg. At the mention of food, Wang Tang's eyes lit up. Forget everything else. He had to fill his stomach first. Wang Ting looked around on the ground, soon spotted the red bridal ball that had hit him, and clutched it tightly. Anyone who tried to take it from him would face his fury. Below the pavilion, the group of men saw someone had caught the embroidered ball and curiously gathered around. They had originally intended to snatch the embroidered ball for a bit of fun, but when they saw the catcher was a beggar in tattered clothes with a dirty face and a pungent stench, they hesitated. Without thinking, everyone instinctively took a step backward. It stinks. This is a beggar. Wang Mozi covered his nose and retreated several steps. The others also kept their distance from Wang Tung, fearful of being overcome by the odor. The embroidered ball was caught by a beggar. The middle-aged man suddenly exclaimed loudly. The moment these words fell, everyone burst into laughter. Haha, a beggar caught the embroidered ball. Haha, the Liu family's son-in-law is a beggar. An ugly woman paired with a beggar. They're a perfect match. Everyone laughed heartily, but on the pavilion above, Liu Guan's face twisted with rage as he watched the scene unfold. He never imagined a filthy beggar would snatch the embroidered ball meant for his daughter. Someone bring that beggar in here, Liu Guan said sternly with a frown. He had initially wanted to declare the embroidered ball matchmaking event void on the spot, but after consideration, he worried it would damage the Liu family's reputation, so he ordered the beggar to be brought in. Later, he could quietly get rid of the beggar, which wouldn't affect the Liu family's reputation. Clearly, Liu Guan had no regard for this beggar. Meanwhile, Liu Yinchi's eyes darkened slightly as she saw her embroidered ball snatched by a filthy beggar. It seemed this was heaven's will. Yinchi, you needn't be upset. I'll bring this beggar in and persuade him, properly offer him some compensation, and have him leave on his own. Father will find you a better husband. Liu Guan had already planned ahead to give the beggar some compensation and let him leave voluntarily, ensuring the Liu family's reputation remained intact. However, Liu Yinchi seemed to have accepted her fate. Father, since my embroidered ball was taken by him, then he is my husband. This is heaven's will. I don't wish to struggle against it anymore. After speaking these words, Liu Yinchi withdrew with a sorrowful expression. Hearing this, Liu Guan sighed inwardly, yet he remained unwilling to accept letting his daughter marry such a filthy beggar. At this moment, Wang Tung guarded the embroidered ball, warily watching those around him. Whoever dared to come after his ball, he would fight to the death. Fortunately, no one approached to snatch it. Instead, they all kept their distance. This relieved Wang Tung somewhat. Ding, congratulations to the host for completing the choice. A reward of immortal spirit chicken leg has been deposited into the system space. Hearing this voice, Wang Tung was secretly pleased. Finally, he could eat chicken leg. However, just as he was about to take out the immortal spirit chicken leg to satisfy his hunger, 2 servants walked toward him. Hey beggar, our master requests your presence. Come with us. Although the 2 servants claimed they were inviting him, their faces showed clear disdain and contempt. Both pinched their noses, clearly overwhelmed by the stench coming from Wang Tung. Who is your master? Why are you inviting me over? Wang Tung was still thinking about eating the chicken leg to fill his stomach. You snatched our Mrs. Embroidered ball. What do you think? Why would we invite you over? One of the servants said discontentedly in a loud voice. Hearing this, Wang Tung looked down at the red embroidered ball in his hand, his heart skipping a beat. I snatched the embroidered ball. Does this mean I'm going to get a wife? Wang Tung never expected that after being single his entire life for 20 years, on the very first day of transmigration, he would be ending his single status. Moreover, it appeared the other party seemed to be from a wealthy and prominent family. Does this mean I'll be living off a woman's wealth? If so, I would never have to go hungry again. Alright then, let's go take a look. Wang Tung immediately agreed, while his heart was already filled with anticipation for this wife who had come to him. A young lady from a wealthy family. She must be quite pretty, no doubt about it. This turn of events was an incredible windfall. From now on, he wouldn't need to beg for food anymore, and he had even resolved the most important matter in his life. A brilliant solution that served 2 purposes. He was utterly delighted. Wang Tung followed the 2 servants all the way to a side hall in the Liu residence. Originally, when a son-in-law visited for the first time, he should have been received in the main hall. But Liu Guan did not want to acknowledge this son-in-law, so he arranged to meet him in a remote room instead. Liu Guan gazed at this beggar clad in tattered, filthy clothes with a pungent stench, his brows deeply furrowed. A man like this was inferior to any hooligan or ruffian in the city. He never would have imagined that throwing the embroidered ball would result in attracting the most worthless man. No matter how he looked at it, it irked him, regretting the embroidered ball matchmaking event altogether. However, Liu Guan still held onto a shred of hope. Their Liu family rose to prominence through martial arts. Being a beggar didn't matter, coming from a poor background wasn't an issue. But if this person possessed exceptional talent for martial cultivation, he could barely accept this beggar as a son-in-law. With this thought in mind, Liu Guan stepped forward, seized Wang Tung's arm, and rapidly pressed along various acupoints and meridians throughout his body. Finally, he sighed in despair. This beggar not only had a terrible background and status, but even his meridians for martial cultivation were severed. He was truly the worst of the useless. The original owner of this body Wang Tung had possessed was the crown prince. Although his talent for martial arts was merely average, his cultivation was still quite formidable. He had only been crippled by a powerful expert from his imperial brother's side, which is what turned him into this worthless state. Liu Guan had already made up his mind to get rid of this beggar. Keeping such a waste in the mansion was not only a waste of food, but more critically would invite ridicule from others. "What is your name?" Liu Guan asked sternly, planning to give the beggar some coins to send him away. Wang Tung did not answer. At this moment he was starving to the point of weakness, his limbs utterly powerless. Although the system had rewarded him with an immortal spirit chicken leg, he felt that taking it out from the system space in front of so many people would frighten them. So after a moment's thought he said, "Could I have something to eat to fill my stomach first, and then I'll answer your questions?" This remark drew snickers from everyone present. Truly a beggar, all he could think about was food. "Take him down first to have a meal, and take a bath. The smell on him is unbearable." Liu Guan covered his nose and waved dismissively at Wang Tung, for the stench was truly unbearable. This also strengthened his determination to get rid of Wang Tung. It was hardly Wang Tung's fault. The previous owner of this body, in order to evade pursuit, had often slept in dog kennels and crawled into chicken coops, so it was no surprise he smelled so bad. Soon Wang Tung was led to an empty room. The Liu family servants prepared a table laden with sumptuous dishes alongside a large wooden bathtub and a set of clean clothes. After preparing these things, they withdrew. Wang Tung gazed at the table full of delectable dishes, his eyes gleaming. Finally, there was food. But just as he picked up his chopsticks, he suddenly recalled the system had rewarded him with an immortal spirit chicken leg. Immortal spirit chicken leg. The name alone sounds wonderful. I'll eat the system's rewarded chicken leg first. After locking the door behind him, Wang Tung cautiously retrieved the immortal spirit chicken leg from the system space. The immortal spirit chicken leg appeared golden and glistening with oil, looking extremely appetizing, and it emitted a fragrant aroma. Most importantly, this chicken leg was infused with rich spiritual energy. The chicken leg gifted by the system was indeed extraordinary. It looked simply irresistible. As these thoughts crossed his mind, Wang Tung took large hearty bites. This immortal spirit chicken leg could not be found in the mortal realm. It was an item of immortals and spirits. After the chicken leg entered his stomach, Wang Tung felt warmth spreading through his body. His previously exhausted form instantly regained its strength, which filled him with excitement. How miraculous! Just one bite, and my body instantly recovered its strength. What would happen if I finished the entire chicken leg? Thinking of this, Wang Tung continued to devour the immortal spirit chicken leg. In no time at all, the immortal spirit chicken leg was consumed. Wang Tung felt a profound warmth and comfort coursing through his entire body. Most crucially, the severed meridians in his body were reconnecting at a visibly rapid pace. This filled Wang Tung with secret delight. This is wonderful. The severed meridians have been reconnected, and I can cultivate again from now on. Furthermore, Wang Tung discovered that after consuming this immortal spirit chicken leg, his physical body had undergone purification and transformation, with black impurities seeping from his pores. Clearly his body had become much purer, and his talent for cultivation had been greatly enhanced. In the future, his cultivation speed would be tens of times faster. He never expected the immortal spirit chicken leg rewarded by the system to be so effective. Not only had it reconnected his meridians, but it had also purged his marrow and bones, enhancing his physical constitution. After expressing his astonishment, Wang Tung also noticed the stench on his own body. "However, I need to take a bath quickly. The smell is unbearable." Wang Tung was beginning to despise the odor on his own person, so he promptly stripped off all his clothes and slowly stepped into the wooden bathtub to cleanse himself. After a thorough washing, Wang Tung had cleaned off all the grime and stench from his body and had changed into a set of clean garments. After this cleansing, Wang Tung was completely transformed into a different person. Standing before the mirror, Wang Tung could hardly believe it. A man so radiant and handsome was actually him. Good heavens, this is too handsome. As expected of a crown prince, the genetics are superb. With such an exquisite appearance, wouldn't he captivate countless young ladies? Wang Tung felt he might just die from his own handsomeness. In the past, he had also considered himself quite handsome, but compared to this body, his previous appearance was mere pale imitation next to true brilliance. In truth, the reason this body could become so handsome was greatly attributable to the immortal spirit chicken leg. After purging the marrow and bones, all impurities from the physical body had been expelled, naturally rendering this physique more flawless and perfect. Wang Tung had only indulged in his narcissism for a moment when someone knocked on the door from outside with a servant shouting loudly, "Hey, smelly beggar, are you done eating and bathing? The master and miss are requesting your presence." "Coming," Wang Tung responded and opened the door to walk out. Upon seeing a remarkably handsome gentleman emerging from the room, the servant was instantly struck dumb with astonishment. "Where is that smelly beggar?" As the servant spoke, he also glanced back into the room. "I am that beggar," Wang Tung replied casually. "You are that beggar." The servant scrutinized Wang Tung from head to toe in disbelief, momentarily stunned on the spot. How could this be a beggar? He was clearly a dashing young man, completely different from the filthy beggar seen earlier. "Why are you standing there dazed? Didn't you say the master and miss were looking for me? Hurry up and take me to them." Wang Tung nudged him and reminded him. Wang Tung was eager to meet his unconventional wife, a young lady from a noble family who must be beautiful. Catching the embroidered ball had truly been the right decision. In the side hall beside Lord Lu Guan sat his daughter Liu Yanqi. She was poised and graceful, radiating a gentle tranquility, though a white veil obscured her face, leaving her features unseen. Liu Yanqi had hurried over in anxiety, fearing her father would dismiss the man who had caught her embroidered ball. She no longer wished to endure further turmoil. She cherished the man who had caught her ball, and even if he were a beggar, she would accept him. When Wang Tung entered the side hall once more accompanied by a servant, both Lu Guan and Liu Yanqi immediately turned their gaze toward him. Upon seeing his handsome countenance, a flicker of surprise passed through their eyes. "Master, the beggar who caught the embroidered ball has been brought before you." The servant bowed and spoke these words before retreating. Lu Guan gazed upon Wang Tung, whose appearance was now entirely transformed, with an expression of utter disbelief. "You are the beggar who caught the embroidered ball just now?" Lu Guan rose from his seat with evident surprise, studying Wang Tung up and down repeatedly. He could never have imagined that the filthy, ragged beggar, after washing and grooming himself, would turn out to be such a dashing young man. Even Liu Yanqi was quite astonished. The beggar, once cleansed and attired, was unexpectedly so handsome. "Yes, I am the beggar who caught the embroidered ball," Wang Tung replied as such. After consuming the immortal spirit chicken legs, his condition had completely recovered, even surpassing its former state. "I did not expect you to be so handsome, but it is a pity that your meridians are severed, leaving you incapable of cultivation." Lu Guan shook his head with regret, then continued to ask, "What is your name? Where do you reside? How old are you, and do you have any wives or concubines?" Lu Guan fired off a series of questions in rapid succession, as though conducting a household registration inquiry. Naturally, Wang Tung would not reveal to them that he was the crown prince. If such news were to leak, it might once again provoke his imperial brother's assassination attempts, which would be tantamount to seeking his own death. Thus he casually replied, "My name is Wang Tung, 20 years of age. I fled from a remote village during a famine. All my family members have perished, and I remain unmarried. So you came as a refugee from a distant land. No wonder you have fallen to such a state as a beggar." Lu Guan's expression shifted to one of sudden comprehension, as if convinced by Wang Tung's words. Then, as though struck by another thought, he changed the subject. "You say you are a refugee from beyond these lands. In that case, you had no prior knowledge of my daughter's appearance, I presume." Since he had arrived from elsewhere, it was highly likely that he had never seen her face before. These words caused Liu Yanqi, seated nearby, to look over anxiously, her heartbeat quickening slightly. She had originally believed that Wang Tung had caught the ball precisely because he knew her appearance. Now it appeared that he was unaware she was plain. If this gentleman, upon learning of her plain appearance, were to refuse the marriage, Liu Yanqi would not wish to force the matter. "Yes, I had no prior knowledge of Miss Liu's appearance." Wang Tung instinctively shook his head. Indeed, he had been completely unaware of what Miss Liu resembled beforehand. At that time, he was starving, and a system prompt had indicated that catching the embroidered ball would earn him chicken legs. How could he possibly have bothered to inquire about the lady of the Liu residence? Nevertheless, in his estimation, a young lady from a noble household ought to be of decent appearance, for the gene pool of distinguished families was invariably fine. Hearing this, Lu Guan felt a secret surge of delight. It seemed he now had a means to prompt Wang Tung to withdraw the proposal himself. Although Wang Tung was rather handsome, the severing of his meridians rendered him incapable of martial cultivation, an outcome Lu Guan found difficult to accept, given that their Liu Clan was founded upon martial prowess. Moreover, across the entire continent, martial arts were revered. Without the ability to cultivate, one could only remain at the lowest rung of society. Upon hearing this, Liu Yanqi's anxiety deepened, yet she harbored no desire to deceive him. Should Wang Tung, upon seeing her face, reject her on account of her appearance, Liu Yanqi would not compel him to proceed. "It matters not that you did not know beforehand. Let me introduce my daughter to you now." Saying this, Lu Guan turned his gaze toward Liu Yanqi, who sat composedly nearby. Though nervous, Liu Yinchi steadied herself and rose to her feet, then glided gracefully toward Wang Teng. Wang Teng observed the woman in white approaching him, taking a quiet appraisal. This woman possessed a graceful figure and a gentle demeanor. Her raven tresses cascaded down her back like a waterfall. Though her face was concealed behind white silk, merely observing her silhouette invited reverie. Could it be that I am fated to marry a beautiful, wealthy lady right from the start? Wang Teng's mind wandered with such fanciful thoughts. Before Lu Guan could offer an introduction, Liu Yinchi arrived before Wang Teng and spoke of her own accord. My name is Liu Yinchi. I was the one who threw the embroidered ball. I confess to you, sir, that I have been plain of face since childhood, with birthmarks covering my visage. Should you find my appearance displeasing, I shall not compel you to wed me. As Liu Yinchi spoke, she slowly removed the white silk veil that had obscured her face. Wang Teng gazed unblinkingly at the countenance revealed beneath, yet when his eyes fell upon the crimson birthmarks marring her pretty features, he was utterly stunned. He had never imagined that a woman with such an exquisite figure could bear so many birthmarks upon her face, crisscrossing in chaotic patterns that together resembled some arcane sigil. Were it not for these crimson birthmarks, Miss Liu would unquestionably have been a peerless beauty. What a pity, what a pity. The dream of Wang Teng marrying a beautiful, wealthy lady shattered in an instant. In all the dramas he had watched, the ladies tossing embroidered balls were invariably gorgeous, so why, when it came to him, should he receive such an unattractive match? Truly, one could not trust the plots depicted in television dramas, Wang Teng mused with quiet resentment. Observing Wang Teng's dazed expression, Liu Yinchi's eyes darkened slightly, as though she had already anticipated his answer. She promptly replaced the white silk veil over her face. Witnessing Wang Teng's astonishment at his daughter's plain appearance, Lu Guan felt not sorrow, but rather hidden delight. Young Master Wang, you have now seen my daughter's countenance. If you have no desire to wed her, I shall not force the matter, and I will additionally provide you with 100 taels as travel expenses for your departure. Lu Guan seized the opportunity to propose. He had been lamenting the absence of an excuse to dispatch this beggar. Now providentially, an excellent pretext had presented itself. It was clear that Lu Guan remained unwilling to see his daughter married to a cripple whose meridians had been severed and who was utterly incapable of cultivation. The moment his words fell silent, the system voice resounded within Wang Teng's mind once more. Ding! Congratulations, host, upon triggering a new quest. Option 1. Accept Liu Yinchi and agree to marry her. Reward 1 spirit gathering pill. Option 2. Reject Liu Yinchi and depart with the travel expenses. Reward 100 taels of gold. Wang Teng did not expect the system to have triggered another quest. Both rewards held considerable utility for the present Wang Teng. The spirit gathering pill could assist him in advancing his cultivation, while 100 taels of gold would afford him a dignified livelihood, sparing him from the indignity of scavenging for scraps alongside dogs, as he had done previously, and perhaps even enabling him to keep a few handmaidens for companionship. Yet Wang Teng did not immediately render his decision. Rather, he turned his gaze toward Liu Yinchi and posed a question in earnest. Miss Liu, I possess neither wealth, influence, nor backing. My meridians are severed, rendering me unable to cultivate. I may spend my entire life struggling at the lowest echelons of society, and I may even fall prey to assassination attempts. Given that I am a man of nothing, do you still wish to marry me? Wang Teng was not a man who would renege on his word, since he had taken the embroidered ball. Responsibility naturally fell upon him. However, if the lady in question disparaged his inadequacies, the matter would be altogether different. Liu Yinchi had not anticipated Wang Teng's counter-question, yet she hesitated not, and responded. Should you remain steadfast and forsake me not, I shall stand by you through life and death. Although Liu Yinchi appeared delicate, gentle, and demure, her gaze was extraordinarily resolute upon uttering these words. Witnessing the earnestness in Liu Yinchi's countenance, Wang Teng replied, In that case, I am willing to wed you, Miss Liu. Ding! Congratulations to the host for making a choice. You are rewarded with a spirit-gathering pill. As Wang Teng's voice faded, the system's voice chimed in, and a spirit-gathering pill instantly appeared in his system space. Liu Yinchi had never expected that Wang Teng would still be willing to marry her after seeing her unsightly appearance, which deeply moved her. After all, Wang Teng was the very first person who, upon witnessing her disfigurement, remained willing to take her as his wife. However, Lu Guan could hardly share in the joy. He had originally assumed that Wang Teng would surely reject the marriage after seeing his daughter's hideous face, never anticipating that the young man would actually agree to the union. This caught him completely off guard. Father, since young Master Wang is willing to marry me, let us quickly choose an auspicious day to hold the wedding ceremony. Liu Yinchi said, turning to Lu Guan. With only 3 months left before her 20th birthday, she naturally wanted to wed as early as possible, striking while the iron was hot. Seeing that matters had escalated to this point, Lu Guan had no choice but to agree. Let it be so for now then. The wedding ceremony will be held in a month. With a heavy sigh, Lu Guan departed in a hurry, his expression dark. His daughter had chosen a useless cripple, who could not even cultivate as her husband, how could his mood possibly be pleasant? Liu Yinchi, however, felt a massive weight lift from her chest. Though her future husband was a mere mortal incapable of cultivation, at least he accepted her unsightly appearance. She was not a woman who craved wealth and status. She only desired to win a single heart and grow old together, never to part. From now on, they could simply lead a quiet, ordinary life. Seeing that the wedding was set for next month, Wang Tong tacitly accepted it. Once the matter was settled, Liu Yinchi personally escorted him to the room adjacent to her private chambers. Young Master Wang, you will reside in this room from now on. I live right next door, so please feel free to look for me if you need anything, Liu Yinchi said with great gentleness. Thank you, Lady Liu, Wang Tong expressed his gratitude. Although they were to be wed in a month, this was after all their very first meeting. A sense of restraint and unfamiliarity still lingered between them, making their conversation somewhat awkward. After helping Wang Tong settle in, Liu Yinchi gracefully took her leave. Watching her slender, elegant figure and her mesmerizing silhouette as she walked away, Wang Tong could not help but sigh to himself. Her figure is indeed flawless. It is just a pity about her face, but once the lights are out, it makes no difference. Once the surroundings fell quiet, Wang Tong suddenly recalled the reward the system had bestowed upon him earlier. Let me first take a look at the system's reward. With that thought, Wang Tong quickly shut and locked his door, then retrieved the rewarded spirit gathering pill from his system space. Spirit gathering pill rapidly increases spiritual energy within the human body, allowing the consumer's cultivation base to advance in leaps and bounds. The pill was entirely pitch black, resembling a chocolate malt ball, yet it vibrated with dense spiritual energy. So this is the spirit gathering pill, eh? Wang Tong briefly examined the pill before tossing it into his mouth, without the slightest hesitation. Once swallowed, the spirit gathering pill instantly dissolved into a surge of rich spiritual energy, flowing into every corner of his limbs and bones. Under the nourishment of this spiritual energy, Wang Tong's physical body strengthened rapidly at a pace visible to the naked eye. In about the time it took to drink a cup of tea, the spirit gathering pill was completely digested. Feeling his physical constitution, Wang Tong was secretly astonished. My strength, senses, and speed have all undergone a qualitative leap almost instantly. This spirit gathering pill is truly remarkable. My strength has broken straight through to the Xiantian realm. Not bad at all. Wang Tong was highly satisfied with his current state. According to the memories of this body, the martial cultivation ranks of the Daxia martial dynasty were divided into Houtian, Xiantian Grandmaster, Perfected Martial Saint, and Golden Body. The former owner of this body, who was the crown prince of the Daxia martial dynasty, had possessed the strength of the peak Grandmaster realm, a mere step away from the perfected realm. Unfortunately, his cultivation had been crippled by the powerful experts serving his imperial younger brother. This proved that the experts surrounding his younger brother were even more formidable, having likely reached at least the perfected realm or even the martial saint realm. I must hasten my cultivation. Otherwise, if those experts find me, I will likely be killed by them once more. At this thought, a sense of urgency washed over Wang Tong. Only by becoming powerful himself could he be free from the fear of his imperial brother's pursuit. Sitting cross-legged on the bed, he wasted no time and began to cultivate. According to his memories, this body had originally practiced the true dragon art, a royal technique of the Daxia martial dynasty. Unfortunately, his natural talent had been mediocre, taking him 20 years just to reach the Grandmaster realm. However, after having his marrow cleansed and tendons altered by the celestial spirit chicken drumstick, his talent had reached a level of 1 in 10,000. A single night of cultivation was enough to propel Wang Tong's strength straight to the peak Xiantian realm. Opening his eyes, Wang Tong exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. Immediately afterward, he felt his physical constitution undergo another massive enhancement. Such an astonishing speed of cultivation left Wang Tong utterly dumbfounded. This cultivation speed is simply too terrifying. The original owner of this body took 5 whole years to progress from the Xiantian realm to its peak, yet I managed it in a single night. This leveling speed is like riding a rocket. Wang Tong was extremely pleased with this meteoric rise in power. If he continued at this rate, it wouldn't be long before his strength completely crushed the experts by his brother's side. When that time came, he would no longer have to fear his brother's pursuit. However, his excitement was short-lived as the butler called for him from outside. Wang Tong opened the door and stepped out, finding that the sky outside was already bright. "Son-in-law, the master requests your presence at the manor gates," the old butler, Liu Changming, said with a bow. Over the course of a single night, the servant's form of address for Wang Tong had changed. It seemed that his mutual commitment with Liu Yinchi yesterday had reluctantly earned him Liu Guan's recognition as a son-in-law. "To the manor gates." Wang Tong was slightly puzzled, but he nodded in response. "I understand. I will head over immediately." With that, Wang Tong followed the old butler Liu Changming toward the manor entrance. Upon arriving, Wang Tong discovered a bustling scene outside the gates. Numerous workers were loading goods onto carriages flanked by over 100 guards. All of these guards were experts of the Hotian realm, while their leading captain was a mid-stage Xiantian realm expert. The Liu family was a martial arts clan who, in addition to running martial arts academies, escorting goods, and providing security, were among their primary businesses. This time the Liu family was tasked with escorting a major shipment to Yunqing 50 kilometers away. Wang Teng, you are here. Liu Guan, who was directing the servants to move the cargo, glanced at Wang Teng and walked over to him. Father-in-law, why have you summoned me? Wang Teng asked tentatively. Since the butler had already addressed him as son-in-law, Wang Teng shamelessly adopted the title of father-in-law. Liu Guan frowned. Though he disliked having Wang Teng as his son-in-law, he silently accepted the form of address. I called you here because I want you to accompany the escort team to Yunqing. Although you have no cultivation, you at least possess physical strength to help move the cargo. Our Liu family does not harbor idle freeloaders, Liu Guan said with a frown. So he had been brought here to serve as manual labor. Just as Wang Teng was about to reply, the system's voice chimed in once again. Ding! The host has triggered a new quest. Option 1. Accept Liu Guan's request. Reward a common longsword capable of evolving by devouring energy. Option 2. Refuse Liu Guan's request. Reward a mystic-grade overlord spear technique. Wang Teng did not expect to trigger another quest, but he was fine with either accepting or refusing. As for which choice to make, it depended on the rewards. Although the reward for option 1 was just a common longsword, it possessed the unique ability to grow by devouring energy, whereas option 2 offered a mystic-grade spear technique. Generally, cultivation techniques were graded into Heaven, Earth, Mystic, and Yellow. The Mystic grade was the third tier, only slightly superior to the Yellow grade. In the short term, the Mystic grade Overlord Spear technique was undoubtedly superior, but in the long run, a growth-type common longsword that could devour energy held far greater potential. After a brief moment of consideration, Wang Teng chose option 1 and spoke to Liu Guan. All right, I will go. No sooner had he spoken than the system's voice resounded in his mind once more. Ding! Congratulations to the host for making a choice. You are rewarded with a common longsword that can upgrade by devouring energy. Seeing a common iron longsword appear within his system space, Wang Teng rejoiced inwardly. Meanwhile, Liu Guan was quite satisfied with his response. Very well, make some quick preparations and set out with the escort team shortly. Wang Teng actually had nothing to prepare, so he leaped directly onto one of the freight carriages. However, just as the escort convoy was preparing to depart, Liu Yinqi, led by her maid Xiaohong, rushed over in a hurry, holding a set of mystic-grade leather armor in her hands. Young Master Wang, wait. Liu Yinqi panted slightly as she caught up to him. Seeing this, Wang Teng quickly leaped down from the carriage. Young Master Wang, it is 50 kilometers to Yunqing, and the notorious Black Mountain Bandits are known to roam the area. Please wear this Black Tiger leather armor, it will protect you. As Liu Yinqi spoke, she handed the mystic-grade Black Tiger leather armor over to Wang Teng. She had rushed over in a panic upon hearing that her father had enlisted him to join the escort. Recently, the Black Mountain Bandits had grown increasingly powerful, and several martial clans had suffered disasters during their escort missions. Worried about his safety, Liu Yinqi had rushed over, even bringing the protective Black Tiger leather armor her father had gifted her to give to Wang Teng. Wang Teng was deeply moved. To have someone care for him so deeply showed that Liu Yinqi truly held him in her heart. He had not made the wrong choice in this unsightly wife of his. Thank you, my wife, Wang Teng addressed her shamelessly. Her fair face flushed red at his words. It was the first time anyone had ever called her wife, yet she did not object, silently accepting it. After all, they were to be wed in a month's time. Watching Wang Teng's departing figure, a deep sense of worry welled up in Liu Yinqi's heart. The Black Mountain Bandits had grown increasingly formidable, whereas Wang Teng was merely an ordinary mortal incapable of cultivation. She could only pray that he would not cross paths with them. This time the Liu family had a massive shipment to escort consisting of a full 18 wagons with a total value exceeding 200,000 taels. Undeniably a colossal transaction. Liu Guan also attached great importance to this escort mission, dispatching 100 Hotian realm experts and 3 Xiantian realm experts to guard the cargo. The escort captain was none other than Yan Hongliang, the deputy instructor of the Liu family martial arts hall, whose strength had reached the mid-Xiantian realm. Along the way, the 100 guards remained highly vigilant, their hands constantly gripping their blades as if ready to plunge into battle at any moment. It was evident they all knew this region was far from peaceful. However, Wang Teng sat atop a wagon, looking completely at ease, as if out on a leisurely stroll devoid of any tension or worry. In stark contrast, Ma Tao, the carriage driver sitting beside him, was terrified. Young master, aren't you nervous? The driver asked, scanning their surroundings with a tense expression. Nervous about what? Wang Teng asked, puzzled. This was his first time participating in a caravan escort, something he had only ever seen in television dramas in the past. Experiencing it firsthand felt entirely novel, leaving him completely oblivious to the inherent perils. I heard the Black Mountain Bandits have been highly active in this area recently. Several martial families have already had their goods plundered by them, Ma Tao said anxiously. The Black Mountain Bandits. Are they very formidable? Wang Teng inquired curiously. At the same time he recalled that Liu Yinshi had also mentioned them this morning, even going out of her way to send him a profound-grade protective leather armor. Of course they are. The Black Mountain Bandits are the overlords of this region. Over the past few years they have annexed various factions, large and small, growing increasingly powerful. Murder and plunder are everyday occurrences for them. Ma Tao explained patiently. If the Black Mountain Bandits are so rampant, don't the officials of the great Xia martial dynasty do anything about it? Wang Ting asked, his brow furrowed. They've all lined their pockets with bribes from the bandits. Do you think they would care? Ma Tao explained with a touch of indignation. So that's how it is. Wang Ting realized. This was collusion between officials and bandits. Ultimately, it was the commoners and merchants who suffered. Wang Teng instinctively glanced at the Liu family guards flanking the caravan. Indeed, all of them bore vigilant expressions, their hands never loosening their grip on their weapons. It seemed the Black Mountain Bandits were truly as terrifying as Ma Tao had described. Fortunately, the entire morning passed without incident, allowing the escort captain, Yin Hongliang, to secretly breathe a sigh of relief. Upon reaching a stretch of woodland, the exhausted and parched crowd prompted Captain Yin Hongliang to shout, "Rest here for an hour before we resume our journey." At his words, everyone exhaled in relief. After securing the wagons, they began searching for resting spots within the woods, while arranging guards to stand watch in shifts. During the break, however, a few people gathered to gossip. "Have you heard? The beggar who caught the embroidered ball yesterday actually accepted our ugly young lady," a driver initiated the conversation. "I heard about it too. But for a beggar who has absolutely nothing, getting an ugly wife for free isn't half bad," another porter chimed in. "Who says that beggar has nothing? Isn't he actually quite handsome? You guys didn't see it, but this morning the young lady herself came over to deliver a profound-grade armor to him," another resting guard interjected. "Indeed, he is a total gigolo. But I heard he's a useless cripple who can't cultivate. Even as the Liu family's son-in-law, he can only work as a porter like us." "Hey, useless beggar paired with an ugly wife? Isn't that a perfect match? They really do suit each other. Though our young lady is a bit unsightly once the lights are out, it's all the same anyway." Laughter erupted from the crowd, their words dripping with ridicule directed at Wang Teng. Sitting not far from them, Wang Teng and the driver Ma Tao overheard every single word of their conversation. However, Wang Teng remained largely unfazed. After all, he could not control what others chose to say. Ma Tao, on the other hand, felt quite indignant upon hearing this, and turned to comfort Wang Teng. "Young master, don't listen to their nonsense. They're just jealous that you're about to marry our young lady," Ma Tao said, handing a canteen over to Wang Teng. "Young master, have some water." Wang Teng was somewhat surprised by Ma Tao's friendly attitude. Just as he was about to strike up a conversation, he suddenly felt a gust of cold wind brushing past his ear. Frowning, he pushed Ma Tao's head down almost instantaneously. An arrow then whizzed past, barely grazing Ma Tao's hair before thudding deep into the trunk of a large tree right beside them. Belatedly realizing what had happened, Ma Tao looked up at the arrow embedded in the tree. His face drained of color as he swallowed hard. If Wang Teng had not pushed his head down in the nick of time, that arrow would have pierced his skull. "Thank you, young master," Ma Tao stammered, but before he could fully express his gratitude, the next second saw a barrage of arrows rain down from all directions in the forest. The drivers and porters who had been huddled together mocking the useless son-in-law just moments ago were instantly cut down in droves. Ma Tao could never have imagined that a single friendly remark and an offering of water would save his life. Otherwise, he would have undoubtedly joined the ranks of the dead and wounded. Enemy attack. Ambush by the Black Mountain Bandits. Take cover. Captain Yin Hongliang's face contorted in shock. He instantly drew his broadsword, slicing through several arrows flying toward him. In an instant, panic ensued as everyone scrambled to find cover from the incoming barrage of arrows. Wang Teng dragged Ma Tao behind a cargo wagon to shield themselves from the arrows. He scanned the surroundings with a vigilant gaze, his hand already gripping a long iron sword poised for combat at a moment's notice. This sword was none other than the reward bestowed upon him by the system capable of devouring energy to upgrade itself. Once the volley of arrows ceased, the Liu family escort team had already suffered heavy casualties. Seeing that the time was ripe, the Black Mountain Bandits charged out with roaring battle cries. Clad in matching black leather armor and wielding massive sabers, they advanced with menacing momentum. "Slaughter them all. Leave none alive." Tang Han, a leader of the Black Mountain Bandits, bellowed excitedly. Today was another massive haul. They were going to make a fortune. Upon his command, 300 to 400 bandits, brandishing broadswords, surged forward from all sides. Seeing the overwhelming number of bandits charging at them, escort captain Yin Hongliang's face paled once more. "Charge!" Yin Hongliang, a man of fierce resolve, gripped his massive long blade and charged ahead of everyone, undeterred by the enemies who outnumbered them several times over. However, the bandits were simply too numerous. After slaying a few minor lackeys, Yin Hongliang realized the tide was heavily against them. If this continued, they would surely be worn down to their deaths. He quickly scanned the crowd and spotted the bandit leader Tang Han. He then gripped his long blade tightly and lunged toward Tang Han. To capture the rebels, one must first capture their leader. If he could slay the bandit chief, the remaining rabble would surely scatter without a fight. His plan was sound, but reality was harsh. Targeting me. You're courting death. Tang Han sneered as he saw Yan Hongliang charging toward him, raising his own broadsword to meet the attack head-on. Tang Han was the third leader of the Black Mountain Bandits, possessing a cultivation level of the late Xiliu realm. Not only did he surpass Yan Hongliang in strength, but his weapon was also far superior. The moment they clashed, Tang Han seized the absolute upper hand, forcing Yan Hongliang to retreat step by step. Damn it, his strength is too overwhelming. Realizing the sheer disparity in power, Yan Hongliang attempted to retreat, but a rapid succession of 3 powerful slashes from his opponent sent his long blade flying from his grip. The immense force left Yan Hongliang utterly dumbfounded. In the next instant, a broadsword swung toward him. Unable to react in time, he was struck squarely in the neck and blood erupted like a fountain. Moments later, Yan Hongliang's body collapsed heavily to the ground, completely lifeless. Dying in a mere matter of exchanges, his demise plunged the rest of the escort caravan into absolute despair. Even their strongest captain was dead. How could they possibly resist now? Conversely, after slaying Yan Hongliang, the bandit chief, Tang Han, shouted in exhilaration. Brothers, their captain is dead. Slaughter them. Hearing this, the bandits' morale soared, while the Liu family guard's spirit instantly plummeted to rock bottom. It's over, it's all over. We are dead for sure this time. The members of the caravan lamented, convinced that this forest would be their grave. Yet at that very moment, Wang Tong, whom everyone in the Liu family dismissed as a useless son-in-law, silently stood up, gripped his long iron sword, and charged forward like a flash of lightning. Wang Tong gripped his long iron sword and rushed out, without hesitation, so fast that the carriage driver Ma Tao could not stop him. Young master, rushing out now is nothing but suicide. It's over, it's all over. Seeing that he could not stop Wang Tong, Ma Tao fell into utter despair. Even Captain Yan Hongliang was no match for the leader of the Black Mountain Bandits. For a useless cripple like Wang Tong, who couldn't even cultivate, wasn't rushing forward, simply seeking death. He was not alone in this thought. The other servants of the Liu family who witnessed Wang Tong rushing out shared the same sentiment. They were all certain that Wang Tong was doomed, and their young mistress would have to throw the embroidered ball once again. However, Wang Tong's subsequent actions left them utterly astounded. Gripping his long iron sword, Wang Tong charged forward. A few blind lackeys of the Black Mountain Bandits rushed to kill him, only to be struck down first by his swift backhand slashes. This was Wang Tong's first time killing, yet he felt no fear or nervousness. Instead, a faint thrill coursed through him. Moreover, upon taking a life, the long iron sword devoured the victim's life energy, filling Wang Tong with pleasant surprise. This sword is extraordinary. It actually devours the life energy of those it kills. This bolstered Wang Tong's confidence. He instantly changed his plan and began slaughtering the minor bandits of the Black Mountain, aiming to upgrade his long iron sword as quickly as possible. As a cultivator at the great perfection of the Xiliu realm, slaying these ordinary lackeys was effortless for Wang Tong. Almost every strike of his sword claimed a life. In the blink of an eye, Wang Tong had slain over a dozen bandit lackeys. Hiding beneath a carriage, Ma Tao watched Wang Tong's fierce display, completely dumbfounded by his valor. The young master is incredible. Is this the useless cripple everyone talks about? Ma Tao was thoroughly shocked. The other hiding servants of the Liu family were equally stunned by Wang Tong's formidable strength. Heavens, how is he a cripple? He is like the god of war reincarnate. Instantly, many carriage drivers, porters, and even guards completely changed their perception of Wang Tong. Most importantly, inspired by Wang Tong's valiant lead, the Liu family guards fought with growing ferocity, their morale fully restored. In contrast, the Black Mountain Bandits were forced into a steady retreat. Tang Han, the bandit leader, was utterly shocked to see such a formidable fighter suddenly emerge from the ranks of the Liu family guards. Damn it, to think they have such a powerful expert. Watch me tear him apart. Snarling, Tang Han gripped his dark iron broadsword and charged menacingly toward Wang Tong. At that moment, Wang Tong struck down another bandit lackey. Having slain over 20 of them consecutively, his long iron sword had absorbed enough energy to directly evolve into a black iron sword, reaching the low-rank yellow grade. Not only did its appearance change, but its durability and sharpness also transformed instantly. Wang Tong was overjoyed. Excellent. The sword has upgraded. At this rate, once I finish off these bandit lackeys, it can level up once more. While Wang Tong was secretly thrilled, Tang Han had already closed the distance, brandishing his massive broadsword right before him. Boy, prepare to die. Tang Han bellowed, slashing down at Wang Tong with immense force. The strike was heavy and powerful. If it connected, it would undoubtedly claim Wang Tong's life. However, the latter had reacted long before the blow landed. With a swift sidestep, Wang Teng evaded the strike effortlessly. After all, Wang Teng possessed the strength of the great perfection of the Xiantian realm, whereas Tang Hun was only at the late stage of the Xiantian realm. There was a clear gap in their power. "You've come at the perfect time. My sword is just craving your blood," Wang Teng said, his excitement mounting rather than fading upon seeing the bandit leader. During the preceding combat, Wang Teng had grasped the mechanics of the iron sword's energy absorption. Slaying stronger opponents yielded a significantly greater amount of energy for the weapon. Since this bandit leader was at the late stage of the Xiantian realm, killing him would provide even more energy. "You are not worthy of taking my life. Die!" Tang Hun shouted as he gripped his broadsword once more and slashed at Wang Teng. The blade was sharp, heavy, and incredibly fast, indeed far superior to the minor lackeys. Yet Wang Teng remained fearless, meeting the attack head-on with a powerful strike of his black iron sword. The clash of blade against blade sent sparks flying into the air. The immense recoil forced Tang Hun back several steps, while Wang Teng stood firm as a mountain, completely unmoved. This single exchange sent a wave of shock through Tang Hun's heart. To think this brat's strength surpasses even that captain's. Though shocked, Tang Hun knew that failing to kill Wang Teng would mean the failure of their mission. He could only steel himself and press on. "Impressive, kid. Now taste my triple slash." Tang Hun roared, unwilling to back down as he charged at Wang Teng once more. Channeling all his strength, he closed the distance. The moment he was within a meter of Wang Teng, he spun and unleashed 3 consecutive slashes. This was the very technique he had used to kill Yin Hongliang. Extremely powerful, each strike was heavier than the last, with their cumulative force peaking at the final blow. Not daring to underestimate the attack, Wang Teng gripped his black iron sword and circulated the true dragon art within his body, instantly boosting his strength significantly. Clang, clang, clang. Wang Teng blocked all 3 consecutive strikes of the massive broadsword with his black iron sword without retreating even a single step. Seeing that his triple slash had failed to even budge Wang Teng, Tang Hun was seized by panic. "How is this possible? My triple slash has never failed, yet he blocked it so easily." While Tang Hun was reeling from shock, Wang Teng seized the opportunity and delivered a swift backhand thrust. The strike was blindingly fast. By the time Tang Hun realized it was too late, though he managed to twist his body to avoid a fatal blow. With a sharp squelch, the sword pierced Tang Hun's shoulder, and crimson blood immediately gushed out. Seizing the upper hand, Wang Teng ruthlessly delivered a powerful kick, sending him flying over 10 meters away. "Strike while he's down." Giving Tang Hun no room to breathe, Wang Teng gripped his black iron sword and charged directly at the fallen bandit leader. Tang Hun lay injured on the ground. Though his shoulder was pierced and he was covered in blood, he was still alive since no vital organs were hit. As he struggled to stand, he saw Wang Teng charging at him with his sword raised. "Stop him! Block him!" Tang Hun screamed in panic. Several bandit lackeys quickly threw themselves in front of Tang Hun to shield him, but Wang Teng cut them down one by one with effortless ease. Within a few breaths, Wang Teng stood before Tang Hun once more. "Die!" With a ruthless expression, Wang Teng thrust his sword down, piercing Tang Hun straight through the heart. Tang Hun's eyes widened in sheer disbelief that he would perish at the hands of an unknown nobody. Soon his life force dissipated entirely, and he drew his final breath. The black iron sword in Wang Teng's hand once again absorbed Tang Hun's energy. Seeing their leader slain by Wang Teng, the remaining bandit lackeys were consumed by sheer terror. "Now it's your turn." After killing Tang Hun, Wang Teng had no intention of stopping. He brandished his sword and began a relentless slaughter of the remaining bandits. After all, they were valuable energy source for his sword's upgrade, and he could not let them escape. Before long, the bandits fled in panic under Wang Teng's relentless assault. Watching Wang Teng stand like an invincible god of war, everyone from the Liu family was left utterly dumbfounded in sheer awe. This battle, thanks to Wang Teng's courageous performance, drove the Black Mountain bandits away, and he even killed their third-in-command Tang Hui on the spot. The members of the Liu family watched in utter astonishment. Was this son-in-law some crippled beggar? He was simply a war deity incarnate. Through this battle, the Liu family members completely changed their view of their beggar son-in-law, no longer daring to look down on him. Meanwhile, the black iron sword in Wang Teng's hand, after devouring the life energy of over a dozen more souls, had leveled up to yellow-grade mid-tier, its blade edge becoming even sharper and more formidable. Ma Tao was the first to crawl out from underneath the truck and quickly ran over to Wang Teng's side. "Son-in-law, you're incredibly formidable. You even killed the third-in-command of the Black Mountain bandits," Ma Tao said with an excited expression. He had originally believed he was destined to die, never expecting Wang Teng to be so powerful, single-handedly driving back the Black Mountain bandits' raid. Not only was Ma Tao exhilarated, but Vice Captain Wang Bo from the guard team also arrived at Wang Teng's side immediately. "Son-in-law, thanks to you today, otherwise we might have been wiped out entirely." Vice Captain Wang Bo had also accepted Wang Teng as their son-in-law, even harboring a certain admiration for him. In fact, it was not just the two of them. Others were also secretly feeling grateful that the team had such a powerful expert among them, for without him, they would all have perished here today. Everyone must remain cautious. The Black Mountain bandits may return. Wang Ting dared not let his guard down, fearing they might come back with reinforcements. Son-in-law Captain Yin has fallen. What should we do next? Return or continue the escort? Vice Captain Wang Bo asked for instructions. The guard team had lost half its manpower, and most of the drivers and porters were dead. Continuing the escort was far too dangerous. Yet returning empty-handed meant they would have no way to answer to the family head. This was indeed a problem. For Wang Tung, this was his first time escorting a convoy, and he did not wish to abandon the mission halfway. After a moment's thought, he spoke. Send several guards back with the wounded to the Liu residence for treatment. The remaining guards will continue the escort, and you must speed up. We need to deliver this shipment to Cloud City before dusk. Yes, I will arrange it immediately. Vice Captain Wang Bo responded, and promptly went to carry out Wang Tung's orders. At this point, Wang Tung, as their son-in-law, had become the de facto leader of the entire guard team. Soon the wounded were sent back to the Qiqing Liu residence for treatment, while those with minor injuries or unharmed continued the escort. As for the dead, the Liu family would send someone later to collect the bodies for Wang Tung, and the others had no time to linger. If the Black Mountain bandits returned with reinforcements, they would not be able to escape. At the Qiqing Liu residence, Liu Yantixu was practicing swordplay in the garden before her quarters. The Liu family was a martial arts clan, so both men and women trained in martial arts. However, Liu Yantixu's talent was merely ordinary. She had only reached the postnatal realm. Though she was training, her mind was elsewhere, for she was deeply worried about Wang Tung, who had gone on the escort mission. Suddenly, her personal maid Xiaohong rushed over, breathlessly shouting, Miss, terrible news. Our convoy was ambushed by the Black Mountain bandits. Many people died and numerous wounded have been sent back. What a... Liu Yantixu, already anxious about Wang Tung, could no longer focus on her sword practice. She threw down her sword and hurriedly ran outside. In the main hall of the Liu residence, Liu Goen was intently listening to the report brought by the guard, growing increasingly alarmed with each word. You mean it was your son-in-law who saved you at the critical moment? And he killed the Black Mountain bandits' third-in-command, Tang Hui. Liu Goen wore an expression of utter disbelief. When he had examined Wang Tung's body the other day, he discovered that his meridians were completely severed. A person incapable of cultivation. How could he suddenly become so formidable? No one would believe such a thing. It is true, my lord. Your son-in-law was like a war god possessed. Not only did he single-handedly kill the third-in-command of the Black Mountain bandits, but he also fought and defeated 40 or 50 of them alone, surpassing even Captain Yin. That guard said with deep admiration. He had personally witnessed Wang Tung driving off the Black Mountain bandits alone. That brave image left him filled with admiration. I see. Take the wounded down for treatment first. Liu Goen waved his hand to dismiss the guard, though he still harbored doubts about Wang Tung's strength. He could not believe that a person with severed meridians throughout his body could be so formidable. At that moment, Liu Yantixu ran in, panting heavily. Father, I heard our shipment was ambushed by the Black Mountain bandits. Is Wang Tung all right? Liu Yantixu asked anxiously as soon as she entered. Wang Tung knew no martial arts, and the Black Mountain bandits were ruthless. She was deeply concerned for his safety. He is unharmed. In fact, he drove off the Black Mountain bandits and killed their third-in-command, Tang Hui. Liu Goen repeated what the guard had told him. Hearing that Wang Tung was safe, Liu Yantixu secretly breathed a sigh of relief, but then exclaimed in surprise. He killed the third-in-command of the Black Mountain bandits. Is Wang Tung's cultivation really that powerful? Father, didn't you say he cannot cultivate? I am puzzled as well. Everything will be explained when he returns. Liu Goen thought that once Wang Tung came back, he would thoroughly test his strength. If his son-in-law had indeed become this formidable, he would wake from his dreams smiling. The next morning, Wang Tung returned with the remaining escort team. After driving off the Black Mountain bandits the day before, they encountered no further mishaps, so they arrived in Cloud City smoothly. However, it was already too late upon arrival, so they stayed overnight in Cloud City and headed back as soon as dawn broke. Liu Goen, Liu Yantixu, and the other Liu family members received word and waited early at the mansion gate to welcome them. Wang Tung led the main group and soon arrived at the Liu residence, then leaped down from the carriage. Father-in-law, I have not failed you. The goods have been successfully delivered to the Fong family in Cloud City. Here is the final payment of 10,000 taels. Wang Tung took out a check for 10,000 taels from his body and handed it to Liu Goen. Liu Goen looked at the 10,000 check before him, then at Wang Tung, feeling both disbelief and excitement. Excellent, Wang Tung. You have done wonderfully. Liu Goen's eyes carried a hint of appreciation, and he could not help but ask. I heard you were ambushed by the Black Mountain bandits halfway through the journey. Is that true? Indeed, we were ambushed by the Black Mountain bandits. Fortunately, we worked together and repelled them. However, Captain Yin sacrificed himself in the process. Wang Tung stated truthfully. I also heard that you killed the Black Mountain bandits' third-in-command. Is that true? Liu Gowen said with evident suspicion. After all, just 2 days prior he had examined Wang Tung's meridians and found them all severed, incapable of cultivating martial arts. Meanwhile, Tang Hui, the third in command of the Black Mountain Bandits, was a provincial realm expert. No matter how fortunate Wang Tung was, he could not possibly be his match. The third in command of the Black Mountain Bandits was indeed killed by me. Wang Tung admitted frankly, seeing no reason to conceal the truth from them. Upon hearing this unequivocal confirmation, Liu Gowen's astonishment deepened. An ordinary person incapable of cultivation killing a provincial realm expert. No matter how one looked at it, it seemed impossible. Liu Gowen immediately reached out and grabbed Wang Tang's arm, wanting to double-check whether his examination 2 days prior had been incorrect. Father-in-law, what are you doing? Wang Tung felt rather embarrassed. An old man grabbing his arm in public. How could he not feel awkward? Don't move. Let me examine your body again, Liu Gowen said with a serious expression. As he spoke, Liu Gowen continued to palpate several key acupoints and meridians on Wang Tung's body. This time, however, he was completely stunned. How is this possible? His meridians have reconnected, and the meridian tension is exceptionally robust. This is a martial arts prodigy. Liu Gowen was filled with shock. When he had examined him 2 days ago, his meridians were clearly severed. How could they reconnect in just 2 days? Could it be that I examined incorrectly? Liu Gowen, unwilling to accept this, examined him once again, fearing he might have made another mistake, and wanting to confirm carefully. This left Wang Tung utterly speechless. One examination was already enough, and now he was being examined a second time. Moreover, with so many people present, bystanders might think he had questionable tastes. Father-in-law, I have no interest in men. Wang Tung pushed Liu Gowen away with some force. It was precisely this push that completely confirmed to Liu Gowen that Wang Tung was no cripple, but rather a cultivation prodigy. Because Liu Gowen himself was at the mid-stage of the Grandmaster realm. No ordinary person could push him, yet Wang Tung had effortlessly shoved him aside. This meant Wang Tang's strength was at least at the provincial realm. Seeing this, Liu Gowen became extremely excited. Excellent, excellent. Wang Tung, from now on you are my Liu family's son-in-law. Half a month from now you will wed my daughter in ceremony. Liu Gowen had completely changed his view of Wang Tung this time, sincerely accepting him as a son-in-law from the bottom of his heart. He even moved the wedding date forward by half a month. High Mountain was the stronghold of the Black Mountain Bandits. The second-in-command Tang Hong sat upon a grand tiger skin chair holding a beautiful woman in a sheer dress. He drank enthusiastically, his hands sliding back and forth across her body. Suddenly a panicked lackey rushed inside. Second leader, terrible news. Something terrible has happened, the lackey reported, panting heavily as he ran up to Tang Hong. What terrible news? You dare interrupt my pleasure. Believe it or not, I will have you killed. Tang Hong barked with deep displeasure. He was enjoying himself immensely, and being suddenly interrupted left him utterly furious. Overcome with terror, the lackey swallowed hard before nervously replying to second leader, our ambush on the Liu family's caravan has failed. The third leader has been slain, and more than half of his men perished as well. These words struck Tang Hong like a thunderbolt. What? My third brother is dead. Tang Hong violently shoved the young woman from his lap, and stood up from his tiger skin chair, in a rage, his expression twisting into a terrifying snarl. The Black Mountain stronghold had been established through the blood and sweat of the 3 Tang brothers who shared a deep fraternal bond. Now that his youngest brother had been murdered, how could he, the second brother, not be consumed by fury? Yes, the third leader has indeed been killed, the lackey replied in sheer terror. Who did it? Who killed my third brother? Tang Hong bellowed, his eyes blazing with rage. It seemed to be the guard convoy of the Liu family from Qi City, the lackey tremblingly reported. And the one who slew the third leader is supposedly the Liu family's son-in-law. The Liu family's son-in-law of Qi City. Tang Hong suppressed his raging anger, his brow furrowing in deep suspicion. Doesn't the Liu family of Qi City only have an ugly daughter? No man was ever willing to marry that hideous woman, so how could there suddenly be a son-in-law? And one so powerful at that? Are you certain you haven't made a mistake? It was no wonder Tang Hong was perplexed. The ugliness of the Liu family's daughter was renowned far and wide. No man had ever been willing to become their son-in-law. For one to suddenly appear out of nowhere would arouse suspicion in anyone. Your humble servant is not entirely sure either. However, as I was fleeing for my life, I heard the Liu family servants addressing that man as son-in-law. It is highly unlikely to be a mistake, the lackey reported in fear. I had to think someone was actually willing to marry that ugly girl of the Liu family. But since he dared to kill my third brother, I will never let them off. Tang Hong grabbed a cup of wine from the table, drained it in a single gulp, and then squeezed his hand, crushing the cup into fine powder. His strength had already reached the mid-stage of the Grandmaster realm, allowing him to injure others with his raw qi. In this region, he was considered one of the top experts. What is the strength of this son-in-law of the Liu family? Tang Hong asked, his eyes gleaming with murderous intent. To be able to claim a mountain as a bandit king and grow so powerful, he was by no means a fool. On the contrary, he was highly cautious, knowing he must understand his enemy before seeking vengeance. The opponent does not seem capable of externalizing his chi, yet he should be at the peak of the Xiantian realm, the lackey replied, after thinking carefully. I understand. Send men to keep a close eye on every move of the Liu family, especially that son-in-law. Report back to me immediately the moment anything happens. A flash of murderous intent flickered in Tang Hong's eyes. Since Wang Tung dared to kill his third brother, he would never spare him, nor the Liu family. Understood, second leader. The lackey acknowledged the command and hastily withdrew. At the Liu family mansion in Qi City. That evening, to celebrate the successful return of the escort convoy, Liu Guan specially prepared a sumptuous family feast for Wang Tung. His wife Yao Shu was also present, though her complexion was pale, and she coughed incessantly. Clearly ill, she rarely made public appearances. Originally, Liu Guan had not wanted his wife Yao Shu to know that Wang Tung was a beggar's son-in-law, fearing that her daughter marrying a beggar would only cause her distress. However, Wang Tung's outstanding performance yesterday had highly satisfied Liu Guan, prompting him to finally arrange this meeting with his mother-in-law. After Wang Tung and Liu Yanqi took their seats following some brief pleasantries, Liu Guan warmly introduced her. Wang Tung, this is Yanqi's mother, your future mother-in-law. Greetings, mother-in-law. Wang Tung bowed respectfully. At the same time, he instinctively observed his mother-in-law. The middle-aged woman appeared gentle and refined, sharing a similar temperament with Liu Yanqi. However, her face was deathly pale, and she coughed from time to time, indicating she was gravely ill. After coughing a few times, Yao Shu also studied Wang Tung, and her observation left her highly pleased with this prospective son-in-law. Not only did he possess a clean and noble aura, but he was also exceptionally handsome. She had also heard that during yesterday's escort mission, Wang Tung had demonstrated extraordinary strength and talent, proving himself to be a true dragon among men. Wang Tung, from now on consider this place your home. We will not treat you poorly. Cough, cough. Yao Shu could not help but cough as she spoke, yet her eyes were filled with profound satisfaction with Wang Tung. She had already learned a bit about Wang Tung's background from Liu Guan, how he had fled a famine and fallen on hard times. Kind-hearted by nature, Yao Shu sincerely wished for him to feel at home here. My dear, why don't you go rest first? Liu Guan said, his heart aching to see his wife coughing continuously. Mother-in-law, if you are feeling unwell, perhaps you should rest first. Wang Tung also chimed in to persuade her. However, Yao Shu declined. It is fine. It is rare for me to dine with my son-in-law, so how could I leave so soon? Yao Shu gently refused. It was rare for her to be in such high spirits, and she naturally wanted to grow closer to her new son-in-law. Her daughter's inability to find a husband had long been a source of anxiety for Yao Shu, and her deteriorating health was heavily tied to this emotional burden. Now that her daughter had finally found an ideal husband, she felt relieved, yet a faint worry lingered in her heart. The more outstanding Wang Tung proved to be, the more she, as a mother, feared that her ugly daughter would not be able to keep him. With this thought, Yao Shu took a round white jade pendant from her purse and pressed it into Wang Tung's hand, and spoke with absolute sincerity. Wang Tung, I have nothing of great value to offer you. This is a spirit-gathering jade pendant that I have treasured for decades. Please accept it as a gift for our first meeting. Seeing this, Liu Yanqi and Liu Guan were slightly startled. This was a pendant that had accompanied her mother for decades, possessing the effect of accelerating cultivation. In the market, it would be worth at least 1,000,000 taels, a priceless treasure. Mother, this is the pendant you use for your own cultivation. If you give it to Wang Tung, what will you do? Liu Yanqi exclaimed. I am already in this state, so what is the point of cultivating? I might depart this world in a matter of days, and keeping this spirit-gathering jade pendant would only be a waste. On the other hand, Wang Tung is still young and has a greater need for this spirit-gathering jade pendant, Yao Shu said, coughing once more. These words touched Wang Tung deeply. He had not expected his mother-in-law to bestow such a precious item upon him. Wang Tung, you must not refuse. Use it well for your cultivation, it will help accelerate your progress. Yao Shu urged once again. Wang Tung could not bear to reject his mother-in-law's kindness, and indeed this spirit-gathering jade pendant would be immensely helpful to him at present. His imperial brother had been constantly dispatching experts to hunt him down. He had to seize every moment to elevate his strength, so that he would have the power to protect himself before his brother's men found him. Then I shall express my deepest gratitude to mother-in-law. Wang Tung accepted the spirit-gathering jade pendant. Seeing him accept the gift, Yao Shu finally nodded with satisfaction. That is more like it. Live a good life with Yanqi from now on. There is a temple fair in the east of the city the day after tomorrow. Why don't you take Yanqi out to have some fun? Yao Shu suggested, coughing again. She knew they had only known each other for a few days and had not yet developed mutual affection. Thus, she hoped they could go on more dates before their wedding ceremony to foster their feelings. It had to be said that Yao Shu had exhausted her heart and soul for her daughter's happiness. However, Liu Guan failed to grasp his wife's intentions. Instead, recalling something, he interrupted. The day after tomorrow seems to be the annual Qi City Hunting Grand Assembly. Wang Teng, come and participate in the hunt with me. A man should prioritize his career. What is the point of attending a temple fair? Besides, there is a reward for securing first place in the hunting assembly. Hearing how foolish her husband was, Yao Shu glared at Lu Guan in secret, so infuriated that she nearly coughed up blood. She had gone to great lengths to help her daughter and Wang Teng cultivate their relationship, yet he wanted to drag the boy to some hunting assembly. How could a place of slaughtering wild beasts possibly foster romance between them? Wang Teng felt rather awkward as well. Just as he was at a loss for how to choose, the system's voice echoed in his mind once more. Ding! Congratulations to the host for triggering a new quest. Option 1. Agree to go with your father-in-law to the Qi City Hunting Grand Assembly. Reward: 1 Spirit Gathering Pill, 1 Panacea Pill, and the Sword Technique, Dragon Cleaver. Option 2. Agree to go with your mother-in-law to the city's Eastern Temple Fair. Reward: 1 Dragon Tiger Pill, the Shadowless Steps Movement Technique, and a Charm Boost. Wang Teng was caught off guard when another set of options appeared, a quiet delight stirring within him. Whenever an option task was triggered, a reward was guaranteed. He immediately examined the rewards and began his analysis. Wang Teng naturally understood the benefits of the Spirit Gathering Pill. With this pill and the Spirit Gathering Jade pendant gifted by his mother-in-law, he would be able to smoothly break through to the Grandmaster realm. As for the 100 Disease Curing Pill, it was perfectly suited for his mother-in-law. Her condition was so severe that a single pill would restore her to full health. After all, she had just given him her Spirit Gathering Jade pendant used for cultivation. As her son-in-law, it was only fitting that he return the favor. Furthermore, the dragon-breaking sword technique could unleash several times his normal sword power in an instant, perfectly suited to Wang Teng's current needs, as he was short on offensive techniques. All in all 3 rewards from option 1 were useful to Wang Teng at present. The rewards from option 2, however, included the Dragon Tiger Pill, a pill designed to enhance a man's abilities in the bedroom. Since Wang Teng had not yet formally wed, it was of no use to him. The Shadowless Step was decent at the very least. It would increase his movement speed and was undoubtedly the best survival technique. As for the Charm Enhancement, that was a practically useless reward. He was about to hold his wedding ceremony. Why would he need to improve his charm? After careful comprehensive analysis, Wang Teng decided to choose option 1. He then turned to his father-in-law Lu Guan and said, "Father-in-law, I will accompany you to the hunting tournament the day after tomorrow." The moment he finished speaking, the system's voice rang out. "Ding! Congratulations to the host for making a choice. Reward: 1 Spirit Gathering Pill, 100 Disease Curing Pill, and Mastery of the Dragon Breaking Sword Technique." As the system's voice faded, 2 pills materialized in the system space. One was the Spirit Gathering Pill, and the other was the Medicinal Pill for treating illness. At the same time, the applications and techniques of the Dragon Breaking Sword Technique flooded into Wang Teng's mind, which he quickly mastered and integrated. Wang Teng was very satisfied with this technique, as it could unleash several times his normal sword power in an instant. Lu Guan laughed heartily with satisfaction upon hearing that Wang Teng had chosen to accompany him to the hunting tournament. Excellent. A true man should focus on establishing his achievements. As for boring gatherings like temple fairs, there is no need to attend them. From these words, it was clear that Lu Guan was a straightforward man with zero romantic sensitivity. Yao Shu saw her husband being so tactless and grew angry, triggering another fit of coughing. "Madam, are you all right?" Lu Guan asked in urgent concern. "I will surely be angered to death by you one of these days." Yao Shu glared fiercely at Lu Guan. She had barely managed to arrange an opportunity at the temple fair to help deepen the bond between her daughter and Wang Teng, only for her foolish husband to ruthlessly sabotage it. Lu Yanxi felt distressed seeing her mother so upset. In truth, she also deeply wished to accompany Wang Teng to the temple fair, as it would give her a chance to grow closer to him. But Wang Teng had already chosen to attend the hunting tournament, so there was nothing she could do. She promptly persuaded her mother, "The temple fair lasts 3 days. If we cannot go the day after tomorrow, Wang Teng and I can go on the last 2 days instead." Seeing this, Wang Teng also hastened to step forward and persuade. "Indeed, mother-in-law. The temple fair can wait until the following days. It is not worth harming your health over something like this." Yao Shu felt somewhat relieved upon hearing this. If we can go on the last 2 days, then it will suffice." Only then did Yao Shu nod in satisfaction. However, the anger from her husband had worsened her condition, and she fell into another violent coughing fit, coughing up a trace of blood. This terrified everyone present. Wang Teng was also startled, but he quickly remembered the 100 Disease Curing Pill he had just obtained. Pretending to search through his belongings, he secretly retrieved the pill from the system space. "Mother-in-law, I have a pill here that can cure all diseases. Once you take it, your illness will be cured," Wang Teng said, holding out the pill toward Yao Shu. Yao Shu did not take it, and instead said in a pale voice, "Wang Teng, my illness is a chronic condition spanning over a decade. Even the divine physicians of Qi City could not cure it. Save yourself the trouble with this pill." Yao Shu did not believe a single pill could cure her stubborn illness. nor did Liu Guan or Liu Yinxi place much faith in it. After all, they had invited numerous renowned physicians to treat Yao Shu, all of whom had given up, telling them to prepare for the worst. Mother-in-law, this pill is truly miraculous. I received it from an immortal when I was a beggar in my past. It can cure all diseases and is absolutely effective, Wang Tong said. Seeing his mother-in-law hesitant, he improvised a story to further persuade her. This explanation sounded somewhat fantastical and far-fetched, more like Wang Tong himself had been duped by a con artist. Would an immortal really give a pill to a beggar? Nevertheless, considering Wang Tong's evident filial piety, she could not bear to dash her son-in-law's goodwill. Very well then. I will give it a try, Yao Shu said, taking the pill and placing it into her mouth. She had only done this to avoid hurting her son-in-law's feelings. Who would have expected the pill to dissolve upon entering her mouth, transforming into a stream of spiritual energy that began visibly curing the illness within her body? Yao Shu was equally astonished. Not only did her coughing cease instantly, but her breathing also became smooth and unobstructed. Most importantly, she felt remarkably revitalized, which filled her with great joy. Liu Guan and Liu Yinxi had both been skeptical that Wang Tong's pill could cure their mother's severe illness. However, as color gradually returned to their mother's face and the coughing subsided, a glimmer of hope began to stir in their hearts. "Mother, how do you feel?" Liu Yinxi asked with expectant eagerness. This was also what Liu Guan wanted to ask. The effects of Wang Tong's pill had exceeded his expectations, and he was eager to know how his wife was feeling. "This pill is truly miraculous. As soon as I swallowed it, my coughing stopped immediately, my breathing became much easier, and most importantly, I feel completely revitalized. It seems my illness has been cured all at once," Yao Shu said in disbelief. "Really? Could this pill truly be an immortal's elixir?" Liu Guan was utterly astonished. He had originally thought Wang Tong had been deceived by a charlatan, but now it seemed Wang Tong was telling the truth. Liu Yinxi, seeing her mother's illness cured, hugged her tightly, in tears of joy. "This is wonderful. Mother, your illness is finally gone." Liu Guan was equally moved and overjoyed. His daughter and his wife had long been his two greatest burdens. Now Wang Tong had healed them both. His excitement was beyond description, and his gratitude toward Wang Tong was profound. He even considered Wang Tong a great benefactor of the Liu family. "Wise son-in-law, you have given me such a precious elixir. I do not know how to adequately thank you," Yao Shu said gratefully. Even her form of address had changed, signaling that she had fully accepted Wang Tong as her son-in-law. If before she had only favored him for his handsome looks and capable abilities, now Yao Shu approved of him wholeheartedly from the bottom of her heart. "Mother-in-law, we are family now. There is no need for such formal gratitude. Besides, you already gave me your precious spirit-gathering jade pendant," Wang Tong said modestly. Yao Shu had gifted him a spirit-gathering jade pendant worth 1,000,000 silver taels, so it was only natural that Wang Tong would reciprocate with a healing pill. "Good son-in-law, mother did not misjudge you. Yinxi marrying you is the greatest fortune of her life." Yao Shu grew more and more fond of Wang Tong. She could never have imagined that her plain-looking daughter would be so extraordinarily fortunate as to find a man as excellent as Wang Tong. After the family banquet ended, Wang Tong escorted Liu Yinxi back to her room. When they reached the doorway of her chamber, Liu Yinxi paused and said gratefully, "Mr. Wang, thank you for saving my mother. If not for your immortal pill, she may not have survived this year. As I said, we are family now. There is no need for endless thanks and gratitude," Wang Tong said with a smile. Though she said that, Liu Yinxi's heart was filled with deep gratitude toward Wang Tong. Watching the white moonlight bathe him, her heart began to race, and her pretty cheeks gradually flushed red, thankfully hidden beneath her white veil. For the first time, Liu Yinxi felt that Wang Tong was like a beam of moonlight illuminating her dim and shadowy world and bringing warmth and sunshine into her life. "Husband, it is getting late. I will rest now. You should rest early as well." After saying this, Liu Yinxi, her face flushed with shyness, ran back to her chamber. This was the first time she had voluntarily called Wang Tong husband, which clearly indicated that deep in her heart Liu Yinxi had fully committed to him. Wang Tong was slightly stunned. This girl had actually called him husband. However, watching Liu Yinxi run away with a bashful expression, Wang Tong's mind grew somewhat troubled. The kinder the Liu family treated him, the more he worried about dragging them into danger in the future. After all, he was a deposed crown prince, and his imperial brother would never spare him as long as the throne was at stake. As the soft morning light filtered into the room, Wang Tong slowly opened his eyes and exhaled a breath of turbid white air, refined and condensed. "Few, after cultivating for 2 days, I have finally broken through to the Grandmaster realm. The spirit-gathering jade pendant from my mother-in-law is indeed effective. It can actually gather the spiritual energy within a 100-meter radius. It is truly a treasure." A look of delight surfaced on Wang Tong's face. Relying on this spirit-gathering jade pendant and the spirit-gathering pill rewarded by the system, Wang Tong had broken through from the peak of the Xiantian realm to the Grandmaster realm in a mere 2 days of cultivation, a speed that could only be described as meteoric. Even a martial arts prodigy would require at least a year or two to break through from the great circle of the Xiantian realm to the Grandmaster realm, yet Wang Tung accomplished it in just 2 days, highlighting his astounding velocity. Should this be made known, it would undoubtedly leave everyone utterly dumbfounded. Such progress was simply heaven-defying. Furthermore, upon breaking through to the Grandmaster realm, not only was Wang Tung's physical constitution immensely enhanced, but a small stream of spiritual energy had also formed within his dantian, allowing him to project his chi force externally. The power of his sword techniques would also be significantly bolstered, particularly his dragon-breaking slash. Wang Tung attempted to channel his chi to his fingertips, then flicked his hand sharply toward the wall ahead. Instantly, a fierce gust of chi force shot from his fingers, striking the wall in the blink of an eye and piercing a clean hole through it. Witnessing this, Wang Tung nodded in satisfaction. Excellent. If I continue cultivating at this pace, I will surpass my imperial brother's cultivation sooner or later, and I will no longer have to fear the experts at his side. Wang Tung quietly clenched his fists. Only by continuously growing stronger could he seize the upper hand. Just then a knock sounded on the door, accompanied by a gentle and serene voice. It was so pleasant to the ears that it felt like a warm spring breeze. Husband, are you awake? I have prepared some breakfast for you. Recognizing Liu Yinxi's voice, Wang Tung scrambled out of bed and swiftly opened the door. My lady, why have you risen so early? Wang Tung remarked, glancing at the sky. It is no longer early. Aren't we attending the great hunt today? That is why I personally made some breakfast to replenish your chi and strength. I hope you like it. Liu Yinxi entered the room carrying a food basket as she spoke. Wang Tung felt a wave of warmth in his heart. For a wealthy young lady like Liu Yinxi to rise so early just to make him breakfast was deeply touching. Whatever you prepare, I will love it. Wang Tung said with a smile. You haven't even looked at what I made yet you say you love it. Even though Liu Yinxi spoke thus, a sweet feeling blossomed in her heart. As she spoke, she retrieved 3 breakfast dishes from the food basket and arranged them on the table. They were tiger bone soup, yak cakes, and swift eagle eggs. These 3 items were premium ingredients used by the martial artists of the great Xia martial dynasty to nourish their chi and strength. Upon seeing them, Wang Tung twitched his nose as a savory aroma of meat wafted over. What a delightful aroma. It looks absolutely delicious. Wang Tung said, picking up the bowl of tiger bone soup to take a sip. It was fragrant yet not greasy, with a rich flavor of tiger bone. Most importantly, upon drinking the soup, the physical strength within his body was faintly stimulated, leaving Wang Tung feeling brimming with power. How is it? Is the tiger bone soup to your liking? Liu Yinxi asked with anticipation. It is delicious, and after drinking it, my entire body is surging with strength. Wang Tung nodded in praise. Seeing that Wang Tung enjoyed her tiger bone soup, Liu Yinxi felt a burst of joy. Then please try the yak cakes and swift eagle eggs as well. Liu Yinxi added expectantly. All right. Wang Tung nodded. He then tasted the yak cakes and swift eagle eggs, 2 delicacies he had never experienced before. Tasting them out of curiosity, he found the flavor quite agreeable. Remarkably, after consuming them, a warmth spread through his body, filling him with vigor. It appeared that the 3 dishes Liu Yinxi prepared truly possessed the ability to replenish his physical strength. My lady, these 3 dishes you made are indeed miraculous. After eating them, I feel completely energized. Wang Tung remarked sincerely. As long as you feel strong, that is all that matters. Liu Yinxi nodded joyfully. She had prepared these solely to replenish Wang Tung's vitality. With her mediocre talent and plain appearance, this was the only way she could offer her support to him. Outside the manor gates, Liu Guan was already waiting with his entourage. Accompanying them to the outskirts for Qi City's annual great hunt were 3 younger generation members of the Liu family, all around the same age as Wang Tung. In addition, many others followed along simply to witness the spectacle. The annual great hunt of Qi City was one of its most bustling events, drawing numerous young talents and elites of the city. They would compete in martial prowess and hunt wild beasts, promising an exceptionally thrilling display. Furthermore, the champion would receive a handsome reward. Many unwed young ladies would even secretly observe the young talents participating in the hunt, and if they took a liking to someone, they would approach them and present a handmade sachet as a token of affection. This served as a form of matchmaking in disguise. Consequently, in the great Xia martial dynasty, which highly revered martial arts, the great hunt was always celebrated with immense fervor. Before long, Wang Tung and Liu Yinxi emerged together. Seeing them finally arrive, Liu Guan's furrowed brow relaxed, and he hastily stepped forward to greet them. Wang Tung, the hour is late. We must set off, Liu Guan remarked, glancing up at the sky. In past hunts, the Liu family had always been outperformed by the other prominent clans of Qi City. Now that he had a martial prodigy like Wang Tung as his son-in-law, he hoped to reclaim some of their lost pride. Very well, let us depart. Wang Tung agreed with a nod. He too was eager to participate in the great hunt, having heard that the champion would be handsomely rewarded. Seeing that all was in order, Liu Guan gave the command and led the large contingent forward. Liu Yinxi joined them as well, intending to cheer for her husband Wang Tung at the venue. Meanwhile, at the Black Mountain Bandits' stronghold on Haya Mountain, Tang Hong, the second-in-command, was enjoying wine and revelry with a rather attractive maiden, his spirits running high when a low-ranking lackey suddenly rushed in a panic. Second chief, news has arrived from the Liu family, the lackey reported. Damn it, finally some news. I've been waiting for 2 bloody days. What is the situation with the Liu family? Tang Hong barked savagely, still holding the maiden in his arms. Liu Guan, the head of the Liu family, has led their youth to Qi City's annual Great Hunt. Their son-in-law Wang Tung went along as well and intends to participate in the competition. The lackey reported truthfully. He has finally come out. Wang Tung, how dare you kill my third brother? I will have your life. Tang Hong abruptly stood up, shoving the maiden aside, and barked orders at the lackey. Summon the Black Eagle squad. I will personally lead the team to Yuanlai Mountain. I swear I will not rest until Wang Tung is dead. Yuanlai Mountain was the venue for Qi City's Great Hunt. Clearly Tang Hong intended to personally lead a force to ambush and assassinate Wang Tung there. At the foot of Hunlai Mountain, quite a few people from other families in Qi City had already gathered. Most of them were martial arts clans like the Liu family, all hoping to showcase their younger generation's prowess at this year's hunting tournament. Of course, there were also a handful from humble backgrounds. They too sought to prove themselves through the hunting tournament, hoping to catch the eye of prominent families and secure upward mobility. After arriving at the mountain's base, Liu Guan immediately led Wang Tung and the others to the registration desk. But barely had they set foot there when 2 old acquaintances approached to greet him. Brother Liu, you finally arrived. I thought after finishing last for 3 consecutive years you'd dare not show up this time, said a middle-aged man with a square face, smiling as he drew near. This was Fang Deshou, head of the Fang family, one of Qi City's martial arts clans. Hearing this, Liu Guan felt a flicker of embarrassment. The Liu family's talent had grown thin, resulting in 3 straight last-place finishes at the hunting tournament. But soon Liu Guan recovered and replied with a smile. Brother Fang, this year our Liu family has our sights firmly set on first place. Liu Guan spoke with newfound confidence. For this year, he had a remarkably capable son-in-law who could help restore his family's honor. Oh really? With those frail young disciples of yours hoping for first place. Just don't end up being hunted by the beast yourselves, ha ha ha. Fang Deshou burst into hearty laughter. His companion, another old friend named Xiaohan, joined in with a chuckle. Old brother Liu, don't harbor such delusions. If your Liu family takes first place this year, I'll crawl back to Qi City on my hands and knees. Huh? Facing the mockery of his 2 old acquaintances, Liu Guan did not grow angry. Instead, he merely smiled faintly. Brother Xiao, you said it yourself. Just don't renege when the time comes. Rest assured I will never back down from my word, Xiaohan declared with absolute confidence. He knew the Liu family's young members well. Only Liu Chong, Liu Guan's second nephew, was somewhat respectable, but his strength was merely at the early stage of the innate realm, nowhere near comparable to the Xiao family. Thus he was confident the Liu family could not possibly triumph at this hunting tournament. However, Fang Deshou seemed to recall something and abruptly changed the subject. Brother Liu, your confidence this year is rather remarkable. Have you recruited some formidable young disciple? You'll see soon enough. Liu Guan deliberately kept his words cryptic, hoping to maintain an air of mystery and avoid drawing unwanted attention to his son-in-law. It was not uncommon for participants to be targeted by rival clans during hunting tournaments. Hearing this, Xiaohan seemed to catch on to something. I heard the Liu family threw an embroidered ball a few days ago and landed a beggar as a son-in-law. Don't tell me you're pinning your hopes on that beggar to win first place. Xiaohan's words carried a hint of mockery and derision. Indeed, I've also heard the rumor, Brother Liu. Is it true you took that beggar as your son-in-law? Fang Deshou asked with a playful tone. He paused for a moment before continuing. But a beggar isn't so bad. As long as he's willing to stay, your daughter at least has a husband. After all, she's nearing 20. If she doesn't marry soon, your Liu family will face an additional 10% tax. Though couched as well-meaning advice, the words sounded anything but kind. Exactly, old Brother Liu. It's best to consider the bigger picture. A beggar will do. Otherwise your daughter won't even have a beggar to marry her, Xiaohan said with feigned sympathy. Their coordinated jabs dripped with sarcasm and ridicule. In the past, Liu Guan would have flown into a rage. But ever since learning of Wang Tung's strength, he remained remarkably composed. That's right, I took a beggar as my son-in-law. So what? I'm perfectly content with that, Liu Guan said calmly. Yet inwardly he seethed with anticipation, eager to show these fools just how remarkable his son-in-law truly was. While Liu Guan was conversing with his so-called old friends, their daughters hurried over toward Liu Yanxi. The martial families often gathered privately to exchange pleasantries, so their daughters were naturally quite familiar with Liu Yanxi. Having finally crossed paths, they naturally wished to greet her. More importantly, they had heard Liu Yanxi had secured a husband through the embroidered ball ceremony, so they came to offer their congratulations. Yanxi, it's been too long. I heard you found a husband through the embroidered ball. Congratulations, said a woman in a green silk dress approaching gracefully. This woman was Fang Qing, the third daughter of the Fang family. though her lips shaped words of congratulation, an undercurrent of mockery lingered in her tone. Thank you. The simple and trusting Liu Yinchi genuinely believed she was being congratulated. Fang Qing covered her mouth with a smile and continued. By the way, I heard your husband is a beggar, is that so? Sister Yinchi, why would you lower yourself to marry such a lowly man? No sooner had she spoken than Xiao Tingting, the woman in the red dress who had accompanied her, chimed in with scorn. Yinchi is turning 20 soon. If she remains unwed, the family will pay higher taxes. Having a beggar take her is already a blessing. These words stirred anger within Liu Yinchi, and she finally realized they were not here to congratulate her at all, but to mock her. My husband is no beggar. He merely fled here to escape famine. Moreover, he is extraordinarily talented, fully 100 times superior to your husband's. Liu Yinchi retorted indignantly. Wang Tong was the brightest star in her heart, and she would not allow anyone to speak ill of him. Oh, a beggar is talented, even better than our husbands. You must be dreaming. Fang Qing shook her head, her expression a mixture of arrogance and derision. Do you even know my husband's identity? He is the captain of the Qi City Guard, the legitimate eldest son of the Lin family, and destined to inherit the Lin clan. And Auntie Xiao's husband is the young master of the Dongfang family in Yun City, already serving as deputy instructor of their martial arts hall at such a tender age. Liu Yinchi listened, her frustration mounting, yet she found herself at a loss for rebuttal. Compared to their husbands, her own husband's status was indeed modest. But in her heart, Wang Tong was the most outstanding of all. If they only knew that Liu Yinchi's husband was none other than the crown prince of the great Xia martial dynasty, they would surely drop their jaws in shock. Just then Wang Tong approached, having finished filling out the registration form. Madam, what are you discussing? He asked warmly. At his words, Fang Qing and Xiao Tingting both turned to glance over, curious to see what this so-called beggar husband looked like. But the moment they laid eyes on Wang Tong's strikingly handsome face, they were instantly stunned. Compared to Wang Tong, their own husbands were practically ugly. Such a breathtakingly handsome man. Yinchi, is this really the husband you chose through the embroidered ball? Both Fang Qing and Xiao Tingting fixed their gazes squarely on Wang Tong, unable to look away. Wang Tong was simply too handsome. They had never before encountered a man so strikingly beautiful in their lives. Seeing Fang Qing and Xiao Tingting utterly mesmerized by her husband's beauty, Liu Yinchi felt a quiet swell of pride. She then affectionately linked her arm through Wang Tong's and declared with a touch of vanity, "He is my husband." With those words, Liu Yinchi confidently strode away with Wang Tong, leaving Fang Qing and Xiao Tingting frozen in astonishment behind her. They never imagined a beggar could look so magnificent. Had they known Wang Tong was the crown prince of the great Xia martial dynasty, their surprise would have been even greater. Soon, all the young participants had completed their registration. 98 contestants had signed up for the hunting tournament, all of them the rising talents of Qi City. Before departure, Lu Guan specifically came over to remind Wang Tong, "My dear son-in-law, be cautious during the hunt. Others may obstruct you, and some might even plot against you secretly. Watch your back. Fear not, father-in-law. I will be careful." Wang Ting nodded. "Do your best to bring home first place today. It will help me stand tall in front of others, and it will greatly benefit your future prospects as well," Lu Guan urged earnestly once more. Whether he could reclaim his family's honor today rested entirely on his son-in-law's shoulders. "Understood, I shall do my utmost." Wang Ting nodded again. He too desired to claim first place, not only for the generous rewards, but also because his sword required more beast blood to advance. "Wang Tong, I do not ask you to win first place. I only ask that you return safely." Liu Yinchi leaned close, her voice brimming with concern. Liu Yinchi knew the hunting tournament was exceedingly brutal. Many would strike from the shadows, and the beasts were ferocious. She did not wish for Wang Tong to come to harm. Her only wish was for her husband to return unscathed. "Rest assured, none of these people can lay a hand on me. Wait here with peace of mind, my dear." With those words, Wang Tong strode confidently toward the mountain. The hunting tournament had officially begun, though who would hunt and who would be hunted remained to be seen. Honglai Mountain was the largest mountain range near Qi City, stretching over 10 kilometers with an elevation of more than 3,000 meters. Jagged rocks and dense forests filled its terrain, where beasts roamed freely, including some of considerable power. A single misstep could cost even a martial artist their life. Fortunately, after several hunting tournaments, the number of beasts in Honglai Mountain had decreased significantly. However, after a year of reproduction and growth, the beasts had become active once again. Wang Tong gripped his dark iron sword tightly and walked straight into the mountains. This time his mission was to claim first place in the hunting tournament, which would earn him the generous reward. Additionally, he needed to kill as many beasts as possible so that his dark iron sword could be upgraded. Among the nearly 100 participating martial artists, some formed teams, while others ventured alone, all searching for beasts within the mountains. For now, everyone coexisted peacefully without conflict. There were no scenes of martial artists clashing against each other, yet as no one possessed any beast corpses to fight over. Wang Teng glanced at those martial artists but paid them no mind, continuing deeper into Hunglai Mountain with his dark iron sword in hand. However, just a few steps in, a young disciple from the Liu family hurriedly caught up with him. "Cousin-in-law, wait for me." A young man of considerable build but youthful features approached Wang Teng. "Are you from the Liu family?" Wang Teng felt this person looked familiar, as if he had seen him before at the Liu estate. "I am second sister Yin Shi's cousin Liu Chong," Liu Chong said with a simple smile. Liu Chong was indeed one of the outstanding talents among the younger generation of the Liu family. At only 18 years old, he had already reached the early stage of the innate realm. Such talent was truly remarkable. "So it is you, Brother Chong." Wang Teng felt quite fond of this straightforward young man. "Cousin-in-law, may I join you on the hunt?" Liu Chong scratched his head, admiration clear in his eyes. Liu Chong had long heard of Wang Teng's heroic feat of single-handedly slaying the third commander of the Black Mountain Bandits, and thus held great respect for him. "Very well then, follow me." Wang Teng nodded and continued walking as he spoke. "By the way, have you participated in the hunting tournament before? How does one win first place, and what is the reward this year?" In his haste upon entering, Wang Teng had only been focused on killing beasts to upgrade his sword, forgetting to ask his father-in-law about these matters. "I have participated in 2 tournaments, but failed both times. Winning first place is straightforward. Either kill a large number of beasts or slay a particularly powerful beast from the mountains, one whose level exceeds that of others' prey," Liu Chong explained. "I see. Then what is the first place reward this year?" Wang Teng asked curiously. "The first place reward this year appears to be a Earth-grade martial technique manual," Liu Chong said after a moment's thought. "An Earth-grade martial technique manual?" Wang Teng's eyes gleamed slightly upon hearing this. Manuals were generally classified as Heaven-Earth Profound or Yellow grade, and an Earth-grade technique manual was already quite excellent. Although Wang Teng had already reached the Grandmaster realm, he only knew one move, Dragon Breaker Slash. So an Earth-grade technique manual was perfectly suited to his needs. Yes, it is said that when this technique is practiced to its peak, a single strike can annihilate an entire city, Liu Chong said, longing evident in his eyes. In the great Xia martial dynasty, where martial prowess was revered, everyone yearned for supreme strength. That impressive, Wang Teng's interest was piqued. As the two walked and talked, a wild boar suddenly emerged from the tall grass blocking their path. "It's a wild boar." Liu Chong drew a large blade from his back, preparing to slay it. However, Wang Teng acted first, delivering a decisive strike that swiftly killed the beast. As the wild boar fell, Wang Teng's dark iron sword absorbed the life energy from the creature. Feeling this trace of energy merge into the dark iron sword, Wang Teng was secretly thrilled. Killing beasts truly could upgrade weapons. Liu Chong, however, looked rather glum. "Brother, from now on leave these low-level beasts to me. Why use a dragon blade to slaughter a pig? Since you call me brother, how could I let you take the risk? When beasts appear, I will handle them. You can just collect the carcasses behind me," Wang Teng said with an air of righteous generosity, though his true intention was to kill beasts to upgrade. The simple-minded Liu Chong was deeply moved by these words, feeling that Wang Teng was truly like his own brother. Soon the two continued deeper into the mountains, encountering numerous wild deer, mountain tigers, and pythons along the way, all of which Wang Teng dispatched with ease. After killing more than 20 beasts of varying sizes, Wang Teng's dark iron sword upgraded once again, reaching the upper tier of the yellow grade. After slaying a few more beasts, it would advance to the profound grade weapon. Once upgraded to the profound grade, the power of this sword would undergo a qualitative transformation. Wang Teng was no longer satisfied with hunting small beasts, so he spoke to Liu Chong. "Brother Chong, are there any stronger beasts in Hunglai Mountain?" Merely killing these weak beasts was too slow, and he would not secure first place. To upgrade his weapon quickly, while also winning the hunting tournament, he needed to hunt beasts of considerable strength. Beasts of considerable strength are generally found in the northern part of Hunglai Mountain, such as the black-striped tiger, the mighty rhinoceros, and the colorful serpent. However, these beasts possess strength comparable to the innate realm and are not easy to handle, Liu Chong said with evident wariness. He had clearly been there before and knew well the danger of the North Mountain. Yet even as a Grandmaster, Wang Teng still found these beasts too weak. Are there any even higher-level beasts, preferably those with strength comparable to the Grandmaster realm? Wang Teng's sword was eager for battle. He was in a hurry to kill stronger beasts so he could upgrade his weapon more quickly. "There are even higher-level beasts," Liu Chong said, frowning as he thought before pointing toward the mountain peak. "At the summit it is said that dragon eagles reside, their strength matching that of the Grandmaster realm." "Dragon eagle? Is it very powerful?" Wang Teng asked instinctively. "Indeed it is. The dragon eagle is the ruler of all flying beasts. It delights in collecting metallic objects and will even prey upon humans. The wind generated by its wing beats can send people flying," Liu Chong said nervously. "So impressive. Very well, let us go there." Upon hearing the name, Wang Teng felt this beast must be exceptionally powerful. If he could slay this dragon eagle, he would secure first place in the hunting tournament and perhaps even upgrade his sword in the process. However, upon hearing Wang Teng truly intended to hunt a dragon eagle, Liu Chang's legs began to tremble. Brother, the dragon eagle is extremely dangerous. Hundreds, if not thousands of talented young warriors have died at its claws. Let us go to the North Mountain instead. Liu Chang said in terror. If you are afraid, wait here. I will go alone. Wang Teng continued toward the summit on his own, determined to slay the dragon eagle. After hesitating for a moment, Liu Chang could not resist and hurried after him. Wealth and fortune come to those who dare take risks. This time he would gamble as well. Besides, he had Wang Teng, the hero of the Liu family, by his side. Brother, wait for me. I will go with you. The two ascended toward the summit, where the beasts they encountered grew increasingly powerful. They came across many beasts at the innate realm level, but Wang Teng dispatched them all with ease. After killing 7 or 8 innate realm beasts, Wang Teng and Liu Chang finally reached the mountain summit. However, Wang Teng did not find the dragon eagle. Instead, he discovered a stone cave about half a person's height, its interior pitch black and shrouded in mystery. There is a cave here. Let us investigate. Wang Teng bravely stepped forward first, while Liu Chang followed close behind, his face tense with fear of the dragon eagle suddenly appearing. When they arrived at the mouth of the cave, Wang Teng bent down and peered inside. What he saw sent a chill running down his spine. The stone cave was filled with various bones and corpses, many of which were human skeletons. Clearly, these were the leftovers from the dragon eagle's meals. Wang Teng was horrified at the sight, never having imagined that the dragon eagle was so vicious and actually devoured humans. However, among the pile of bones, Wang Teng spotted some metallic objects, even precious items such as gold and silver jewelry. It appeared the creature had dragged all these items here, just as Liu Chang had mentioned, that the dragon eagle had an obsession with collecting metal. As Wang Teng glanced at the bone pile from the corner of his eye, a dark golden sphere within it immediately caught his attention, radiating an inexplicable energy and thick spiritual aura. This proved the dark golden sphere was anything but ordinary. This sphere actually contains spiritual energy. It must be a treasure. Intrigued by the discovery, Wang Teng was about to reach for it, when Liu Chang suddenly screamed from outside the cave. Brother, the dragon eagle is coming. Come out quickly. Hearing this, Wang Teng hurried out of the cave. The moment he emerged, a ferocious eagle screech echoed from above, and a massive dragon eagle swooped down toward him with beating wings. Fortunately, Wang Teng's cultivation had reached the Grandmaster realm, giving him exceptionally quick reflexes. With a single dodge, he easily avoided the dragon eagle's claw strike. When the claw strike failed, the dragon eagle landed in front of the stone cave and spread its enormous wings, guarding the entrance behind it. Clearly, something important was hidden within. After stabilizing himself, Wang Teng carefully studied the dragon eagle. It possessed a dragon's head and an eagle's body with wings spanning over 3 meters when spread. Its eagle eyes radiated an intimidating pressure. What a magnificent dragon eagle. If I slay you, my sword can be upgraded to the mystic grade, Wang Teng thought. He instinctively gripped his black iron sword tighter, feeling no fear. Instead, an inexplicable excitement surged within him. Meanwhile, Liu Chang had long since cowered behind a rock in terror. Brother, be careful. This dragon eagle's strength rivals that of a grandmaster. Liu Chang called out from behind the rock. Stay hidden. I'll handle this dragon eagle. Wang Teng shouted back before charging forward with his sword raised. The dragon eagle saw Wang Teng charging toward it and fiercely flapped its wings. A tremendous gust of wind rushed toward Wang Teng as if trying to blow him away. The wind force was comparable to a level 10 tornado with extraordinary power. Fortunately, Wang Teng had already reached the Grandmaster realm. By concentrating his inner energy, he stabilized his footing and firmly gripped the black iron sword, striking at the dragon eagle with a single swing. Immediately, a sharp sword aura shot straight toward the dragon eagle. The beast had never expected a human to be capable of projecting such energy externally. By the time it spotted the incoming aura, it was already too late to evade. The sword aura struck the dragon eagle's body, directly carving a shallow wound across its flesh as crimson blood began to flow. The dragon eagle let out a pained screech, then launched itself into the sky before diving back down at Wang Teng once more. This time the speed was far greater than before. As it dove downward, an oppressive pressure enveloped Wang Teng, making it nearly impossible for him to move. This was the dragon eagle's unique aura of dominance inherited from its draconic bloodline. Most martial artists of lesser strength would be unable to resist such pressure and could only surrender. Even Wang Teng felt the strain. What overwhelming pressure! This dragon eagle's aura truly is formidable, Wang Teng thought with inner astonishment. Fortunately, he promptly activated the true dragon art, a heavenly grade cultivation technique from the royal family. Once the technique was employed, the dragon's formidable presence within him was awakened. The dragon eagle's oppressive pressure was instantly shattered. Regaining his mobility, Wang Teng gripped his black iron sword tightly and fixed his gaze on the beast as it dove toward him. As the dragon eagle drew near, Wang Tung seized the moment and suddenly swung his sword upward, shouting loudly, "Dragon-breaking slash." The moment the words left his mouth, a colossal sword aura erupted from his black iron sword, possessing power several times greater than before. In the next instant, the dragon eagle let out a terrified cry before being cleaved in two by the immense dragon-breaking slash. Blood splattered through the air like raindrops, eventually cascading down to the ground. With a single sword strike, Wang Tung had slain the dragon eagle. A tremendous surge of energy was absorbed by the black iron sword in Wang Tung's hand. The blood-coated blade then emitted a faint white radiance, and in an instant transformed into the silver-white wind spirit sword. This wind spirit sword was a weapon of the low mystic grade. Wang Tung exhaled softly at the sight of blood pooling across the ground, surprised that the dragon-breaking slash was so devastating. With a single strike, the sword's aura had surged more than threefold. To his delight, after absorbing the dragon eagle's energy, the black iron sword had advanced directly to the low mystic grade, becoming the wind spirit sword. Wang Tung felt a surge of excitement at this revelation. "I've finally upgraded to a mystic grade weapon, complete with the wind spirit attribute. It must be connected to absorbing the dragon eagle's energy." Wang Tung quickly realized that the sword's upgrade was indeed tied to the energy it absorbed. Behind the rock, Liu Clan had witnessed the entire astonishing scene, completely stunned by Wang Tung slaying the dragon eagle with a single strike. "Good heavens, my cousin is just too formidable. He killed a dragon eagle whose strength rivals the Grandmaster realm with just one slash." Liu Clan stood with his mouth agape, unable to close it. After a long while, he emerged from behind the rock. "Brother, you're truly incredible. You actually killed that dragon eagle." Liu Clan said, his eyes filled with admiration. "Just a matter of luck," Wang Tung replied humbly, then remembered something and returned to the cave entrance, bending down to step inside. He retrieved the dark golden sphere from the bone pile. The sphere was roughly the size of an adult's fist, radiating an enigmatic aura and thick spiritual energy throughout its surface. "I wonder what this thing is. But since the dragon eagle was willing to protect it with its life, it must be quite rare." Wang Tung examined it briefly but couldn't determine its nature. He therefore secured it on his person, planning to study it more thoroughly once he returned home. "Brother, hurry and bring back the dragon eagle's corpse. You're certain to win first place at this hunting competition," Liu Clan reminded him with visible delight. Wang Tung nodded and shouldered the dragon eagle's corpse, quickly making his way down the mountain. Liu Clan followed closely behind, his face alight with excitement. They wouldn't be left at the bottom of the rankings anymore. However, as they reached the mountainside, the surrounding brush suddenly churned violently. More than a dozen figures clad in black emerged, each wielding weapons. And critically, every one of them possessed the strength of the innate realm. Their leader, a man with sharp hawk-like eyes and wolfish cunning, had already reached the mid-stage of the Grandmaster realm. "Wang Tung, I finally waited for this moment." A murderous aura crashed toward Wang Tung like a physical force. Faced with the sudden enemies, Wang Tung instantly gripped his wind spirit sword tightly, while Liu Clan similarly clutched his long blade, their postures reflecting a sense of grave peril. "Who are you? Why ambush me here?" Wang Tung scanned the group with piercing eyes and discovered that the dozen or so individuals were all heaven-born experts, while the middle-aged man at their forefront had reached the Grandmaster realm. Even for Wang Tung, faced with so many experts, a hidden shiver of unease ran through him. "I'll tell you so you die with clarity. I am Tang Hong, second in command of the Black Mountain Gang. You killed my third brother several days ago, and I've brought men here specifically for revenge." Tang Hong sneered coldly, his eyes brimming with killing intent. "Black Mountain bandits." Wang Tung frowned inwardly upon hearing this, never having imagined the Black Mountain bandits would so brazenly ambush him in Hung Lai Mountain. Hearing that the opponent was the second in command of the Black Mountain bandits, Liu Clan sucked in a cold breath, his heart growing increasingly tense. "That's right, we are the Black Mountain bandits. To avenge your death, I've brought our entire Black Eagle squad from the Black Mountain Gang. Each one of them is a heaven-born expert." "Well, is this impressive enough for you?" Tang Hong said with an arrogant expression. Upon hearing this, Wang Tung merely furrowed his brows slightly, but when Liu Clan learned that their opponents were all heaven-born experts, he trembled again, with fear, his face turning notably paler. Fortunately, with Wang Tung, a skilled expert beside him, he barely managed to steady himself. "You've given me ample respect. I don't mind if you want to kill me, but this young brother beside me didn't participate in the attack on your third brother. Could you let him go first?" Wang Tung didn't want innocent lives caught in the crossfire and wanted Liu Clan to escape first. However, before Tang Hong could respond, Liu Clan spoke with unwavering resolve. "Brother, I won't leave. If we must die, we die together. If we live together. I will never abandon you and flee alone." Although Liu Clan was terrified at this moment, he still possessed a measure of backbone. As a member of the Liu family, how could he possibly abandon Wang Tung and escape on his own? "Ha, you do have some spirit. But rest assured, even if you don't say it, I won't let you go. Today, both of you will die here." Tang Hong laughed loudly several times, his tone overflowing with arrogance and presumption. Attack! Kill them both! Tang Hong suddenly shouted. At his command, over a dozen heaven-born experts tightened their grip on their large machetes and lunged toward Wang Teng and Liu Chang. Wang Teng gripped his wind spirit sword tightly, a cold smile playing on his lips. Excellent. Come then. As soon as the words fell from his lips, Wang Teng raised his sword and struck downward, slicing toward the nearest Black Mountain bandit. Instantly, a fierce sword aura mixed with wind blades shot forward. The bandit had no time to react before Wang Teng's strike cut him down. Even a heaven-born expert fell to a single sword strike from Wang Teng. A wisp of life energy was once again absorbed by the wind spirit sword. Tang Hong, who had been watching from the periphery, was slightly taken aback. Sword aura projection. This kid's strength has actually reached the Grandmaster realm. Wasn't he only at the peak of Heavenborn? Tang Hong was somewhat surprised. His hand instinctively went to the long blade at his waist, and in the next instant the blade flashed from its sheath as he surged toward Wang Teng. Wang Teng's strength had completely exceeded his expectations. He could no longer stand by and watch his men being slaughtered, so Tang Hong was forced to enter the fray himself. At that moment, Wang Teng had just killed 3 more Black Mountain bandits in succession. When he suddenly saw Tang Hong charging in, his expression tightened, and he raised his sword to meet the attack. Young man, your strength truly surprises me. But this is where it ends. You will die here today. Tang Hong roared, then delivered a powerful downward strike toward Wang Teng. As the blade descended, a sharp wave of blade energy surged straight toward Wang Teng. Instead of retreating, Wang Teng pressed forward, counterattacking with his own sword. The sword chi, now enhanced by wind blades, carried significantly greater power. The sword chi and blade energy collided in midair, almost immediately canceling each other out. It was clear the two were evenly matched in strength. Wang Teng was slightly startled upon seeing this. His sword chi was infused with wind spirit power, far more formidable than ordinary sword energy. Yet even so, Tang Hong had matched it with a single strike, indicating that in terms of true combat ability, Tang Hong surpassed him. Tang Hong was likewise surprised. He hadn't expected Wang Teng's strength to be on par with his own. However, he didn't cease his assault, instead continuing to swing his blade at Wang Teng. Just as Wang Teng prepared to raise his sword and engage further, an anguished scream rang out from behind. It was Liu Chang. Surrounded by other Black Mountain bandits, he couldn't fight off multiple attackers at once. Struck by several blade wounds, his body was drenched in blood. Chang Dik. Upon seeing this, Wang Teng immediately turned and rushed toward him. With swift sword strikes, he killed 2 Black Mountain bandits in succession before reaching Liu Chang's side. Chang Di, are you alright? Wang Teng asked with deep concern as he looked at Liu Chang covered in blood. Brother, I'm afraid I won't make it. Don't worry about me. Escape while you can. Liu Chang managed to speak through his pain. I will not abandon you. As long as I draw breath, no one will kill you, Wang Teng said resolutely. Brother, if I stay, I'll only be a burden. If you flee alone, they won't be able to catch you. Liu Chang wanted to continue persuading, but Wang Teng cut him off sharply. I told you I will not leave you to flee alone. The moment the words left his mouth, Wang Teng gripped his wind spirit sword tightly and struck at the nearby Black Mountain bandits, killing 2 more on the spot. Witnessing this, Tang Hong was consumed by rage. Young man, I'll send you to your death. Gathering the spiritual energy within his body and channeling it into his long blade, he brought it down upon Wang Teng with devastating force. Earth-severing slash. With Tang Hong's thunderous cry, a blade energy far more ferocious than before surged toward Wang Teng and Liu Chang. The overwhelming momentum raised clouds of earth from the surrounding ground. Seeing this, Wang Teng shielded Liu Chang behind him, then firmly gripped his wind spirit sword and struck forward without hesitation. Dragon Breaker Slash. This was Wang Teng's ultimate technique. As his sword descended, an extraordinarily powerful Dragon Breaker Slash, infused with wind blades, charged straight ahead. When the two energies collided in midair, Tang Hong's earth-severing slash was shattered instantaneously, while the sword energy lost only a fraction of its power. In the next moment, this overwhelming blade force struck directly at Tang Hong himself. Impossible. My earth-severing slash has been shattered. Tang Hong stared in utter shock and disbelief. Before the thought could fully form, the sword energy struck his right arm. In an instant, the entire arm was severed at the shoulder. Crimson blood erupted from the wound as Tang Hong let out a scream of agony, his head thrown back. My hand. My hand. Tang Hong clutching his wound, his face draining of color. The remaining Black Mountain bandits nearby were paralyzed with terror at the scene. In stark contrast, Wang Teng stood gripping his sword like the Reaper himself, his gaze locking onto them. Since you've come, not a single one of you leaves this place alive. Tang Hong was the second in command of their Black Mountain sect, second only to the leader in strength. Yet even this formidable expert had his arm severed by Wang Teng. In an instant, they dared not advance further for fear seized them. Meanwhile, Wang Teng, gripping the wind spirit sword in hand, set his gaze upon them. Since you are here, not a single one of you shall leave. Wang Tung resembled the Grim Reaper, striking such terror into the Black Mountain bandits that they shuddered violently. Seeing this, Tang Hong also felt dread well up. He never imagined Wang Tung's strength was so immense. Not only had he shattered his earth-splitting slash with a single sword strike, but he had also chopped off his arm. At this moment, he considered fleeing. If he did not escape soon, he would likely perish here. However, he did not openly flee. Instead, he loudly ordered the remaining 5 members of the Black Eagle squad. Attack together. He has little spiritual power left now. Despite being the second-in-command's order, and although the Black Eagle squad members feared Wang Tung's terrifying strength, they still swung their blades at him. Surrounded by 5 innate realm experts, Wang Tung could not spare the energy to pursue Tang Hong. Seeing that Wang Tung was occupied, Tang Hong immediately clutched his severed arm wound and turned to flee toward the back of the mountain, secretly vowing revenge. Wang Tung, just you wait. I will exterminate your entire Liu Clan. Soon Tang Hong vanished into the mountain forest. By the time Wang Tung had dispatched the remaining 5 Black Eagle squad members, Tang Hong was long gone. Damn it, he actually got away. Wang Tung planted the wind spirit sword into the ground, breathing heavily. The recent fierce battle had nearly exhausted all his strength and spiritual power. Even if he wished to give chase now, it was impossible. Fortunately, after slaying so many innate realm experts, the wind spirit sword had absorbed considerable energy and directly advanced to the mystic tier middle grade. Its wind blade's power had intensified and its edge had grown sharper. After finishing all this, Wang Tung turned and walked directly to Liu Chang's side. Changdi, you are all right now. I have slaughtered all the Black Mountain bandits. I will take you out now. Gu, you are truly amazing. All those Black Mountain bandits tried to kill you, yet you single-handedly turned the tables on them all. Liu Chang said weakly, his eyes filled with admiration. I will bandage your wounds first, then carry you out. Wang Tung said, quickly bandaging Liu Chang's wound. He then hoisted him onto his back and bent down to pick up the dragon eagle corpse from the ground. This was proof of his prowess at the hunting tournament. He could not afford to lose it. As the sun set in the west, Wang Tung trudged down the mountain step by step with difficulty. However, midway, he suddenly encountered other participants of the hunting tournament. It was a small team of 4 or 5 individuals. When they saw Wang Tung dragging a dragon eagle corpse, their eyes lit up. Brothers, this kid is dragging a dragon eagle corpse. Let us seize it. The first place in this year's hunting tournament will be ours, exclaimed one member of the small team excitedly. However, Wang Tung merely cast a cold glance. Those who wish to die may come and try to seize it. As he spoke, Wang Tung casually swung his sword at a tree ahead. Instantly, a sword chi streak like a ribbon shot out, severing the tree from over 10 meters away. Immediately, the great tree fell with a crash. The small team member who witnessed this was filled with horror. Sword chi projected outward. This is Grandmaster Realm. These hunting members were instantly paralyzed with fear. The strongest among them was merely at the early stage of innate realm. Encountering a Grandmaster Realm expert was truly courting death. Sorry to disturb you, they apologized, then scattered in terror. Liu Chang on his back saw this and felt admiration surge anew. Gu, you are so impressive. A single glance and you scared them off. In the future, I want to be like you, Liu Chang said regarding Wang Tung as his ultimate idol. Wait until your wounds heal, then we will see. Wang Tung smiled and continued walking down the mountain. As the sun gradually set, the crowd at the mountain foot grew increasingly anxious. According to the rules, the hunting tournament would officially end once the sun set. Liu Yanxi watched as the hunting members emerged one by one, yet her husband Wang Tung had not yet appeared, causing her some worry and anxiety. Will my husband be all right? Rest assured, daughter. Wang Tung is so powerful, nothing will happen to him. Lu Guan noticed his daughter's concern and came over to comfort her. I hope so. Although Liu Yanxi said this, she remained worried inside. Soon most of the hunting members descended the mountain with their hunting spoils. The young disciples of the Fong and Shao families had made significant catches, slaying many high-tier beasts. Fong Deshou and Xiao Han looked pleased with their clan members, and while not forgetting, deliberately boasted in front of Lu Guan. Alas, this year our Fong family's highest kill was a black-striped tiger leopard, which is only at the late stage of innate realm. It is truly getting worse year by year. Our Shao family is the same. Our highest kill was just a colorful serpent, also seemingly at the late stage of innate realm. The two played off each other, complaining about their clan's lackluster disciples, but it was all a show to impress Lu Guan. Lu Guan remained silent, but felt deeply irritated inside. Sure enough, after boasting, they turned to ask Lu Guan, by the way, brother Lu, what beast did your Lu family disciple hunt this year? What is the rush? Our Lu family disciples have not returned yet, Lu Guan said impatiently. The sun is almost setting, and they still are not out. I fear bad luck awaits them, said Fong Deshou. Indeed, if they do not come out soon, it counts as no achievement. Brother Lu, it seems your Lu family will again finish last at this year's hunting tournament, added Xiao Han from the side with a mocking tone. What is the hurry? The time has not arrived yet. Lu Guan felt a surge of frustration within. He then looked up at the sky. The sunset signaled the end of the hunting tournament. If Wang Teng did not emerge before then, it would mean no achievement. At this thought, Lu Guan could not help but grow anxious. Brother Lu, did you not say earlier that your Lu family would surely take first place this year? How come there is nothing yet? Xiaohan mocked. Yes, where is your son-in-law, Brother Lu? My youngest daughter told me your son-in-law is not only handsome, but also outstanding. Why has he not come out yet? Could he have been eaten by a beast in the mountains? Fang Deshou also could not resist chiming in with mockery. A pretty face, Brother Lu. Do you really expect him to help you win first place at this hunting tournament? Xiaohan again added his teasing remarks. However, as soon as he finished speaking, a person emerged from the Honglai Mountains. The onlooking crowd all gasped in surprise upon seeing that person. Oh my goodness, that person is dragging a dragon eagle. The crowd exclaimed. Fang Deshou and Xiaohan, hearing this, instinctively turned to look. Upon seeing the newcomer, they were utterly stunned on the spot. Wang Teng's sudden appearance instantly captured the attention of everyone present, especially the carcass of the dragon eagle in his grasp. One must know that the dragon eagle was a flying beast whose strength rivaled the Grandmaster realm. Among the younger disciples, rarely could anyone hunt such a creature. To be capable of slaying it was proof enough that this young man's strength had already attained the Grandmaster realm. For a moment, everyone present was utterly astounded by Wang Teng's prowess. Over the past decade, this was the very first time someone had successfully hunted a beast of the Grandmaster realm. Fang Deshou and Xiaohan, the patriarchs of two great clans, were already completely dumbfounded. Seeing that it was his own son-in-law who had slain the dragon eagle, Lu Guanan was momentarily overcome with ecstatic joy. Brother Fang, Brother Xiao, my son-in-law has emerged. Do you see that? What he holds is a dragon eagle, a beast of the Grandmaster realm. Lu Guanan could not contain his excitement. He could finally hold his head high and vent his pride before these two old friends. Upon hearing this, the expressions of Fang Deshou and Xiaohan turned exceedingly unsightly. Never in their wildest dreams did they expect Lu Guanan's words to actually ring true. The Lu family was truly going to claim first place in this year's hunting grand meet. By the way, Brother Xiao, there is a wager between us. If our Lu family takes first place in this hunting grand meet, you must crawl all the way back to Qi City. You better not go back on your word. Having spoken these words with a hearty chuckle, Lu Guanan walked briskly toward Wang Teng. Although he had maintained a completely relaxed facade before Fang Deshou and Xiaohan, he was actually incredibly anxious. He had seen that Wang Teng was drenched in blood, and on his back, he carried the severely injured Lu Chang. This made him deeply worried about the physical condition of both Wang Teng and Lu Chang. Lu Yinxi, however, rushed to Wang Teng's side, even a step ahead of Lu Guanan. Husband, are you all right? Lu Yinxi scanned the blood-drenched Wang Teng from head to toe, her face filled with distress and anxiety. I am fine, merely exhausted of my strength. However, Brother Chang is quite severely injured, Wang Teng said as he gently lowered Lu Chang from his back. Seeing this, Lu Guanan stepped forward quickly to take hold of the heavily wounded Lu Chang. Upon inspecting the wounds, his expression changed drastically. Worthy son-in-law, did you engage in a life-and-death struggle with others? There are so many blade wounds. Lu Guanan recognized at a glance that the wounds on Lu Chang were caused by blades. Instantly, he suspected that it was the doing of other families, causing a surge of suppressed fury to rise within his chest. If that were indeed the case, he would absolutely not let them off lightly. Yet Wang Teng's subsequent reply left Lu Guanan utterly shocked. It was the doing of the Black Mountain Bandits. Their second-in-command led the Black Eagle squad to ambush us in the mountains. Fortunately, my strength has reached the Grandmaster realm, otherwise we might have perished in the mountains today. Wang Teng recounted the events briefly. Hearing this, Lu Chang also spoke up weakly. Uncle cousin-in-law is truly formidable. He single-handedly slaughtered 12 of the Black Mountain Bandits, Xiantian realm experts, and even severed an arm of their second-in-command Tang Hong. These words left Lu Guanan thoroughly astounded. A Grandmaster at such a young age who had also wiped out the Black Eagle squad of the Black Mountain Bandits single-handedly. Such courage and strength were definitely beyond the reach of ordinary men. For a moment, Lu Guanan's admiration for his son-in-law deepened even further. Worthy son-in-law, you have done exceptionally well. Go and rest first. Leave the remaining matters to me to handle. Lu Guanan's eyes were filled with approval and praise for Wang Teng. Upon hearing this, Lu Yinxi immediately supported Wang Teng. Husband, let me help you to the carriage first. Lu Yinxi's eyes were filled with deep distress and concern. It is fine, I can walk on my own, Wang Teng said with a smile. You are already in this state, and you still insist on forcing yourself. Lu Yinxi persisted. All right then. Wang Teng could only allow Lu Yinxi to support him. As they drew close, he could smell the refreshing and delightful scent of orchid-like fragrance wafting from her. On the way to the carriage, they ran into Lu Yinxi's two close friends Fang Qing and Xiao Tingting. When they saw that Wang Teng was not only remarkably handsome, but also possessed such formidable strength, a hint of envy and jealousy flickered in their eyes. Seeing this, Wang Teng whispered to Lu Yinxi, my lady, I did not disgrace you this time. From now on you can hold your head high in front of your friends. Liu Yinchi had not expected that Wang Tung had fought so desperately just to make her proud, and she was deeply moved. I do not need you to bring me honor. I only want you to be safe. Liu Yinchi's desires were always so simple and unpretentious, yet her words were filled with profound concern and worry for Wang Tung. The hunting grand meet drew to a successful close, and Wang Tung, by virtue of hunting the dragon eagle, secured first place in the tournament in one fell swoop. The reward was an earth-grade technique, the dragon imprisoning palm. This was a palm technique capable of both binding an opponent and continuously destroying their physical body. Upon returning to the Liu residence, Wang Tung immediately went back to his room and took out the manual to study it. In Wang Tung's view, this palm technique was quite similar to a crowd control skill in a game, with the added benefit of physical damage. The dragon imprisoning palm seems rather useful. If I had known this move earlier, the second-in-command of the Black Mountain Bandits wouldn't have escaped. Sitting on his bed, Wang Tung felt quite satisfied with this technique. If used in tandem with the dragon shattering slash, the effect might be even better. First, use the dragon imprisoning palm to restrain the enemy, and then strike with the dragon shattering slash. This way, slaying opposing experts would be foolproof. With this thought, Wang Tung sat cross-legged and began to cultivate according to the manual. Given Wang Tung's current 1 in a million talent, he mastered the dragon imprisoning palm after only a brief period of practice. Let's test it on that chair over there first. Wang Tung muttered as he circulated the spiritual energy within his body, extending his right hand toward a chair 2 meters away. Dragon imprisoning palm. Wang Tung let out a low shout. An invisible palm condensed from spiritual energy swiftly clawed toward the chair, seizing it in a spiritual grip almost instantly. In the very next second, the chair shattered under the pressure. Seeing this, Wang Tung was secretly delighted. The power of the dragon imprisoning palm seemed to exceed his expectations. Not only can this dragon imprisoning palm restrain opponents, but its damage is actually this immense. No wonder Brother Chong said that the reward for first place could destroy a city with a single strike. If cultivated to its peak, it really might be possible to obliterate an entire city. This earth-grade technique is indeed formidable. Wang Tung was highly satisfied with the dragon imprisoning palm. Then, remembering something, he fished out a dark gold metal sphere from his robes. I wonder what this is. Wang Tung turned it over in his hands, examining it closely. He couldn't make out anything from its exterior, but he felt that the object was highly mysterious and faintly emanated spiritual energy. Let's try infusing some spiritual energy into it. Wang Tung attempted to channel his spiritual energy inside. As the spiritual energy entered the dark gold metal sphere, it suddenly split open from the middle. Seeing this, Wang Tung felt a sudden surge of excitement, expecting some sort of treasure inside. To his surprise, once the metal sphere opened, there was only a slip of paper within. To think there is only a slip of paper inside. I wonder what is written on it. Wang Tung instinctively pulled out the slip of paper and unfolded it. With a single glance, he was completely horrified by what he saw. After Wang Tung opened the note, he saw only a few words written on it. The Xiliu Tower at the Temple Fair awaits a meeting with Your Highness the Crown Prince, Han Yen of the Xiliu Pavilion. Upon seeing these words, Wang Tung was thoroughly frightened. Yes, frightened. Since his transmigration, Wang Tung had always believed no one had discovered his true identity as the Crown Prince, but now he realized he was wrong. Someone had known all along, and had even set a trap for him. This filled Wang Tung not only with the shock of having his identity exposed, but also with the terror of being meticulously orchestrated. In other words, the person behind this not only saw through his identity, but had also placed this metal sphere in the dragon eagle's nest beforehand. What was most terrifying was that the opponent had anticipated he would go after the dragon eagle and retrieve the metal sphere. It was clear this person calculated every move with precision. Extraordinarily formidable. Xiliu Pavilion's Han Yen. Wang Tung sat on the bed carefully, trying to recall, sensing that the Xiliu Pavilion was truly formidable. Within the original prince's memories were fragments of information about the Xiliu Pavilion. Indeed, after Wang Tung thoroughly retraced those memories, he finally uncovered details about the Xiliu Pavilion. The Xiliu Pavilion was the most mysterious organization in the Great Xia Wu dynasty, operating independently beyond both the imperial court and the Jianghu, possessing an unparalleled intelligence network. From the imperial palace's inner chambers to the beggar's quarters, they had ways of obtaining relevant information. Most famous were the Great Xia Martial Ranking and the Weapon Compendium, both produced by the Xiliu Pavilion. Rumors even circulated among Jianghu fortune-tellers that he who obtains the Xiliu shall obtain the world. Thus, though the Xiliu Pavilion remained apart from the Jianghu itself was filled with legends of her. Previously, when the Crown Prince had vied with his imperial brothers, he had visited the Xiliu Pavilion only to be coldly rejected. Now in his downfall, the Xiliu Pavilion actually sought him out, which greatly surprised Wang Tung. As for Han Yen, she was the master of the Xiliu Pavilion, her strategic brilliance and martial prowess standing among the finest in Great Xia. Renowned as a celestial being descended to the mortal realm, she was a rare beauty unmatched in both literary grace and martial skill. Thinking of the Xiliu Pavilion's fearsome and peerless intelligence network, Wang Ting suddenly understood why they had found him. Yet he could not fathom why the Xiliu Pavilion would seek him out at this moment. With such meticulous planning and elaborate scheming, the Xiliu Pavilion did all this merely to see me once. Why not come directly but instead employ such convoluted means? Wang Ting furrowed his brows, sensing the Xiliu Pavilion's motives were far from simple. Yet regardless, he felt it necessary to meet with Han Yin, the master of the Xiliu Pavilion. After dawn broke, Liu Yinxi personally prepared several breakfast dishes for Wang Ting, all made with ingredients to replenish qi and essence blood. Husband, I've prepared many delicious dishes for you. Come taste them quickly. Replenish the qi and blood you expended yesterday. As she called out, Liu Yinxi brought forth all the breakfast items from the food boxes. Madam, from now on let the servants handle such matters. How can a young lady of your stature perform menial labor each day? Wang Ting said with heartfelt tenderness. Husband worked so hard yesterday, and since I cannot assist in any other way, I can only prepare meals for you, said Liu Yinxi with commendable understanding. Madam's cooking is already excellent. After we finish eating, I will take you to the temple fair, Wang Ting said with a smile. Liu Yinxi felt a surge of delight in her heart. She had long looked forward to visiting the temple fair with Wang Ting, as it would deepen their bond. This temple fair was held in the Eastern District. Besides various delicacies, there were street performers and even Jianghu entertainers. Wang Ting and Liu Yinxi walked shoulder to shoulder along the bustling fair street, appreciating these novel diversions together. Wang Ting had never encountered such things in his previous world, yet here he saw them all. Madam, is this candied hawthorn? Why is it glowing? Wang Ting asked, curiously pointing at a string of luminous candied hawthorn. This is called fluorescent candied hawthorn. The coating is made from a peculiar sugar powder. It's quite delicious. Very sweet. As she spoke, Liu Yinxi took out coins to pay the vendor for 2 strings of candied hawthorn. Here, husband, try the delicious candied hawthorn. Liu Yinxi held out a string to Wang Ting. He took it and couldn't resist taking a bite. It truly was very sweet. Does it taste good? Liu Yinxi asked gently. Delicious, very sweet. Let's go check out that side. Wang Ting nodded. The glowing candied hawthorn was indeed far superior to anything he had tasted back on Earth. The key difference was that inside was not hawthorn, but a strange fruit, neither sour in taste, but sweet, evoking the feeling of being in love. The two continued walking forward. The temple fair was filled with many couples, some holding hands, others arm in arm, appearing deeply intimate. Only Wang Ting and Liu Yinxi walked shoulder to shoulder with no intimate interaction whatsoever. Wang Ting, being rather dense, hardly thought much about it. He had never dated in his past life and didn't know how to interact with a girlfriend. Liu Yinxi, however, felt a touch of longing and envy. With watery eyes, she secretly glanced at Wang Ting. Seeing him only admiring the novel street performances at the fair, she harbored a quiet complaint. Since he would not take the initiative, she would have to. After taking a deep breath, she stealthily extended her hand, both shy and nervous, hoping to hold Wang Ting's hand. Just as she was about to make contact, Wang Ting seemed to notice something novel and suddenly ran off in another direction. The failed hand holding left Liu Yinxi with a quiet sense of disappointment. Madam, come quickly. There are rabbits spinning around here. Wang Ting waved at Liu Yinxi. All right, I'm coming. Liu Yinxi responded, composing herself before hurrying after him. But as she drew near, a large hand suddenly reached out and grasped hers firmly. Liu Yinxi was startled at first, then looked up. When she realized Wang Ting was holding her hand, her heart raced like a frightened deer, and her pretty face flushed crimson all the way to her ears. If not for the white veil covering her face, she would likely have been even more flustered. Wang Ting, being at the Grandmaster realm, had long noticed Liu Yinxi's actions. But how could a girl be the one to initiate hand-holding? So Wang Ting deliberately stepped away for a moment before taking the initiative to hold her hand himself. Her tender, fair hand felt silken and smooth in his grasp, evoking a reluctance to let go. So this is how smooth a girl's hand is. Wang Ting was holding a girl's hand for the first time, and his heartbeat unexpectedly quickened, though he maintained a calm exterior. Both had never held hands before, and their heartbeats raced in unison, but gradually they grew accustomed to the sensation. After enjoying the fair for some time, their stomachs began to rumble. Husband, let's eat something. Liu Yinxi rubbed her stomach. Very well. Which restaurant on this fair street serves good food? Having just arrived, Wang Ting had no idea which establishment was worth visiting. Let's go to Xiliu Tower. The ambience is fine, and the dishes are quite upscale. Liu Yinxi considered for a moment before speaking. Xiliu Tower. At this mention, Wang Ting suddenly remembered the note inside the metal sphere. Han Yin of the Xiliu Pavilion seemed to be waiting for him inside the Xiliu Tower. After a moment's hesitation, Wang Ting nodded. Very well, then let us go to Xiliu Tower. Xiliu Tower was the most renowned upscale restaurant in Xiqing. Not only were the dishes exquisite, but the ambience was also exceedingly elegant, even featuring traditional melodies for the patrons' enjoyment. Consequently, those who could afford to dine here were invariably wealthy. By the time Wang Teng and Liu Yinxi arrived at Xiliu Tower, a considerable number of patrons had already gathered. The first floor served as the main dining hall, while the second floor housed private rooms. Honored guests, the main hall is fully occupied. Would you care to dine in a private room upstairs? A waiter immediately greeted them with warm enthusiasm. Very well, let us go to a private room. Wang Teng agreed with a nod, and Liu Yinxi raised no objection. However, as they passed through the first floor hall, many diners turned their heads to stare, utterly captivated by Wang Teng's exceptionally handsome appearance. His fame had spread rapidly, particularly after clinching first place in the Hunting Grand Assembly. Is that not the champion of this year's Hunting Grand Assembly? He is so incredibly handsome. Indeed, not only is he remarkably good-looking, but his talent and strength are also formidable. He must surely be considered the premier young talent of our teaching right. What a pity, though. Such an outstanding man, yet he took an ugly woman as his wife. The Liu family truly struck gold this time. To think that throwing a silk ball would secure them such an exceptional son-in-law. Standing side by side, that ugly daughter of the Liu family seems utterly unworthy of him. In the main hall, numerous diners stared and whispered about Wang Teng and Liu Yinxi, their gossip surprisingly unanimous. And that consensus was that the unsightly Liu Yinxi was entirely unworthy of the brilliant young talent Wang Teng. Hearing their hushed discussions, Liu Yinxi felt a wave of despondency wash over her. Her eyes dimmed, and she lowered her head in self-deprecation. After all, they were not wrong. With her unsightly appearance, she indeed seemed unworthy of the brilliant Wang Teng. Yet, just as Liu Yinxi was about to let go of Wang Teng's hand, he tightened his grip, holding her even more firmly. Do not listen to their idle chatter. You are my wife, and I am your husband. Did we not promise to remain devoted to each other, sharing life and death together? Wang Teng said, his gaze filled with tenderness. His words deeply moved Liu Yinxi. She had not expected Wang Teng to be so earnest in his affection for her, and her heart instantly felt much lighter. Following the waiter to the second floor, they entered a private room with a rather elegant ambience. Are you satisfied with this room, esteemed guests? The waiter asked warmly. Wang Teng glanced around the private room. Finding the environment serene and the lighting bright, he nodded and replied, Excellent, we will take this one. Liu Yinxi was also very pleased with the room. Once seated, she began to order dishes with practiced ease, selecting Xiliu Tower specialties as well as Wang Teng's favorites. Salt and pepper chicken, braised bamboo shoots, osmanthus fish, and ginseng mushroom soup. Please wait a moment, guests, the waiter called out before turning to leave. However, he returned shortly after. While Liu Yinxi and Wang Teng looked on in confusion, the waiter addressed Wang Teng. Young master, our proprietor wishes to meet you. Your proprietor? Wang Teng suddenly thought of Han Yan from the Qilin Pavilion, so he nodded and said, Very well, lead the way. Before leaving, Wang Teng comforted Liu Yinxi, telling her he would return shortly and urging her to start eating first. Following the waiter out of the private room, they made their way up to the third floor. Normally, the third floor was not open to the public, so it was completely deserted. The waiter led Wang Teng to a room on the third floor and stopped. Young master, our proprietor is waiting for you inside, the waiter said before turning to depart. Without hesitation, Wang Teng pushed the door open and stepped inside. Upon entering the room, Wang Teng beheld an exquisitely beautiful woman sitting elegantly sipping tea. She wore a radiant crimson gown, holding a red phoenix feather fan in one hand, while gracefully cradling a teacup in the other. Her aura was noble, elegant, composed, and wise, carrying an air of effortless tranquility. Above all, her beauty was peerless, such that even terms like devastatingly beautiful seemed inadequate. It was Wang Teng's first time beholding a woman of such elegance and grace, far surpassing any female celebrity on earth. Once Wang Teng entered, the door closed automatically. Crown Prince, you have arrived. Please have a seat. I have personally brewed some Dahompo tea for you. Han Yin parted her crimson lips, slightly pouring a cup of tea for Wang Teng as she spoke, and gracefully offered it to him. Thank you. Are you Han Yin of the Qilin Pavilion? Wang Teng did not take the cup, choosing to ask first. He was highly cautious now, before understanding her intentions, he had to remain on guard. If she had been sent by his imperial brother, it would be troublesome indeed. Indeed, I am Han Yin, the pavilion master of the Qilin Pavilion. Han Yin replied, gently swaying her red phoenix feather fan. Then the note inside the metal sphere was also placed by you. Wang Teng sat down and pressed further. He needed to clarify everything, especially when she had first seen through his identity. Indeed, Han Yin replied calmly, taking another sip of her tea. In that case, how did you foresee that I would ascend to the peak of Mount Honglai to capture the dragon eagle, and that I would take the metal sphere you left behind? Wang Teng continued to ask, his brow furrowed. Being manipulated in someone else's scheme was a highly unpleasant feeling, and he was determined to uncover the truth. Well, all of this begins from the moment you caught the silk ball thrown by the unsightly daughter of the Liu family, Han Yin said unhurriedly. Hearing this, Wang Teng's brow furrowed slightly. Did you see through my true identity at that very moment? Wang Teng asked instinctively. It was not a matter of seeing through you, but rather our interest in you was rekindled. Han Yin offered a faint smile. What do you mean? Wang Teng asked, frowning. Han Yin took an elegant sip of her dahongpo before slowly resuming her tale. As the crown prince of the great Xia martial dynasty, we have always kept an eye on you. However, when your cultivation was destroyed by the third prince during the struggle for the throne, and you were forced to flee in wretched disgrace, we deemed you entirely devoid of any hope for a comeback. Thus we gradually lost interest in you. Originally, I assumed you would die in obscurity out there until you caught the silk ball of the Liu family's unsightly daughter. Oh, is that so? Wang Teng remarked calmly. Indeed. The unsightly daughter of the Liu family is famous throughout Qiqing. When she threw the silk ball to find a husband, no one dared to catch it, yet it was caught by a beggar. Han Yin paused, then continued with great interest. Initially, when my subordinates brought me this news, I merely dismissed it as trivial gossip. Little did I expect that upon a brief investigation, I would discover this so-called beggar was actually the crown prince of our great Xia martial dynasty. Wang Teng had not realized his catching of the silk ball had caused such a sensation. However, he quickly came to terms with it and interrupted, and that was when you became interested in me again. No, marrying an unsightly wife would never arouse our interest, nor would it affect the course of the succession struggle. What truly rekindled our interest in you was the incident during the Liu family's escort mission. Speaking of this, Han Yan's phoenix-like eyes suddenly flashed with a brilliant light. A crippled man with completely shattered meridians actually single-handedly slaughtered 66 Black Mountain bandits, even slaying their third chief Tang Han. This is precisely what rekindled the interest of our Qilin pavilion. Hearing this, Wang Teng could not help but marvel at the formidable intelligence-gathering capabilities of the Qilin pavilion. They had actually investigated his escort mission in such meticulous detail, even recording the exact number of people he had slain more precisely than he himself could remember. So that is how it is, Wang Teng said in sudden realization. It was from that very moment that our Qilin pavilion began to focus closely on you once again. As for this hunting grand assembly, to be precise, it was merely a test of your true strength. Han Yin took a sip of tea, then continued in a leisurely and unhurried manner. If you lacked the strength to obtain this metal sphere, it would mean you still had no hope of turning the tables. But if you did manage to secure it, it would prove that you had encountered some miraculous fortune, causing your strength to advance by leaps and bounds, thereby granting you a sliver of hope to reverse your fortunes. This explanation sent a silent shiver of shock through Wang Teng's heart. So this metal sphere was merely a test devised by the Qilin pavilion. No wonder they had placed it inside the Dragon Eagle's nest. The Dragon Eagle was the most powerful beast on Hunglai Mountain. Since Wang Teng had participated in the hunting grand assembly, he would undoubtedly exhaust every means to hunt it down, and Dragon Eagles were known for their habit of collecting metallic objects. They had calculated that once the Dragon Eagle was slain, Wang Teng would inevitably go to inspect its nest. Furthermore, this metal sphere, radiating a mysterious aura and spiritual energy, was bound to catch Wang Teng's attention. Thus, every single step had been calculated precisely according to Wang Teng's psychology. One had to admit that Han Yin was truly infallible in her calculations. For the first time, Wang Teng keenly felt the terrifying weight of that phrase. Since you went through such trouble to summon me here, what is your purpose? Wang Teng asked back, his brow furrowed. Naturally, it is to help you defeat your imperial brother, Han Yin replied, a faint smile gracing her red lips. Is that so? I recall visiting you once a long time ago, only to be ruthlessly rejected. Why is it that now, when I have absolutely nothing left, you proactively come to my door offering assistance? Wang Teng spoke in a calm and different tone. In the original memories of the Crown Prince, he had indeed paid a visit to the Qilin Pavilion, but he had been turned away by them. Thus this time Wang Teng was highly curious about their intentions. In the past, the timing was not right. But now things are different, Han Yin said with a mysterious smile. Oh, what is the difference? Wang Teng inquired curiously. In the past, your highness was surrounded by civil ministers and military generals. Even if our Qilin Pavilion had followed you, it would have merely been adding flowers to a brocade. But now your highness is completely alone. Our assistance at this moment is akin to offering charcoal in a blizzard. Your highness will naturally value us highly. Han Yin spoke thus. However, the true reason was far less noble than the beautiful words she uttered. Back then, the reason the Qilin Pavilion refused to help the Crown Prince was that they did not think highly of him. Believing his talent to be mediocre, they assumed that even with their assistance he could not contend against the third prince, and they had no desire to invite disaster upon themselves. The reason they were proactively seeking an alliance now was that Wang Teng's performance over the past few days had completely defied their expectations. The rapid advancement of his strength had far exceeded their predictions. Only then did the Qilin Pavilion decide to emerge and assist the Crown Prince. Furthermore, with no one currently by his side, it was the perfect time to negotiate terms. What a splendid offering, charcoal in a blizzard, Wang Teng chuckled. He was no fool. Excessive courtesy without reason always masked a hidden agenda. How could such a wonderful thing exist in this world? What is it? Does your highness not believe my words? Han Yin said, gently pursing her red lips. Wang Teng did not answer directly. In truth, ever since his transmigration, he had never harbored any desire to contend for the throne with the third prince. He only wanted to live a peaceful life. As someone from Earth, Wang Teng had little interest in the struggle for imperial succession. Moreover, the third prince had already consolidated his power. Attempting to overthrow him was far too perilous and could easily cost him his life. Thus he changed the subject. But now I have no desire to contend for the throne with my imperial brother. As long as he ceases his attempts on my life, I do not mind yielding the throne to him. Wang Teng truly thought this way. If his imperial brother were willing to stop hunting him down, Wang Teng would gladly relinquish the position to him free of charge. However, these naive words left Han Yin utterly flabbergasted. Your Highness, are you jesting? The struggle for the throne has always been a life or death matter. Moreover, you are currently the crown prince of the great Xia martial dynasty, the primary heir to the throne. Do you truly believe he would ever let you go? Han Yin said in disbelief. Wang Teng naturally understood the cruelty of succession struggles. Whether from the crown prince's memories or the television dramas he had watched back on Earth, everything pointed to one absolute truth: the path to the throne was paved with blood. Seeing that Wang Teng remained silent, Han Yin could not help but continue her persuasion. Your Highness, as long as you have our Qilin Pavilion backing you, we guarantee you can make a triumphant comeback. Seeing Han Yin so eager to assist him, Wang Teng's eyes flickered with curiosity as he probed. What are the terms for the Qilin Pavilion to assist me? Wang Teng was no fool. He was currently isolated and helpless, yet the Qilin Pavilion was in such a hurry to aid him. They naturally had their own motives. It was absolutely impossible that they were doing this simply out of the goodness of their hearts. Han Yin did not answer directly, but instead gently pursed her red lips and said, I heard that ever since your highness secured first place in the hunting grand assembly, many young ladies in Qi City have fallen in love with you. I have not heard of such a thing. Wang Teng was deeply puzzled as to why Han Yin was changing the subject. To be honest, I, Han Yin, also deeply admire your highness. Han Yin confessed her affection in an outright manner. Of course, whether this confession was genuine or feigned was something only Han Yin herself knew. You admire me? Hell, Wang Teng chuckled. He was no fool. They had only just met for the first time, yet she claimed to admire him. Where had she been before this? However, Han Yin's words triggered a realization in Wang Teng. He then said in a solemn voice, Pavilion Master, if you have something to say, you might as well speak plainly instead of beating around the bush. Then I shall speak plainly. I wish to marry your highness, bringing the Qilin Pavilion as my dowry. In the future, when your highness rules over the world, you need only crown me as your empress. Han Yin suddenly said, her phoenix-like eyes filled with seriousness. These words took Wang Teng completely by surprise. He had never expected that Han Yin would actually desire to become the empress. Her ambition was indeed immense. But the problem was that in a few days Wang Teng was scheduled to marry Liu Yanxi. Han Yin was clearly demanding that he break his betrothal. Seeing that Wang Teng did not answer, Han Yin rose from her chair and gracefully walked over to his side. Resting her fair soft hand gently upon Wang Teng's shoulder, she breathed softly into his ear. Could it be that your highness is still thinking of that ugly girl from the Liu family? Their Liu family is merely a third-rate martial arts clan in Qi City. What could they possibly do to help you? In contrast, our Qilin Pavilion is the premier intelligence organization of the great Xia martial dynasty, boasting over 100,000 disciples. With our assistance, your highness can stage a comeback in an instant. Furthermore, that girl from the Liu family is so unsightly and possesses utterly mediocre martial talent. Meanwhile, I am not only a one-in-a-million genius, but also possess beauty that could overthrow kingdoms. Your highness is a wise man. You should know how to choose. These words were indeed true. The Liu family was merely a third-rate martial arts clan and simply could not compare to the massive Qilin Pavilion. Moreover, Liu Yanxi was quite plain-looking with ordinary martial talent, whereas Han Yin was exceedingly beautiful and possessed a one-in-a-million talent for martial arts. Any other man would immediately know which choice to make. Yet at this very moment, the long silent voice of the system resounded once again. Ding! Congratulations to the host for triggering a new quest. Option 1, agree to be with Han Yin. Reward 10 Qi Gathering Pills, 1 Earth Grade Secret Manual, Shadowless Steps, 1 Heaven Grade Armor Set, 1 Earth Grade Pet, Beast, 100,000 Tails of Gold, 1 Fire God Talisman, and 1 Dragon Pattern Jade Pendant. Option 2, reject Han Yin's temptation. Reward a tattered medical book. Wang Teng was highly surprised to have triggered a new option once again. Furthermore, he discovered that the rewards for this choice were extremely polarized. The first option, as long as he agreed to be with Han Yin, he would be rewarded with a vast array of supreme treasures, including no fewer than 10 spirit gathering pills. The second option, however, was to reject Han Yin, which would only reward him with a tattered medical book. This left him utterly speechless. Was the system covertly baiting him? If it were any ordinary man, he would absolutely choose the first option without the slightest hesitation. For by simply agreeing to be with Han Yin, not only would he receive a bounty of rewards from the system and win the hand of a breathtaking beauty, but more importantly, he would secure the full, unwavering support of the Qilin Pavilion. On the other hand, rejecting Han Yin meant not only losing the beauty and the backing of the Qilin Pavilion, but even the system's reward would be reduced to a mere tattered medical book. Even Han Yan's lovely face was filled with absolute confidence, certain that the Crown Prince would choose her. However, she was bound to be disappointed this time, for Wang Teng had already made up his mind. Pavilion Master Han, my heart already belongs to another. I cannot agree to be with you, Wang Teng replied with utmost sincerity. The moment the words left his mouth, the system's voice resounded in his mind once more. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the choice. Reward 1 tattered medical book now placed in the system space. Upon hearing Wang Teng's rejection, Han Yin looked on in utter disbelief. Thinking she had misheard, she could not help but ask for confirmation. Crown Prince, you must be joking, right? I am offering the entire Qilin Pavilion to align with you, yet you choose to marry an ugly woman. What can she possibly bring you? Han Yin was profoundly shocked. She had been absolutely certain that Wang Teng would accept her, yet the Crown Prince's response had completely defied her expectations. I am not joking. I am entirely serious, Wang Teng said again, his gaze unwavering. I will marry Yin Shi. In a few days we shall perform our wedding vows. Seeing the determination in Wang Teng's eyes, Han Yin was slightly astonished. At the same time, she grew intensely curious as to why an ugly woman despised by everyone could command such deep devotion from a Crown Prince. Han Yin took a deep breath, striving to compose herself. Crown Prince, I do not object to your marrying that ugly girl of the Liu family. But have you ever considered what the Liu family can actually offer you? Changing her approach, Han Yin attempted to persuade Wang Teng. They are merely a third-rate martial arts clan in Qi City. They are likely inferior even to the Heishan gang. You are currently like fire and water with the Heishan gang. If they launch a full-scale assault, you and the Liu family will stand absolutely no chance of holding them back. Soldiers will be met with generals and water with earth. I do not fear those Heishan bandits. Wang Teng said in a deep voice. Is that so? Then you vastly underestimate the Heishan gang. For them to occupy the border city region for over a decade and continuously expand their influence proves they possess formidable means. Han Yin paused briefly before continuing. Do you know to whom they deliver the goods they plunder each time? Collusion between officials and bandits. Naturally, they would grow larger. Wang Teng voiced his thoughts. He had previously heard from the carriage driver Ma Tao that the Heishan bandits spent the entire year bribing the lords of the surrounding cities. Hearing this, Han Yin pursed her crimson lips slightly and shook her head in secret. You only know half the story. The Heishan gang divides their plundered goods into 3 portions, one for themselves, one to bribe the lords of the neighboring cities, and the final portion is offered as tribute to the Xianling sect. Do you have any idea what kind of entity the Xianling sect is? Wang Teng frowned slightly upon hearing this. He had never expected the Heishan bandits to be so cunning, securing protective amulets from both the righteous and the underworld over all these years. No wonder they had grown so powerful. I do not care what kind of entity they are. If they dare provoke me, I will make them pay a devastating price. Wang Teng said, his gaze cold as ice. That with your current strength, let alone dealing with the Xianling sect, you cannot even handle the Heishan gang. Yet with the assistance of our Qilin Pavilion, resolving these matters would be effortless. The Liu family, however, cannot aid you in the slightest. Han Yin continued her persuasion, appealing to both reason and emotion. This was indeed a harsh reality, but Wang Teng would not easily abandon his choice. Moreover, the Qilin Pavilion's offer of assistance at this juncture surely harbored ulterior motives. It could not be as simple as merely wanting to become the Empress. My mind is made up. If you are willing to swear fealty to me, I would gladly accept your allegiance. However, marrying you for an alliance is absolutely out of the question. Wang Teng reiterated his stance once more. Hearing this, Han Yin felt a surge of slight anger. It was one thing to refuse to marry her, but to demand the allegiance of the Qilin Pavilion was sheer fantasy. Although Wang Teng was the crown prince, he was currently a solitary figure without any backing. What right did he have to demand their loyalty? However, Han Yin quickly recalled her master's instructions before her departure. Suppressing the anger in her heart, she adopted a gentler tone and spoke. If you do not wish to marry me for an alliance, that is fine as well. As long as you complete the 3 tasks I assign to you, our Qilin Pavilion can swear fealty to you. Wang Teng had not expected the Qilin Pavilion to actually be willing to pledge allegiance to him. He immediately asked, what tasks? Han Yin, seemingly prepared, produced an exquisite wooden box from her robes and presented it to him. The 3 tasks are written inside the wooden box. You will know them once you open it. Han Yin said, her red lips parting slightly. Wang Teng casually accepted the box, but did not open it immediately. Instead, he stood up and said, I will take this wooden box with me for now. Once I have completed the 3 tasks inside, I shall return to find you. Aren't you going to take a look inside? Han Yin asked in surprise. She had assumed Wang Teng would be eager to examine the 3 tasks, but to her astonishment, he showed no intention of even opening the box. I shall open it when the interest strikes me. A faint smile played on the corner of Wang Teng's lips. In truth, he had not yet decided whether to embark on the path of the Crown Prince. For once he entered the Crown Prince's struggle for the throne, there would be no more peaceful days. It was highly likely that both his life and the lives of the Liu family would be forfeit. Han Yin seemed to guess Wang Teng's thoughts and pressed no further. Very well. I look forward to meeting the Crown Prince again soon. Han Yin bowed gracefully. Wang Teng cupped his hands in salute and walked quickly downstairs. Han Yin personally escorted him down. As the proprietor of the Misty Rain Tower, her etiquette was naturally impeccable. Just as they descended from the 3rd floor, Liu Yinxi, who had been waiting anxiously in the private room, stepped out to look for Wang Teng. She then saw Wang Teng and Han Yin walking down from the 3rd floor side by side. One was handsome and elegant, while the other possessed a beauty capable of toppling cities. Walking together, they appeared to be a match made in heaven. Upon seeing the stunning woman beside Wang Teng, Liu Yinxi felt a deep sense of self-deprecation. An overwhelming sense of inferiority bloomed in her heart, making her feel that only such a woman was worthy of Wang Teng, while she herself was not even fit to carry her shoes. My lady, why have you come out? Wang Teng said with some surprise. It felt a bit stuffy inside the private room, so I came out to get some fresh air, Liu Yinxi replied nervously. Then let me take you out to stroll a bit more. As Wang Teng spoke, he gently grasped Liu Yinxi's soft fair hand, and led her outside, his eyes filled with profound tenderness. Watching the receding figures of Wang Teng and Liu Yinxi walking hand in hand, Han Yin felt a secret pang of resentment. Suddenly a woman dressed in a green silken gown stepped out from behind her. Senior sister, did the Crown Prince agree? The green-robed woman asked. No, the Crown Prince seems to have become an entirely different person. There is a vast discrepancy from what was described in our intelligence reports. Han Yin replied, knitting her delicate brows. Having been hunted by the 3rd prince for over half a year, sleeping in dog kennels and crawling through chicken coops, it is only natural for his personality to change. I am merely curious as to how he was able to practice martial arts again, and how his strength has advanced so rapidly in just a few short days. The green-clad woman remarked inquisitively. Perhaps it is related to the struggle for Great Xia's providence that Master spoke of. Of course, there might also be a hidden master aiding the Crown Prince from the shadows, whom we cannot see, Han Yin analyzed. That makes sense. We originally thought the struggle for the Great Xia martial dynasty's providence was drawing to a close, but who would have thought it has only just begun? The green-clad woman said before changing the subject to tease. To think that even senior sister's personal intervention would end in failure, and of all people losing to an ugly girl. Hearing this, a flash of displeasure and anger crossed Han Yin's eyes. She prided herself on being like a banished immortal descended to earth. Ordinary mortal women were not fit to be compared with her. Yet here, she was losing to an ugly girl who was inferior to her in every aspect. Because of this, Han Yin harbored quite a bit of resentment. Just wait. The Crown Prince only happened to meet her during the lowest point of his life, and his heart merely holds gratitude toward her. As the struggle for providence unfolds, he will realize that only I can provide him with what he truly desires. After returning to the Liu residence, Liu Yashi sat alone before her vanity, feeling somewhat crestfallen. The events of the day's temple fair had left her with a heavy heart. Especially the gossip from those diners had made her feel deeply inferior. Liu Yashi slowly lifted the white veil from her face, seeing in the mirror that ugly face covered with red birthmarks. A single tear slipped from her eyes unbidden. She had finally fallen for a man only to discover she was not worthy of him. A suffocating sense of inferiority weighed heavily upon her chest. Just then the door to the room suddenly swung open as Xiao Hong burst in excitement in her eyes, carrying a magnificent phoenix coronet and embroidered wedding garments. Miss, the madam sent me to bring this phoenix coronet and wedding dress for you to try on and see if any adjustments are needed. Hearing the commotion, Liu Yashi quickly wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes and replaced the white veil. Have the wedding garments been completed so quickly? Liu Yashi asked, feigning calmness. There are only 7 days until the wedding ceremony. If we don't finish the wedding garments now, it will be too late. Miss, please try them on quickly. If anything doesn't fit, the madam asked me to take them back for alterations. Xiao Hong beamed with joy, eager to see her young mistress don the phoenix coronet and wedding dress. Liu Yashi nodded, then removed her white dress and put on this bright red ceremonial outfit. Xiao Hong then helped replace the white veil on the young Mrs. face with a red one. With this transformation, Liu Yashi's gentle and serene temperament was immediately accentuated. Miss, this phoenix coronet and wedding dress suit you perfectly. When you wear it, you will be absolutely stunning, and on the wedding day you will captivate everyone. Xiao Hong praised happily. Liu Yashi spun around in front of the mirror, feeling that the outfit indeed suited her well, but the moment she thought of the gap between herself and Wang Tung, her eyes darkened slightly. Xiao Hong, do you think I am worthy of my husband? Liu Yashi asked timidly. Miss, as long as both people like each other, who cares about worthiness? Why worry about what others say? Xiao Hong replied. Then, do you think my husband likes me, eh? Liu Yashi asked, shyly pressing further. Of course he likes you. Haven't you noticed that his gaze only grows gentle when he looks at you? Xiao Hong said with a serious expression. Really? Liu Yashi's delicate face flushed slightly at these words, a quiet joy blooming in her heart, and her mood brightened considerably. While the two were chatting privately, Wang Tung sat cross-legged on his bed, pulling out the worn medical book that the system had rewarded him with. The medical book appeared quite old and damaged on the outside, with no title even visible. It really is a tattered medical book. Wang Tung gave a helpless, bitter smile, then opened the medical book to begin his studies. System book detected. Would you like to study it now? Hearing the system's voice, Wang Tung felt secretly delighted. It seemed items rewarded by the system could all assist his learning. This couldn't be better, as he would not need to expend effort studying slowly. Study it immediately. Wang Tung responded right away. As soon as the words left his mouth, the worn medical book in his hands transformed into a beam of white light and shot into his head. Immediately after, Wang Tung's mind was filled with extensive medical knowledge. Silver needle acupoint therapy, twina massage, herb identification, poison antidotes, and blood extraction all represented the pinnacle of medical arts in this world. With his studies complete, Wang Tung slowly opened his eyes, a flicker of excitement crossing his face. This medical knowledge is impressive. From now on, no ailment in the world will stump me. This is no tattered medical book. It is an unparalleled tome. This has been well worth it. Wang Tung felt a surge of excitement within, then thought of something and retrieved a delicate wooden box from his person, the very one Han Smoke had given him. Should I tread the Crown Prince's path? Wang Tung gazed at the wooden box, uncertainty clouding his expression. First, following that route was exceedingly dangerous. If things went wrong, it could endanger the Liu family and Liu Yashi. Second, Wang Tung suspected the Qilin Pavilion had approached him with ulterior motives, and until he understood their true intentions, he refused to readily agree to their requests. Third, as Wang Tung's reputation continued to grow, the Imperial brother would surely take notice of him, leading to wave after wave of assassination attempts. Without his own power and strength, he would be vulnerable to being killed at any moment. After deliberating for quite some time, Wang Tung ultimately resolved to examine the tasks within the wooden box first. I will review their 3 missions before making any decisions. With that thought, Wang Tung opened the wooden box to find another note inside. He unfolded it casually. The handwriting was as elegant and legible as before. However, the 3 missions listed on the note left Wang Tung utterly astonished. At the Black Cliff Mountain stronghold of the Black Mountain Gang, Second Master Tang Hong had remained sequestered in recuperation since his humiliating retreat from Mount Honglai. Having lost an arm, his temper had grown exceedingly volatile. Even with 2 young women attending to him, he found fault with everything. Once striking one merely because she spilled wine while trembling with nervousness. What kind of wine did you pour? Look, it is all spilled. Tang Hong struck her without hesitation or explanation. The young woman fell to the ground, blood trickling from the corner of her mouth, yet she bore it without complaint. Instead, she knelt and frantically kowtowed in terror, begging for mercy. Second Master, spare me. I will do better next time, the terrified young woman pleaded desperately. If you cannot even pour wine properly, what use are you? Drag her out and behead her. Tang Hong waved his hand impatiently at his subordinates. Ever since losing his arm, he had harbored unchecked rage, with no outlet, forcing him to take out his frustration through such brutal means. As the young woman was dragged away, her face drained of color in sheer terror. No matter how much she begged for mercy, it made no difference until the final snap echoed through the room. Then an elderly man in gray robes entered, his presence ominous and chilling. Tang Er, why such volatility lately? You are killing people at every turn. The gray-robed old man frowned as he spoke. Upon seeing this gray-robed old man, Tang Hong's demeanor shifted immediately. This was Fang Yin, the chief elder of their Black Mountain Gang. Though his martial arts prowess was modest, Fang Yin possessed unparalleled medical skill and exceptional expertise in poisoncraft. Their ability to establish roots in this region relied heavily on this old man's toxins. It is because of that son-in-law from the Liu family who severed my arm. I have this fury bottled up inside with nowhere to channel it, Tang Hong said resentfully. Does the first master know about this matter? Fang Yin asked gravely. My eldest brother is in secluded cultivation, and I have not dared tell him, Tang Hong replied with evident apprehension. The Liu family's son-in-law, humph. It has been years since anyone dared to provoke our Black Mountain Gang like this. Fang Yin let out a cold snort. Hearing this, Tang Hong's eyes lit up. Chief Elder, is there any way you could eliminate him? It would be ideal if we could wipe out the entire Liu family as well, Tang Hong said with a vicious expression. He knew well the Chief Elder's ruthless methods. Once Fang Yin agreed to intervene, the Liu family would surely face total annihilation. Eliminating a petty family like the Lius would be no difficulty at all. I have recently developed a new poison. Perhaps I should test it on the Liu family members. This would also serve as a lesson to other families about the consequences of crossing our Black Mountain gang. A cold glint flashed in Feng Yan's eyes. A cold glint flashed in Feng Yan's eyes. The night was dark and windy, a night fit for killing. A shadow in from easily entering residence. It was midnight, the residents, and even the patrolling guards were deftly bypassed by the shadow. A gust of wind swept by, and the shadow arrived at a water well within the Liu residence. Water remains unseen, colorless, and tasteless. Offend Haishan gang, and I will wipe out your entire family. When the shadow spoke, he drew a bottle of black jade from his person and began pouring its powder into the well. The powder quickly dissolved into the water, turning invisible upon contact. After finishing one well, the shadow seemed unsatisfied. After a few leaps, he hurried to another water well at the Liu residence. Then again he drew another black jade bottle and tipped in its powder. In the same manner, he repeated several times, pouring the unknown powder into several wells within the Liu residence. Having completed all this, the shadow finally stopped, satisfied. From now on, Shi City would have no Liu family, he said, and then sped away from the Liu residence. The day of the wedding drew near, and Wang Tung spent every day in training, and more training. Because he knew danger was drawing closer, he had to seize every moment to strengthen his power, otherwise not only would he die, but Liu Yanxi and the Liu family would be implicated. Who? Wang Tung opened his eyes, exhaling a sigh of relief, and a hint of joy crossed his face. In 2 days I have risen to the mid-stage of the Master Realm. The gathering spirit jade pendant my mother-in-law gave me is really useful. Actually, Wang Tang's rapid cultivation wasn't solely due to the gathering spirit jade pendant, it was also related to his talent after marrow washing, and to the heavenly grade art True Dragon Jew. If any one of those were missing, the cultivation speed would not be so fast. Ordinary people typically take years to advance from the early to mid-master realm, yet Wang Tung did it in 2 days, proof of how prodigious his cultivation speed is. Wang Tung stretched with a lazy yawn and stepped off his bed. As he opened the door, a beam of bright sunlight poured in, and today was another good day. Liu Yanxi carried a breakfast box and happened to pass by. Hubby, I've made breakfast for you, a wash up, and come quickly to eat. She smiled gently and went inside. These breakfasts these past days were prepared by Liu Yanxi herself, showing her gentle and virtuous heart. Madam, I've told you several times, leave such things to the servants. Wang Ting spoke with a touch of tenderness. He didn't want to see his wife rise early every morning to prepare breakfast for him. No, a day's plan starts in the morning. Eating well in the morning benefits your cultivation for the day. I don't trust others to prepare it. Liu Yanxi said, opening the lunchbox and taking out the nourishing foods. Bear's paw, black tiger gallbladder cake, lingi porridge, and ginseng soup. These are premier energy and blood-boosting dishes, extremely helpful to cultivators, but incredibly expensive. This meal alone would cost several hundred taels of silver, something ordinary families cannot afford. Yet Liu Yanxi prepares such a feast every morning, showing how devoted she is to Wang Tung. You make this every day, I have you eaten. Shall we eat together? Wang Ting looked at the table of nourishing foods with quiet astonishment. I've eaten already, these are for you. I'll just watch you eat. Liu Yanxi sat down, eyes bright with expectation. Very well. Wang Tung replied with a hint of helplessness, but he too needed these nourishing ingredients to help his cultivation. Then Wang Ting picked up a spoon and poured lingi porridge into a bowl, but as soon as he touched his lips, his brows knitted. Hubby, how does it taste? Does lingi porridge suit your stomach? Liu Yanxi asked with hopeful eyes. Wang Ting did not answer, he spat the porridge out. This porridge is poisonous. Wang Tung said gravely. After mastering unmatched medical arts, he had become highly sensitive to herbs. A single touch of the tongue could sense toxins. He was now certain the lingi porridge was poisoned, and the poison was deadly. Liu Yanxi's face changed upon hearing this. Poison in the porridge? No way. Don't scare me. Oh, I made this myself. How could it be poisoned? Liu Yanxi asked, not believing, and reached for a spoon to taste, yet Wang Tung blocked her. It really is poisoned, don't eat. Wang Tung said he trusted Liu Yanxi would not poison him, but the poison in the porridge was real, and the source of the toxin was too suspicious. Wang Tung's gaze then shifted to the other dishes on the table. Instinctively, he sniffed them, and indeed, every dish contained poison. Could someone be poisoning me? Madam, has anyone entered the kitchen? Indeed, according to ordinary logic, if the food is poisoned, the first suspect would be whether any outsiders had entered the kitchen. I don't know, but when I prepared these dishes, I didn't encounter any strangers entering the kitchen. Liu Yanxi had just said this. Suddenly her head began to spin, her face grew pale, and after a sway her body collapsed to the ground. Seeing this, Wang Tung's face changed dramatically. Clearly Liu Yanxi had been poisoned. Madam, are you alright? Wang Tung quickly supported her, then saw her breath irregular, her face, pale, lips turning black. These were signs of poisoning, and he confirmed his suspicions. Hubby, I feel dizzy, my chest is tight, and I can't breathe. Liu Yanxi said, feeling suffocated. You are poisoned. What did you eat this morning? Wang Teng asked, nervous, then quickly pressed his hand to Liu Yanqi's pulse. A few days ago he had just learned medicine, he never expected to apply it so soon. I only drank a bit of millet porridge and a bun. Liu Yanqi leaned in his arms looking weak. Millet porridge and buns, were they all made in the kitchen? Wang Teng frowned. Yes, they were all made in the kitchen. Liu Yanqi's throat suddenly tasted sweet, and a mouthful of blood sprayed from her mouth. Wang Teng's expression changed again. You are poisoned, and it is a deadly toxin. I must administer an antidote immediately. After taking her pulse, Wang Teng determined the diagnosis, then he condensed spiritual energy and pressed several key acupoints on Liu Yanqi's chest, sealing them. This would temporarily delay the toxin's onset. Having done so, Wang Teng swiftly carried Liu Yanqi to the bed and asked urgently, I need a set of silver needles now, madam. Do we have silver needles in the Liu residence? In the absence of knowing the toxin, silver needles are the most effective means to draw out the poison. There are in the estate's treatment room, Liu Yanqi said, relieved. After Wang Teng sealed her heart meridians, the toxin's progress slowed, and Liu Yanqi felt a little better. Good madam, wait here for me a moment. Oh, I'll be back soon, Wang Teng said, and then rushed out. Now he is racing against time. Only after obtaining the silver needles can he come back to save Liu Yanqi. During the rush, Wang Teng suddenly found that many servants in the Liu residence had also collapsed on the ground with the same symptoms. Evidently, they were poisoned as well. Seeing this, Wang Teng suddenly understood something. Looks like someone poisoned the Liu residence. Oh, we must find the culprit behind this. Wang Teng swore inwardly, then rushed to the residence's treatment room, grabbed the silver needles, and hurried back to the room. While Wang Teng battled against time at a tea house opposite the Liu residence, an old man in a gray robe sat by the window leisurely sipping tea. Soon a servant hurried up, excited to report, Grand Elder, the people in the Liu residence are poisoned. Not long before all of them will die. Grand Elder Fang Yan nodded, then looked up at the sun, squinting confidently, and said, when the sun sets, the Liu residence will be extinguished. This is the fate of those who offend He Shan Gang. While Fang Yan and his cohorts were waiting to witness the annihilation of the Liu family, Wang Teng had already returned to his room with the silver needles. At this moment, Liu Yanqi lay on the bed, struggling to breathe, her face growing increasingly pale. Wang Teng knew that the toxin had begun to spread. Without immediate treatment, Liu Yanqi's life would be in imminent danger. My wife, I have a way to detoxify you. Sit cross-legged and do not move. Wang Teng helped Liu Yanqi up. Nodding, Liu Yanqi sat cross-legged on the bed as instructed. My wife, I am going to apply the silver needles now. It might hurt slightly, so please bear with it. It was Wang Teng's first time performing acupuncture, making him somewhat nervous. Nonetheless, he swiftly unwrapped the cloth pouch of silver needles he had retrieved from the medical room and drew out a long, slender needle. He then inserted the silver needle into Liu Yanqi's bi-wei acupoint. This was the very first time Wang Teng had applied acupuncture since mastering medicine, so his movements were inevitably a bit stiff. Fortunately, the first needle was inserted smoothly. Liu Yanqi did not experience much pain. Seeing this, Wang Teng secretly breathed a sigh of relief. He then retrieved a second silver needle. This time the target was her chest, right over the heart. If not executed perfectly, a puncture at this location could instantly cause the heart to stop. After a brief hesitation, Wang Teng composed himself and steadily inserted the needle. The second needle was also a success. Seeing that the first two attempts had succeeded, Wang Teng gained confidence for the remaining ones. After inserting a total of 7 needles in succession, Wang Teng finally stopped beads of sweat, now glistening on his forehead. These 7 needles were no ordinary acupuncture technique. It was the highly mysterious Tai 7 stars needle. Each needle required a portion of spiritual energy to insert. Fortunately, Wang Teng succeeded in the end. The Tai 7 stars needle. With this technique, I can force the poison out. Wiping the sweat from his brow, Wang Teng began to circulate the true dragon art within his body. As the true dragon art activated, complemented by the spirit-gathering jade pendant, Wang Teng rapidly channeled a substantial amount of spiritual energy. Through the 7 silver needles, he infused the energy into Liu Yanqi's body. Infused with spiritual energy, the Tai 7 stars needle technique was instantly activated. Subsequently, the toxins within Liu Yanqi's body began to be expelled drop by drop. After a few breaths, Liu Yanqi suddenly spat out a mouthful of black blood, and her complexion immediately improved significantly. Seeing her expel the poisoned blood, Wang Teng secretly breathed a sigh of relief. The poison is finally out. My wife, do you feel better? Wang Teng asked, his voice filled with deep concern. I feel much better, and my breathing is smooth now. Thank you, husband, for curing me. But how did I get poisoned? Liu Yanqi asked in confusion. You are not the only one poisoned in the Liu residence. Oh, I saw others afflicted as well. Someone must have poisoned our entire estate. I must go save them now. Please stay here and rest well. Saying this, Wang Teng retrieved his silver needles and hurried outside. He had noticed many poisoned people in the mansion earlier, so he had to rush to save them before it was too late and they perished. I am coming too. Seeing this, Liu Yinxi quickly scrambled off the bed. With such a crisis unfolding in the residence, how could she possibly stay behind and rest? Swiftly acting like a firefighter, Wang Tung rushed to his parents-in-law's quarters first. Fortunately, his mother-in-law had just gotten out of bed and had not eaten anything, so she was unaffected. His father-in-law, however, had been poisoned. Although he was strong and attempting to channel his inner energy to expel the toxin, the effect was minimal. Just as Wang Tung and Liu Yinxi entered, his mother-in-law Yao Shu was frantically preparing to go outside to summon a physician, but Wang Ting stopped her. "Mother-in-law, I can cure this poison. Have all the poisoned people outside brought here so I can treat them all at once," Wang Tung said. "My worthy son-in-law, you know how to detoxify poison?" His mother-in-law Yao Shu asked in disbelief. "I know a thing or two. Quickly have all the poisoned members of the household brought in. If we delay, it will be too late. Furthermore, lock the gates of the residence. Starting now, no one is allowed in or out." Wang Tung spoke again. This poisoning was highly suspicious and had to be thoroughly investigated. Yao Shu, whose heart was already in a panic, immediately complied upon hearing his words. "All right, I will arrange it immediately," Yao Shu replied before swiftly running out. Seeing how calm and methodical Wang Tung remained in the face of such a crisis, Liu Yinxi instantly felt she had a pillar of support, and her panicked heart gradually settled. His father-in-law Liu Guan was currently sitting cross-legged, channeling his energy to expel the poison. However, the results were far from ideal, merely delaying the onset of the toxin. Without timely treatment, Liu Guan would undoubtedly die. "Father-in-law, please bear with it. I will detoxify you immediately." Saying this, Wang Tung quickly produced his silver needles and began applying them to Liu Guan to purge the toxin. Knowing he could not expel the poison on his own, Liu Guan cooperated fully with Wang Tang's treatment. While Wang Tung focused on purging the poison from Liu Guan, his mother-in-law Yao Shu had already instructed others to carry in many poisoned household members. A rough count revealed at least 20 people. This accounted for nearly 80% of the residence's occupants. Even the carriage driver Ma Tao and the maid Xiao Hong had been poisoned. The few who were spared had only just woken up and had not yet eaten. Fortunately, the Liu family's guards did not reside within the mansion, otherwise the casualties would have been far greater. Seeing so many poisoned people, Wang Tung's expression turned grim. The culprit clearly intended to annihilate the entire Liu family. This was far too ruthless. If they did not get to the bottom of this, they would undoubtedly face even greater trouble in the future. Yao Shu and Liu Yinxi were also filled with dread. This was absolutely a premeditated mass poisoning designed to wipe out the entire Liu clan. Suppressing the anger in his heart, Wang Tung focused once more on applying the needles to purge the poison from Liu Guan. Having performed it once on Liu Yinxi, Wang Tung was far more proficient during his second application of the Tai 7 Stars needle. In just a short while, he successfully expelled the toxins from Liu Guan's body. As Liu Guan spat out a mouthful of black poisoned blood, his body instantly felt much lighter. "Father-in-law, how do you feel now?" Wang Ting asked with concern as he retrieved the needles. "Much better. Thank you, my worthy son-in-law. If not for you today, our Liu family would have suffered a catastrophic disaster." Liu Guan looked at the poisoned servants lying all over the floor, a nameless fury burning in his chest. Just who was trying to annihilate the entire Liu family? "Rest for a moment while I treat the other servants to purge their poison." Having no time for anything else, Wang Tung resumed his busy work immediately after speaking. Fortunately, as Wang Tung grew more proficient with the needles, his speed in purging the poison increased. One by one, the patients lying in the main hall were treated by him. In the tea house opposite the Liu residence, Fang Yin had been sitting all day observing the mansion through the window. Seeing that no one had entered or left the Liu residence the entire day, he secretly assumed that almost everyone inside was dead. Soon a servant gathering intelligence rushed over. "Great Elder, the gates of the Liu residence are tightly shut. No one is entering or leaving, and not a single sound can be heard from within. The Liu family must all be dead," the servant said excitedly. This news confirmed Fang Yan's own suspicions. "Indeed, this newly developed poison of mine has no antidote, not even in my possession. Once poisoned, not even an immortal could save them." Fang Yin was highly confident in his poison. He looked up at the sky, and seeing that the sun had set, he felt it was time to visit the Liu residence. He also wanted to observe the extent of the poison's damage on the human body. He was using the lives of the Liu family as test subjects for his research. "Come, let us go take a look at the Liu residence." Right after speaking, Fang Yin led his subordinate down from the tea house. With a light leap, they cleared the walls of the Liu residence and jumped inside. However, upon entering the Liu residence, they did not see the scene of corpses littering the ground as they had imagined. On the contrary, there was not a single body in sight. "What is going on? Why isn't there even a single corpse?" Fang Yin frowned. "Perhaps they all died inside their rooms. Why don't we go check their quarters?" the subordinate suggested. Fang Yin nodded. But just as they were about to head toward the main hall of the Liu residence, a large group of people rushed out from hiding and surrounded them. Leading them were none other than Wang Tung and Liu Guan. So it was you too who poisoned us. I was just worrying about not being able to find the culprits, and yet you delivered yourselves right to our doorstep. Wang Teng said coldly. He had anticipated that the culprits might return, so he set up an ambush, and to his surprise, he actually caught the two of them. Meanwhile, Fang Yin and his subordinate were utterly shocked to see so many members of the Liu family alive and well. Why you? None of you are dead. Fang Yin was deeply shocked. Not a single person from the Liu family had died, which completely caught him off guard. In his mind, even a grandmaster would perish after ingesting the poison he had developed, let alone ordinary servants. How is this possible? You all ingested my poison, so why did not a single one of you die? Fang Yan's face was filled with disbelief, completely unable to accept the result before his eyes. Wang Ting noticed Fang Yan's astonished expression, and a faint smirk tugged at his lips as he stepped forward. Are you really that surprised? Despite being poisoned by your own hand, not one of us has fallen. Still standing among you. Sorry to disappoint you, but I happen to know some medical arts. You understand medicine. Fang Yin scrutinized the young Wang Teng from head to toe, a flicker of shock flashing through his eyes before he quickly dismissed the thought. Impossible. This poison was crafted by my own hands, and there exists no antidote anywhere in this world. Even if you were a miraculous physician unmatched in the realm, you could not cure my poison. By this point, Fang Yin remained fiercely confident in the poison he had created, yet the undeniable truth before him left no room for denial. Believe it or not, it doesn't matter. The fact remains you cannot leave this Liu residence today. As Wang Teng spoke, he summoned the wind spirit sword ready to strike at a moment's notice. Liu Guan and the others also drew their weapons, surrounding Fang Yin completely. If you think a bunch of mere mortals can kill me, what absurd delusion. Realizing his plan had failed, Fang Yin immediately resolved to flee. The moment he finished speaking, he activated his lightness skill and launched himself out of the encirclement, darting outward with incredible speed like a nimble cat, and within the blink of an eye he was about to leap over the city wall. Wang Teng's gaze hardened as he watched. You think you can escape? Not a chance. As he spoke, he channeled the true dragon art through his body, extending his right hand to lock onto Fang Yan's energy flow, then let out a mighty roar. Imprisoning dragon palm. In the next instant, an invisible palm formed from condensed spiritual energy sped like lightning to intercept Fang Yin as he attempted to scale the wall, grasping him firmly. What's happening? Why can't I move my body? I feel an immense pressure and constraint. Fang Yin panicked, feeling as though a colossal hand had seized him, rendering him completely immobile. And that giant hand continued to apply pressure, making him feel increasingly suffocated. Why don't you run then? Wang Teng leaped directly in front of him. Who are you? Fang Yin demanded in terror. He could not imagine that the Liu residence actually had such a formidable figure. You are not worthy of knowing my name. Rather, I am curious about your identity. Who sent you to poison our Liu family? Wang Teng countered. If you want to kill me, just do it. Why ask so many questions? Fang Yin said defiantly. You're quite stubborn. Then let me see just how tough you really are. As Wang Teng spoke, he slightly tightened his grip, causing the imprisoning dragon palm that bound Fang Yin to contract further, plunging him into deeper agony. He struggled desperately, but could not break free no matter what. Fang Yan's strength was only at the early stage of Grandmaster, while Wang Teng had already reached the mid-stage of Grandmaster. This old man Fang Yin was no match for Wang Teng at all. Seeing that Fang Yin refused to speak, Wang Teng continued to increase the power of the imprisoning dragon palm until a trace of blood seeped from Fang Yan's mouth, at which point the latter began to scream frantically. Boy, you may kill me today, but once our Black Mountain sect's grand leader emerges from cultivation, it will be the day your Liu family is wiped out. He will avenge me, haha. Black Mountain bandits. Upon hearing this, Wang Teng's eyes turned cold. He had long suspected these were nothing but ruthless killers, and without hesitation, he hurled the wind spirit sword from his hand. It struck Fang Yin squarely in the chest, and scarlet blood began flowing rapidly. Soon the old man Fang Yin lost all vitality, his body slowly collapsing to the ground. The wind spirit sword absorbed Fang Yin's energy once more. After killing Fang Yin, Liu Guan approached immediately. Son-in-law, did you find out who was behind this? Liu Guan asked with a grave expression. How could Liu Guan not investigate thoroughly when the enemy intended to annihilate their entire Liu family? It was the Black Mountain bandits. It seems they have crossed paths with us. Wang Teng spoke in a deep voice, a hint of killing intent evident in his tone. Black Mountain bandits. Those desperate criminals dare to openly come to Qi City to poison us. We cannot tolerate this any longer. Liu Guan clenched his fist, secretly a flash of killing intent crossing his eyes as he resolved to take the initiative and eliminate the Black Mountain bandits. However, he was dissuaded by Wang Teng. Father-in-law, to destroy the Black Mountain bandits, we must plan carefully. Relying solely on our strength, we cannot defeat them. Moreover, they have backing from the government officials and the Xiliu sect. Wang Teng deliberately emphasized the last phrase. Indeed, upon hearing that the Black Mountain bandits were connected to the Xiliu sect, Liu Guan's expression changed instantly. If they have ties to the Xianling sect, then they will be difficult to deal with. Liu Guan knew how terrifying the Xianling sect was. They were a legitimate cultivation sect in the martial world, and though only a second-rate sect, they were beyond the reach of a mortal martial family like his own. Leave this matter to me. Wang Tong intended to figure out how to eliminate the Black Mountain Bandits on his own, as one of the 3 tasks Han Yin had given him was to destroy them. Therefore, no matter what, he had to find a way to eliminate them. However, he still had more pressing matters to address, finding the source of the poison, otherwise the people in the mansion would fall ill again. Wang Tong's gaze swept over Fang Yan's captured subordinate, and he suddenly changed the subject and asked, "By the way, father-in-law, did you find out where they administered the poison?" "We did. They poisoned the water wells and didn't even spare the small water well in the backyard. They're too ruthless." Liu Guan's face was filled with fury. They were trying to exterminate their entire family. "We can only dig new wells now," Liu Guan sighed. Wang Ting nodded. Digging new wells, though time-consuming, was indeed the best solution. However, his killing intent toward the Black Mountain Bandits grew stronger. As long as they remained, neither the Liu family nor he would know peace. But how to eliminate them required careful planning, for the Black Mountain Bandits were too cunning, having secured protective amulets from both the righteous and unrighteous paths. After settling matters here, Wang Tong returned to his room, with Liu Yinxi following gracefully behind him. "Husband, thank you for saving our family today. Otherwise our Liu family would likely have faced disaster," Liu Yinxi said gratefully with warmth. "I've told you before, we're family. Why all these formalities?" Wang Tong smiled and replied. Although he spoke thus, Wang Ting secretly felt fortunate that he had chosen the broken medical text initially. Otherwise, he feared he would have perished from this poison himself today. "Husband, will the Black Mountain Bandits strike against us again?" Liu Yinxi said with considerable worry. The events of the day had left her somewhat frightened. She knew that once the Black Mountain Bandits failed one scheme, they would inevitably attempt another. "Rest assured, with me here, the Black Mountain Bandits will not harm you," Wang Tong said with determined eyes. He would never allow the Black Mountain Bandits to hurt Liu Yinxi or the Liu family. "It's a pity my natural talent is mediocre. Otherwise, I could also help you deal with the Black Mountain Bandits," Liu Yinxi said with slightly dimmed eyes. Although she was a woman, Liu Yinxi also wanted to contribute to her family, but unfortunately her natural talent was too poor. Upon hearing this, Wang Ting suddenly remembered something regarding Liu Yinxi's talent. Earlier that morning, when Wang Tong had taken Liu Yinxi's pulse, he had discovered that her poor martial arts aptitude was due to blocked meridians. During the silver needle detoxification process, this condition had become even more apparent. Had it not been for the poisoning, Wang Tong might not have discovered this condition in Liu Yinxi. She was not lacking in talent. Rather, her martial arts meridians were blocked. If he could help unblock her meridians, her progress in martial arts could improve dramatically. Just as he thought of this, the system's voice suddenly appeared in Wang Tong's mind once again. "Ding, congratulations to the host for triggering a new quest. Option 1, help Liu Yinxi unblock her meridians. Reward 1, gathering spiritual pill, earth grade martial art, shadowless step. Option 2, ignore Liu Yinxi's words. Reward, earth grade, overlord spear." Wang Ting never expected such a situation could trigger a system mission, but it was fine anyway. He had already planned to help Liu Yinxi unblock her meridians, and with the system mission, he could even obtain rewards for free. He then said to Liu Yinxi, "Madam, when I removed the poison with silver needles this morning, I discovered that your martial arts meridians were blocked. I have a method to help unblock them. Would you like to try?" No sooner had he finished speaking than the system's voice rang out once more. "Congratulations to the host for making a choice. Reward 1 spirit gathering pill and the heaven rank martial art shadowless step." Almost instantly, the secrets of shadowless step flooded Wang Tong's mind, and he mastered it in a flash. As for the spirit gathering pill, it was deposited into the system space. Upon hearing that her martial arts aptitude could be altered, Liu Yinxi was overcome with excitement. "Husband, do you truly have a way to unblock my martial arts meridians?" Liu Yinxi asked with eager anticipation. She had long lamented her mediocre talent, feeling she could contribute nothing to her father or family, and that she was unworthy of Wang Tong. Yet if she could unblock her meridians, her cultivation speed would accelerate. Yes, combining silver needle acupoint stimulation with herbal baths should clear the blockages in your meridians, though it may require multiple sessions to fully open them all. Wang Tong responded thoughtfully. From that tattered medical text, he had studied the peerless medical arts, which included methods for unblocking meridians and enhancing one's cultivation potential. Wonderful. Then let us hurry. Upon hearing that Wang Ting truly had a solution, Liu Yinxi could barely contain her impatience. "Before we begin, we need to prepare the herbs for the medicinal bath. Please take me to purchase them," Wang Ting replied. "Very well, let us go quickly." As she spoke, Liu Yinxi seized Wang Tong's hand and pulled him outward, her eagerness evident. Wang Ting glanced down at the slender, delicate hand, firmly grasping his awry smile, tugging at his lips. This girl was truly impatient when it came to cultivation. By now it was evening, and fortunately the apothecary shops along the main street were still open. Liu Yinchi pulled Wang Tung quickly to a nearby large pharmacy and said breathlessly, "Husband, this is the largest pharmacy on our street. Whatever medicinal herbs you need, they should have them all here." "All right, rest for a moment. I will go buy the herbs," Wang Tung said with some concern. He then walked straight to the pharmacy counter, asked the owner for a piece of paper, and wrote down 22 types of medicinal herbs on it. After finishing writing, Wang Tung handed the herb list to the pharmacy owner and said, "Boss, I need these 22 herbs. Do you have them?" "Let me see." The boss took the list and examined it carefully, his brows furrowing more deeply as he read further down. "We have the first 20 herbs here, but we do not have the mother-child flower or the white lotus fruit." "Then please prepare the first 20 herbs for me first." Wang Tung sighed. He could only buy those 20 for now. The remaining 2 would have to be found at another pharmacy. "Wait a moment," the boss replied and began weighing the herbs. 20 types of medicinal herbs, each packed in a separate bag. After completing the purchase and paying, Wang Tung led Liu Yinchi to the next pharmacy. Unfortunately, after running through 7 or 8 pharmacies, none had these 2 herbs. Why do none of the pharmacies here have these 2 herbs? Wang Tung was somewhat puzzled. Without these 2 herbs, the medicinal bath would not work. Yinchi, think quickly if there are other places in Qi City where we can buy herbs. Let me think. Liu Yinchi frowned and concentrated, and after a while she seemed to recall something. I remember now. There is another rundown pharmacy in Qi City. Father used to take me there often to buy herbs. Although it is in a remote location, he has many unusual herbs that cannot be found at ordinary pharmacies. Wang Tung's heart leaped with joy at this. But it is in the northern part of the city, far from here. Let us find a carriage, Liu Yinchi said wearily. She had been running around looking for pharmacies with Wang Tung, and her legs were already aching. She had no strength left to continue traveling, especially as the sky was growing darker. "I will carry you on my back." Wang Tung knew Liu Yinchi was not strong enough, so he planned to carry her. Additionally, he wanted to test out the shadowless step he had just learned. "This is not proper on the main street," Liu Yinchi said with a faint blush. Although it was evening, there were still some people on the street. "What is there to be embarrassed about? We will be married in a few days anyway. Come on." Wang Tung bent his waist, gesturing for Liu Yinchi to climb on. After hesitating, Liu Yinchi shyly climbed onto his back. Soon Wang Tung felt a fragrant breeze from behind, and then he sensed 2 soft, full curves against his back. This caused a slight ripple in Wang Tung's heart. "So Madam is quite endowed." Wang Tung swallowed secretly, then reminded Liu Yinchi on his back. "Madam, hold tight, I am going to rush." Liu Yinchi instinctively wrapped her slender arms like lotus roots tightly around Wang Tung's neck, their bodies pressed closely together. The scent of Wang Tung made Liu Yinchi's heart beat faster than ever before. Wang Tung tightly held the 2 white legs wrapped around his waist by Liu Yinchi, then activated the shadowless step and ran quickly toward the northern part of the city. Once the shadowless step was activated, the speed was astonishing, at least 5 times faster than normal running, which surprised Wang Tung. "Ah!" Liu Yinchi cried out softly and held Wang Tung tightly. She never expected her husband could run so fast. She could only cling to him, desperately afraid of falling off his back. From the southern part to the northern part of the city, over 10 kilometers apart, but with Wang Tung's shadowless step, they arrived in half an incense stick's time. After reaching the northern part of the city, Wang Tung slowed down and followed Liu Yinchi's directions, soon arriving at the pharmacy she mentioned. "Husband, this is the pharmacy." Liu Yinchi pointed at a dilapidated remote pharmacy. After setting Liu Yinchi down from his back, Wang Tung looked up and found this so-called pharmacy was quite run down. Even the signboard was in poor condition, but with the moonlight, he could faintly make out the characters on it. Old Man Yang Pharmacy, an ordinary name. Do not be fooled by its rundown appearance. The herbs inside are quite complete, including rare and unusual medicinal plants. Liu Yinchi said, and walked in first with Wang Tung quickly following. Upon entering the pharmacy, Wang Tung found it dimly lit, with only one oil lamp burning, and an old man sleeping soundly with his head on the counter. "Old Man Yang, wake up, I am here to buy herbs." Liu Yinchi nudged the old man, who slowly woke up. Rubbing his sleepy eyes, Old Man Yang squinted at Liu Yinchi. "It is the fairy girl." Old Man Yang immediately became alert upon seeing Liu Yinchi, and became quite respectful. Wang Tung was somewhat curious to see this old man call Liu Yinchi fairy girl. Everyone else called Liu Yinchi ugly woman, or ugly girl, but this Old Man Yang called her a fairy. Liu Yinchi also seemed accustomed to this form of address. "Husband, this is Old Man Yang. He is very kind to me. Just tell him whatever herbs you need," Liu Yinchi said with a smile. It was obvious that Old Man Yang was indeed very good to Liu Yinchi. Wang Tung put aside his doubts and approached Old Man Yang. "Old Man Yang, do you have mother-child flowers and white lotus fruits?" You have come to the right person. These 2 herbs are probably only available at my place throughout all of Qi City." Old Man Yang chuckled. Hearing that the 2 needed herbs were available here, both Wang Tung and Liu Yinchi felt a surge of delight. "Old Man Yang, quickly bring out those 2 herbs, we want to buy them," Liu Yinchi said impatiently. "What do you need these 2 herbs for?" Old Man Yang asked as he turned to get the herbs. I want to use them to unblock my meridians. We are just missing these 2 herbs now, Liu Yanqi said without any concealment. Unblock meridians. Old man Yang's hand holding the herbs suddenly paused, then he asked again. How do you know these 2 herbs can unblock meridians? My husband told me, Liu Yanqi said, pulling Wang Ting over. Hearing this, old man Yang turned around, picked up the oil lamp, and for the first time seriously studied Wang Ting up and down. This look made him quite surprised. Precious beyond words, fairy girl, you have found a good husband. You are truly a perfect match. Wang Ting was also slightly surprised to hear this. This old man could tell at a glance that he was precious beyond words. Suddenly, he became curious about the old man's identity. Really? I chose my husband by throwing the embroidered ball, Liu Yanqi said happily. She was delighted that someone praised her husband as precious beyond words. This embroidered ball throw was excellent, truly fate. As old man Yang chuckled, he packaged the 2 herbs and handed them to Liu Yanqi. Fairy girl, here are the 2 herbs. You want to take them carefully. How much? Liu Yanqi said, taking out a money pouch from her body, preparing to pay, but heard the old man say, no charge this time. Consider it a meeting gift from this old man to your husband. Then thank you very much, old man Yang. Liu Yanqi was not polite. She knew old man Yang's personality. Being polite with him would only make him uncomfortable, so she happily accepted it. Thank you very much, old man Yang. Wang Ting also bowed and thanked him. It is getting late. You should also hurry back. This old man also wants to sleep. Old man Yang said with a yawn. Liu Yanqi and Wang Ting did not disturb the old man further, but took the herbs and left quickly. However, on the way back, Wang Ting was very curious about this mysterious old man Yang. But currently he was in a hurry to unblock Liu Yanqi's meridians, so he did not investigate deeply. By the time they returned to the Liu residence, it was almost midnight. Most of the Liu family members were already asleep, but the patrol guards inside the mansion were more than usual. It seemed that after experiencing this poisoning incident, Liu Guan had become much more cautious. After returning to the mansion, Wang Ting brought out a large wooden tub, then filled it with boiling hot water. When it was about right, he began putting the purchased herbs into the tub one by one. Husband, when shall we begin? Liu Yanqi asked somewhat impatiently. Soon. After I finish adding these herbs, you can soak in it. Soon Wang Ting put all the herbs into the tub, then tested the water temperature, and turned around to say to Liu Yanqi, it is ready, madam. Please take off your clothes. It is best to take them all off, as this will yield better results. At the mention of removing all her clothes, Liu Yanqi's delicate face flushed crimson. Husband, must I take off everything? She asked shyly in a whisper, her face already glowing with embarrassment, her heart pounding like a startled deer. Yes, it is best to remove them all so the skin can fully absorb the medicinal liquid, Wang Ting replied solemnly. The purpose of the medicinal bath was to allow the skin to thoroughly absorb the herbal infusion combined with silver needle acupoint stimulation to achieve the effect of unblocking the meridians. All right, then please turn around first. Liu Yanqi said, her face burning red. Hearing this, Wang Ting suddenly realized that men and women should observe proper boundaries. Although Liu Yanqi was his wife-to-be, they had not yet performed the wedding ceremony, so she was not yet his true wife. Wang Ting felt a moment of awkwardness, then turned his body away. Seeing that Wang Ting had turned around, Liu Yanqi slowly began to undress. As each layer of clothing slipped away, her snow-white smooth skin was revealed along with her breathtaking figure, especially her long pale legs, and the impressive swell of her chest, both utterly captivating. When her last garment, the chest wrap, was slowly removed, Liu Yanqi stood completely bare beneath her white face veil. She covered her chest with both hands, and slowly stepped into the large wooden tub. The moment her pearl-like toes touched the hot water, she let out a pained cry from the scalding heat, and quickly withdrew her feet. Hearing Liu Yanqi's cry of pain, Wang Ting instinctively turned his head back out of concern. Madam, are you alright? This glance gave Wang Ting a complete view of Liu Yanqi's flawless figure, leaving him mesmerized by her perfect physique. Good heavens, my wife's body is truly stunning. Wang Ting found his gaze unwilling to look away. Upon noticing him turn around again, Liu Yanqi chided him with a blush of embarrassment and indignation. You wretched husband, what are you looking at? Turn around at once. Flustered and anxious, Liu Yanqi quickly gathered her clothes from the floor and held them against her chest to cover her most intimate parts. Although Wang Ting was her husband-to-be, they had not yet exchanged wedding vows. Having a man see her completely bare still made Liu Yanqi deeply shy. Madam, it was not my intention. I was only worried you might be hurt. Wang Ting swallowed hard, then reluctantly turned his gaze away again. Meanwhile, the breathtaking image of Liu Yanqi flashed through his mind. Setting aside her face, her figure was truly perfect, curvaceous in all the right places, complemented by those snow-white legs. It was the body of a goddess from dreams. Seeing Wang Ting turn around, once more Liu Yanqi secretly breathed a sigh of relief. But the thought that her body had been seen by Wang Ting made her cheeks burn again, her heart skipping beats uncontrollably. You wicked husband, Liu Yanqi muttered with a rosy face, yet she couldn't help but feel a secret thrill knowing he had been captivated by her figure. At least there was something that would please my husband. Soon Liu Yushi cautiously extended her snow-white foot, once more testing the water this time. The temperature had finally become just right. Liu Yushi slowly submerged her entire body into the medicinal liquid. Though the tub held an unpleasant herbal aroma, she endured it for the sake of unblocking her meridians. Husband, I am ready. You may turn around now, Liu Yushi said softly, her face still flushed. She was completely bare, and although submerged in the bath, the water surface was clear enough that someone could still see beneath. Upon hearing his name, Wang Teng finally turned around. He saw that Liu Yushi had submerged nearly her entire body, leaving only her head above water, and even then she kept her hands protectively over her chest. You are submerged too deeply for me to administer the needles. Please sit up slightly, so I can reach the acupoints, Wang Teng said helplessly. It was impossible to needle her while she was so deep. Very well. Liu Yushi replied, weakly blushing, and slowly began to rise from the water. Her milk-smooth skin and alluring figure were once again exposed before Wang Teng. Even with her arms crossed over her chest, she remained irresistibly tempting. Truly her figure was too exquisite. However, this time Wang Teng did not indulge in idle admiration, but instead steeled his focus with determination. He then took out a cloth bundle from his person and opened it to reveal rows of densely arranged silver needles, the same ones Liu Yushi had retrieved from the medical room that morning, which Wang Teng had conveniently kept. Plucking out a single needle, he slowly approached Liu Yushi. Seeing Wang Teng standing before her, Liu Yushi felt her face grow hot and her heart race wildly. She both feared his advances and secretly hoped he would remain enchanted by her. Such a complicated state of mind. Liu Yushi simply closed her eyes, out of sight, out of mind. As for her body, she could only leave it to her husband to see. Besides, they would marry in a few days, at which point she would have to show him anyway. Wang Teng noticed Liu Yushi's eyes were closed and skillfully inserted the silver needle into a major acupoint on one of her meridians. With the poison-dispelling needles from earlier that day, he felt much more practiced now. After the first needle came the second, then the third. Each time Wang Teng inserted a needle, he channeled his spiritual, it infusing Liu Yushi's body with power. By the time he finished, sweat beaded across Wang Teng's forehead. After treating the upper body, he needed to proceed to the lower half. The human body possesses 8 martial meridians. Only by needling every acupoint upon all 8 could the blockages be fully cleared. Treating the upper body was manageable. He could simply stand outside the tub, but treating the lower half required him to enter the water. The difficulty increased not only in skill but also in mental fortitude, given his wife's irresistible figure. Madam, I must now needle the lower part of your body. Please endure it for a moment, Wang Teng said after a moment's thought. How does the lower body need needles too? Liu Yushi's heart rate accelerated once more, her face crimson to the roots of her ears. Her lower body was equally bare. If he needled there, he would surely see her most private places. Yes, all 8 martial meridians are blocked in your body, so every acupoint must be treated or the blockage cannot be cleared. Wang Teng swallowed hard as he explained. All right, then go ahead. After a moment's hesitation, Liu Yushi closed her eyes and steeled her resolve. In the end, Wang Teng would be her husband anyway. Let him look. It did not matter, as sooner or later she would belong to him. Yet despite this reasoning, Liu Yushi's heart still trembled with both shyness and a faint unacknowledged anticipation. Seeing Liu Yushi close her eyes, Wang Teng took a deep breath and fully clothed stepped into the wooden tub. Then he retrieved his needles and began treating the lower half of her body. Though the tub was steeped with herbs, visibility beneath the water was still adequate. Liu Yushi's 2 bare thighs crossed beneath the water were clearly visible, yet Wang Teng had no energy to admire her beauty. His focus was entirely upon the needling. Liu Yushi could clearly feel Wang Teng inserting the needles beneath the water, a strange sensation blooming within her heart. Both shy and nervous, with a trace of anticipation woven through, she could not quite identify what she awaited. After roughly the time it takes to drink a cup of tea, Wang Teng had finished needling all the acupoints along Liu Yushi's lower body meridians. He then rose from beneath the water and took a deep breath to steady his composure. The images from underwater had been quite unsettling, but fortunately, he had held firm. Yet this entire process had left Wang Teng thoroughly exhausted and significantly depleted of his spiritual energy. A total of 38 needles. Using the great derivation needle technique combined with the specially prepared medicinal bath should be sufficient to unblock the meridians in my madam's body, Wang Teng said as he stepped out of the tub, then sat quietly to wait. However, during the latter half of the night, Liu Yushi suddenly felt deeply uncomfortable, especially a burning sensation on her face. Husband, my face feels so hot, I feel terrible. Sweat beaded on Liu Yushi's forehead as the heat on her face made her suffer. It was as though a furnace burned upon her features. A hot face. That is impossible. The great derivation needle technique and medicinal bath should have no such side effects. Wang Teng frowned in confusion, but quickly hurried over. Let me check for you. Curiosity getting the better of him, Wang Teng carefully lifted the white veil covering Liu Yushi's face. The moment it was raised, he was utterly stunned. As the white veil was lifted, Wang Teng was startled to see the red birthmarks on Liu Yushi's lovely face glowing with a crimson light. This was precisely the cause of the burning heat on her face. How could this be? Wang Teng was utterly shocked by the sight. It was his first time witnessing a birthmark emit light. My wife, has the birthmark on your face ever glowed red like this before? No. Is the birthmark on my face really glowing red? Liu Yinshi shook her head, asking with a look of astonishment and doubt. Yes. And it even exudes a trace of a mysterious aura. Wang Teng frowned, increasingly sensing that this birthmark on Liu Yinshi's face was far from ordinary. Is that so? Husband, I feel very unwell right now. The places where your silver needles are inserted hurt terribly. As Liu Yinshi spoke, her face suddenly grew exceedingly pale. Then a sweet sensation welled up in her throat, and a mouthful of crimson blood splattered from her mouth. This startled Wang Teng greatly. He immediately grabbed Liu Yinshi's hand to check her pulse. This pulse reading shocked him once again. The internal qi is in complete disarray. The attempt to force open the acupoints failed, resulting in a backlash from the energy of the Dian needle technique. How is this possible? Even the Dian needle technique, combined with the medicinal bath, couldn't clear my wife's meridians. At this moment, Wang Teng's face was filled with utter disbelief. The Dian needle technique was a miraculous method passed down for over 10,000 years, possessing miraculous efficacy in clearing meridians, yet it had failed when applied to Liu Yinshi. This was truly a 1 in a million anomaly. Why did this happen? Wang Teng was completely baffled, but he secretly speculated that this was highly likely related to the red birthmark on Liu Yinshi's face. He even suspected that this was not a birthmark at all, but rather a rune. From the Crown Prince's memories, Wang Teng had retrieved some information regarding runes. But now was not the time to worry about this. He had to stop the medicinal bath and acupuncture immediately, otherwise the chaotic flow of spiritual energy inside her body would cause her to explode. With this thought, Wang Teng hastily withdrew the silver needles from Liu Yinshi's body, lifted her out of the wooden tub, placed her onto the bed immediately, and tucked her in under the blanket. Without the Dian needle technique and the medicinal bath, Liu Yinshi's body quickly felt much better. Her face stopped burning, and the birthmark quieted down, no longer emitting the red glow. Seeing this, Wang Teng secretly breathed a sigh of relief, thinking of how close a call it had been. My wife, do you feel any better now? Wang Teng asked, his face filled with deep concern. I feel much better now, and my face is no longer hot, Liu Yinshi said rather weakly. Then you must rest well tonight, and not think about anything. Wang Teng gently caressed Liu Yinshi's head, his eyes filled with tenderness and heartache. At the same time, he felt a wave of self-reproach. Had he not tried to be overly clever, she would not have had to suffer this pain. Yes. It is almost midnight. Husband, you should go rest too. You have been busy the entire night for my sake, Liu Yinshi said considerately. Although she knew that the attempt to clear her meridians had failed, she did not blame Wang Teng at all, choosing instead to comfort him. Holding her hand, Wang Teng felt deeply moved. With a wife like this, what more could a man ask for? However, Wang Teng did not go to rest. Instead, he stayed by Liu Yinshi's side, only standing up again after she had fallen fast asleep. Looking at the red birthmark on Liu Yinshi's face, Wang Teng suspected for the first time that this red birthmark was far from simple. However, with his current abilities and scope of knowledge, he could not fathom the exact situation. As midnight approached, Wang Teng walked over to the wooden tub. It would be a waste to pour out such a large tub of medicinal bath. I might as well sit inside and cultivate. Saying this, Wang Teng retrieved the rewarded spirit accumulation pill from his system space and swallowed it without hesitation. After consuming the pill, he stripped off his clothes and quickly stepped into the large wooden tub. Every herb in the tub was beneficial to cultivation. Although this medicinal bath was formulated to clear meridians, cultivating while immersed in it could accelerate the flow of spiritual energy within the meridians. Thus, cultivating inside could also vastly accelerate his progress. Sitting cross-legged, Wang Teng closed his eyes and began to cultivate. Furthermore, the results of his cultivation were even better than he had anticipated. The speed of the spiritual energy circulating within his meridians was actually twice as fast as usual. This discovery filled Wang Teng with secret delight. Excellent. I shall use medicinal baths to assist my cultivation in the future. This will double my cultivation speed. Wang Teng had not expected that while the attempt to clear his wife's meridians had failed, he would accidentally discover this miraculous cultivation method, which yielded surprisingly superb results. Early the next morning, inside the headquarters of the Heishan gang, Tang Hong was sleeping soundly with a young woman in his arms when a subordinate rushed in a panic. Second Chief, disaster has struck. Disaster has struck, the subordinate cried out loudly as he ran. Awakened by the noise, Tang Hong sat up in bed, his face filled with displeasure. What are you shouting about so early in the morning? Disturbing my sleep. Do you want me to hack you to pieces, eh? Tang Hong roared in displeasure. The subordinate trembled in fear and reported submissively. Second chief, the Grand Elder. He is dead. What? The Grand Elder is dead. Tang Hong was instantly jolted awake, and he barked out questions at the subordinate. How did the Grand Elder die? Didn't he go to poison the Liu family? How could he possibly be dead? Tang Hong found it hard to believe. In the past, whenever the Grand Elder took action, no opponent could escape his poison. Yet this time he had failed. How could Tang Hong believe this? Not a single soul from the Liu family died. Instead, the Grand Elder was killed by them. His corpse was thrown into the mass grave outside the city by the Liu family and has been gnawed on by wild dogs. The subordinate said tremulously. Upon hearing this, Tang Hong stumbled in shock, unable to react for a long time. How did the Liu family become so formidable? Even the Grand Elder died at their hands. Tang Hong was completely baffled. One must know that ever since the Grand Elder joined their Heishan gang, he had never once failed. Now he had actually perished at the hands of the Liu family, which was truly unexpected. The Liu family must have a powerful expert backing them. Second chief, should we notify the Xiliu sect or the city lord of Qiqing to deal with the Liu family? The subordinate could not help but suggest. This time Tang Hong was truly anxious. Their attempts to deal with the Liu family had been thwarted 3 consecutive times. If they acted rashly now, they would lose the entire foundation of the Heishan bandits. Do not notify the Xiliu sect or the others just yet. Asking for their help will surely cost us an arm and a leg. Tang Hong knew all too well that those ruthless hypocrites of the Xiliu sect would never help without extracting a massive price. However, they could not leave the Liu family alone. After pacing and pondering for a moment, Tang Hong spoke. Big Brother will emerge from seclusion in a few days. Once he does, his strength will break through to the adept realm. By then, even if the Liu family has a master protecting them in secret, it will be useless. Tang Hong dared not act rashly anymore. The strength of the Liu family had completely exceeded his expectations. Now he could only wait for his elder brother to emerge from seclusion before taking action. Tang Hong believed that once his elder brother emerged with his adept realm cultivation, he would sweep through the Liu family, and no one would be able to stand in his way. Ever since experiencing the benefits of cultivating with the medicinal bath, Wang Tung spent the next few days using it to assist his cultivation. In just 3 days he progressed from the mid-stage Grandmaster realm to the Great Circle, only 1 step away from the adept realm. This filled Wang Tung with joy, but the bad news was that the herbs he had purchased were completely used up. If he wanted to continue soaking in the medicinal bath, he would have to buy more herbs. Thus Wang Tung thought of visiting Old Man Yang again, as his place had all kinds of herbs. This time Wang Tung planned to prepare a medicinal bath specifically for cultivation, which would further accelerate his cultivation speed. With more and more crises looming, Wang Tung had to constantly elevate his cultivation. A carriage traveled from the south of the city toward the north as Liu Yinshi accompanied Wang Tung to Old Man Yang's shop to purchase herbs. Along the way, Liu Yinshi chatted happily with Wang Tung. Ever since that night when Wang Tung had seen her body, she had grown increasingly intimate with him. Husband, we are getting married the day after tomorrow. Do you think it is better to set up our bridal chamber at your place or mine? Liu Yinshi asked, her eyes filled with anticipation. Either is fine. Wherever my wife prefers, we shall arrange the bridal chamber there. Wang Tung's lips curved slightly upward. At the thought of marrying Liu Yinshi the day after tomorrow, his heart also fluttered with excitement. Then after we buy the herbs, let's go purchase some new household items. After all, we will need many things once we are married. Liu Yinshi said happily. All right, I will accompany you. Wang Tung replied with a smile, his eyes filled with nothing but Liu Yinshi looking like a young man deeply in love. By the way, my wife, how many children shall we have after we marry? Speaking of this, Liu Yinshi's face flushed red, and she scolded coyly. How annoying, who wants to have children with you? Although she said this, her heart harbored a trace of anticipation of having children with Wang Tung, even planning to have twins in the future. A boy and a girl would be perfect. The two chatted as they traveled, the atmosphere warm and beautiful. However, when they arrived at the northern part of the city, Old Man Yang's apothecary was closed with a note pasted on the door that read, "Out gathering herbs, return date uncertain." Wang Tung felt a pang of disappointment. He had finally found a shortcut to cultivation through medicinal baths, and now it was suddenly cut short. He could only return and find another way. However, since they were already out, Wang Tung did not want it to be a wasted trip, so he said to Liu Yinshi, "My wife, since we are already out, let's buy some things we will need after our wedding." Sure. Liu Yinshi was quite delighted. Yet just as she finished speaking, a woman's cry for help echoed from the street opposite them. Wang Tung focused his vision and looked over, only to find a white-haired old man clutching a young woman running at an extremely high speed. The white-haired old man's footwork was erratic and highly bizarre. Ordinary people could not possibly catch up to him. Seeing the white-haired old man, Liu Yinshi's face turned slightly pale with fright. It is the white-haired old demon. The white-haired old demon. Hearing this name, Wang Tung suddenly remembered something. Wasn't this one of the 3 tasks Han Yen had given him? To capture the white-haired old demon and hand him over to her. Yes, I saw a notice offering a huge bounty for the capture of this white-haired old demon near the city gates earlier. Liu Yanxi leaned closer to Wang Teng nervously. The appearance of the white-haired old demon was truly terrifying. Just as she finished speaking, the voice of the system echoed in Wang Teng's mind once again. Ding! Congratulations to the host for triggering a new quest. Option 1. Capture the white-haired old demon. Reward: Adept Realm Breakthrough Pill. Option 2. Pretend not to see and let the white-haired old demon escape. Reward: 10 Spirit Accumulation Pills. Wang Teng was overjoyed to see that the system offered a Xiliu Realm Breakthrough Pill as a reward. Originally, he was disappointed at being unable to purchase the herbs for his medicinal bath, but to his surprise the system had turned around and presented him with an opportunity for a breakthrough. How could he possibly miss out on this? Although 10 Spirit Gathering Pills were also excellent, they were far less useful to him than a Xiliu Realm Breakthrough Pill. The former still required him to expend time and effort in cultivation and comprehension, whereas the latter would allow him to break through in an instant. Even a fool would know which choice to make. Wang Teng immediately selected the first option. Ding! Congratulations to the host on a successful selection. The reward will be distributed once the host successfully captures the white-haired old demon. To think I actually have to capture the white-haired old demon before it's distributed. Wang Teng secretly sighed at the system's scheming. However, he had no choice at the moment. Watching the white-haired old demon charge in his direction while clutching a young girl, he turned his head and spoke to Liu Yanxi. My lady, hide to the side. I shall go and capture that white-haired old demon. Leaving behind these words, Wang Teng activated his shadowless steps and gave chase, heading directly toward the white-haired old demon. Husband, be careful. Liu Yanxi called out with a face full of worry toward Wang Teng's retreating figure before quickly hiding to the side. Although the white-haired old demon was clutching a young woman, his speed was incredibly swift. The pursuers behind him could not keep up at all, though instead the distance between them only grew wider. Hell, wishing to catch up to me, the white-haired old demon. What utter wishful thinking. The white-haired old demon smiled triumphantly, then looked down at the quite attractive woman in his grasp. His heart bloomed with joy. Today, he would once again be able to properly absorb Yin to supplement his yang. Indeed, this white-haired old demon practiced an evil technique. To survive, he had to abduct a woman every month to absorb Yin and supplement yang, thereby extending his lifespan. Consequently, he was a notorious fiend hunted by numerous factions. Although his strength was merely at the great perfection of the Grandmaster realm, his escape skills were top tier and his movement techniques were incredibly bizarre. Even experts of the Xiliu realm were unable to capture him. Of course, not all factions pursued him to uphold justice. Just as the white-haired old demon believed he had escaped to safety, a handsome figure abruptly blocked his path. White-haired old demon, you cannot escape today. Surrender without a fight, Wang Teng said coldly. The white-haired old demon was greatly astonished to see a figure suddenly appear and block his path, for it was difficult for ordinary people to even match his movement speed, let alone intercept him. Young master, save me. The young woman in the white-haired old demon's grasp cried out for help immediately upon seeing Wang Teng, as though she had spotted her savior. However, she was promptly knocked unconscious by a strike from the white-haired old demon, who then directed a sharp, fierce gaze at Wang Teng. Who are you? How dare you block my path? A bone saber suddenly appeared in the white-haired old demon's other hand, gleaming with a cold, menacing light. The one who is here to capture you. A cold smirk curled on Wang Teng's lips as the wind spirit sword appeared in his hand. You think you can capture me? Catch up to me first. With those words, the white-haired old demon casually slashed twice at Wang Teng. Instantly, 2 arcs of saber chi surged directly toward Wang Teng, and after unleashing these strikes, the white-haired old demon took off once again. Taking a single step, the white-haired old demon's entire body vanished from the spot like a gust of wind. When he reappeared, he was already atop the roof of a nearby shop. He continued to flee forward at extreme speed. Having easily dodged the 2 arcs of saber chi, Wang Teng did not hesitate for a second. He activated his shadowless steps, once more giving chase at an even greater speed. The white-haired old demon instinctively looked back, and upon seeing Wang Teng catching up, he was thoroughly horrified. How is this possible? This brat's speed is actually faster than mine. The white-haired old demon was indeed shocked to the core at this moment. The movement technique he employed was the wind-walking steps, which could increase his movement speed 3-fold or 4-fold. Yet Wang Teng's speed was even faster, which defied all his expectations. Left with no choice, the white-haired old demon gripped his bone saber tightly, spun around, and slashed rapidly at Wang Teng, unleashing several strikes in quick succession. With each slash, a fierce arc of saber chi surged directly toward Wang Teng at blinding speed, arriving before his eyes in the blink of an eye. However, with a simple sidestep, Wang Teng easily evaded every single strike. Seeing Wang Teng evade his saber chi attacks so effortlessly, the white-haired old demon was struck by horror once more. How can this kid be so formidable? Shocked to his core, the white-haired old demon instinctively quickened his pace. You cannot escape from my grasp. A slight smile played on the corner of Wang Tung's lips. The spiritual energy within him surged, and after locking onto the white-haired old demon's aura, he threw out a heavy palm strike with his right hand. Dragon Prisoning Palm. Instantly, an invisible palm condensed from spiritual energy lunged toward the white-haired old demon with lightning speed. Sensing danger, the latter desperately utilized his wind-walking steps, dodging left and right in an attempt to evade the incoming palm. However, Wang Tung's dragon prisoning palm had locked onto the white-haired old demon's aura. No matter how he dodged or leaped, it was all in vain. Like a homing missile, the dragon prisoning palm seized the white-haired old demon in the blink of an eye. How is this possible? What is this thing? I actually can't move my body. The white-haired old demon felt his body seized by some invisible force that rendered him completely immobile, throwing him into utter panic. In his desperation, he dropped the young girl in his arms and struggled frantically, attempting to break free from the invisible restraint with brute force. Yet all his efforts were futile. Wang Tung's dragon prisoning palm was an earth-grade technique. Given that their strengths were on par, it was absolutely impossible for the white-haired old demon to break free. Yet he had no intention of giving up. He mobilized all the spiritual energy in his body to impact the dragon prisoning palm, but reality quickly taught him that escape was impossible. The more he struggled, the tighter the restraint became. White-haired old demon, you cannot escape. Surrender quietly. A slight smile curved on Wang Tung's lips. He quickened his shadowless steps, appearing right in front of the white-haired old demon in the blink of an eye. Who on earth are you? What method did you use to restrain me? The white-haired old demon demanded in exasperation. I already told you I am here to capture you. As for what is restraining you, it is my dragon prisoning palm. Just as Wang Tung finished speaking, the system's voice resounded in his mind almost simultaneously. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully capturing the white-haired old demon. You have been rewarded with one Xiliu Realm Breakthrough Pill, which has been placed in the system space. Seeing the Xiliu Realm Breakthrough Pill secured, Wang Tung was delighted, knowing he could break through to the Xiliu Realm upon his return. Brother, I don't want this woman anymore. I'll give her to you, and I will also give you 50,000 taels of silver. Can you please let me go? The white-haired old demon assumed that Wang Tung had come to capture him for the bounty, so he attempted to bribe him with a massive sum of money. 50,000 taels of silver. Wang Tung had not expected the white-haired old demon to be so generous. If you think that's not enough, I can increase it to 100,000 taels. This is 10 times higher than the bounty posted at the city gates. Believing Wang Tung thought the amount was too small, the white-haired old demon steeled his heart and raised it straight to 100,000 taels. The high bounty for him at the city gates was only 10,000 taels, and he was now offering 100,000, which was exactly 10 times the bounty. This showed just how terrified of death the white-haired old demon was, otherwise he would not have resorted to the cruel method of absorbing yin to supplement yang to forcibly prolong his life. But I do not want money. A slight smirk played on Wang Tung's lips. He truly was not doing this for money, but rather to complete the mission Han Yin had given him. However, in the ears of the white-haired old demon, these words carried a different meaning. Could it be that you are also capturing me for that secret? The white-haired old demon thought of something and suddenly spoke up to test him. That secret? Wang Tung's interest was suddenly piqued. Could it be that so many people were trying to capture the white-haired old demon for some other purpose? Wang Tung even began to suspect that the Xiliu Pavilion wanted to capture the white-haired old demon precisely for the secret he mentioned. He did not believe for a second that the Xiliu Pavilion would capture the demon for a meager bounty or to uphold justice. Furthermore, the Xiliu Pavilion was renowned throughout the world for its intelligence and information. The secret in the white-haired old demon's mouth was what they truly desired. The more Wang Tung thought about it, the more he felt his suspicion was correct. He then replied to the white-haired old demon in a probing manner, "Indeed. If you can reveal that secret to me, I might consider letting you go this once." Is that true? The white-haired old demon was somewhat swayed. There were so many people in the martial world hunting him down, and it was not entirely to slay demons or claim the bounty, but because the white-haired old demon knew a secret that was completely unknown to the rest of the world. Of course it's true. Wang Tung nodded and replied, "But I have little patience. I'll give you only 5 seconds to consider." Upon seeing Wang Tung agree, a faint glimmer of hope for escape arose in the white-haired demonic cultivator's heart. After hesitating for a moment, he said to Wang Tung, "This secret concerns the struggle for fortune." The struggle for fortune? Wang Tung furrowed his brows. He seemed to have heard about this matter from Han Yin. Wasn't it simply several princes competing for the imperial throne? Could there be some hidden secret involved? Correct. Every 1,000 years the great Xia Wu dynasty holds a struggle for fortune. Ostensibly, it is several princes vying for the throne, but in truth cultivation sects across the realm seize the opportunity to contest for fortune. The victorious faction will receive the blessing of fortune from the great Xiaowu dynasty. At that time, whether in cultivation ascension or lifespan, all will be greatly enhanced. The white-haired demonic cultivator narrated truthfully. Wang Tong was slightly astonished upon hearing this. He had not expected the struggle for fortune to occur every millennium, with even cultivation sects entering the fray. In that case, wouldn't those princes merely be pawns for the cultivation sects in their contest for fortune? Wang Tong furrowed his brows and quickly grasped the implication. No wonder the Xiliu pavilion had actively sought him out, employing all manner of temptations, even resorting to beauty traps. It was all to leverage him for the struggle for fortune. Naturally, how could princes possibly rival those major cultivation sects? They merely possess good fortune to sit upon the dragon throne of the great Xiaowu dynasty. The white-haired demonic cultivator pondered for a moment before speaking. Wang Ting nodded, gaining a more comprehensive understanding of the so-called struggle for fortune. However, the Xiliu pavilion should already be well aware of such information, otherwise they would not have proactively come to Wang Tong. What they wished to extract from the white-haired demonic cultivator undoubtedly extended beyond this. He then turned to the white-haired demonic cultivator and said, "Very well. You may now reveal that secret concerning the struggle for fortune. Lean closer, and I shall tell you." Upon mentioning the secret, the white-haired demonic cultivator became exceedingly cautious. Wang Ting did not hesitate and tilted his head to the side. The white-haired demonic cultivator whispered a few words into Wang Tung's ear. Upon hearing this secret, Wang Tung's face registered sheer astonishment. He had never imagined there existed such a hidden element within the struggle for fortune. "All right, brother. I've told you the secret. You can release me now, right?" The white-haired demonic cultivator pleaded tearfully. His body remained bound by the imprisoning dragon palm, rendering him completely immobile. "No problem. I said I would let you go once, and I shall honor that." Wang Tung retracted the imprisoning dragon palm and continued speaking to the white-haired demonic cultivator. "Very well, I have released you. I allow you to run for a while first." "What do you mean?" asked the white-haired demonic cultivator in shock and suspicion. "I agreed to release you once, but I never said I wouldn't catch you again." A slight smile played on Wang Tung's lips. "You?" The white-haired demonic cultivator was so furious he nearly spat blood. "I'll count to 10, and then I'll resume the chase." Wang Tung ignored the white-haired demonic cultivator and began counting aloud. Hearing this, the white-haired demonic cultivator dared not hesitate and immediately summoned his spiritual energy to sprint forward. Wang Tung watched the white-haired demonic cultivator flee, but made no move to pursue immediately. Instead, he waited until he finished counting to 10 before beginning his pursuit. Seeing Wang Tung close in again, the white-haired demonic cultivator cursed him under his breath for breaking his word. He pushed the Windwalker technique to its maximum, yet he still could not outpace Wang Tung's shadowless step. "Completely disregarding your word." The white-haired demonic cultivator gripped his white bone blade tightly and swung it backwards several times in succession, sending crescent-shaped blade chi upon crescent-shaped blade chi toward Wang Tung. With the shadowless step activated, Wang Tung's movement speed reached 5 times his normal pace, allowing him to effortlessly dodge the incoming blade chi. After several swift maneuvers, he once again closed the distance to the white-haired demonic cultivator. Imprisoning dragon palm. Wang Tung roared and once again unleashed this earth-grade palm technique. With the imprisoning dragon palm activated, all attempts at escape by the white-haired demonic cultivator proved futile, and he was swiftly captured by Wang Tung once more. Captured once again, the white-haired demonic cultivator could not resist cursing Wang Tung bitterly. "Despicable and shameless, breaking your word." To anger a shameless, licentious demon to such an extent, only Wang Tung could accomplish it. "I have not broken my word. I said I would release you once, and I even gave you 10 seconds to flee. But you failed to take advantage of it. What can I do?" Wang Tung's lips curved slightly upward. "I was a fool to believe you." The white-haired demonic cultivator's face turned ashen with rage. "Being caught by me is actually the better outcome. If you had fallen into others' hands, you would have lost your life. You should feel fortunate it was me who captured you." Wang Ting seized him and began running back. Liu Yinxi was waiting for him, and the other rescued woman appeared to still be unconscious on someone's rooftop. "If I had known, I wouldn't have told you that secret. You son of a..." The white-haired demonic cultivator was so furious he wanted to curse Wang Tung's ancestors for 18 generations, but Wang Ting struck him with a palm blow before he could finish. "You talk too much. Don't you know that villains die from their verbosity?" Wang Tung silently shook his head at him. After knocking the white-haired demonic cultivator unconscious, Wang Tung returned and rescued the woman who had fainted on the rooftop, then made his way back. Liu Yinxi had been deeply worried about Wang Tung's safety, so she was relieved to see him return unharmed. "Husband, are you all right? That white-haired demonic cultivator didn't injure you, did he?" Liu Yinxi asked anxiously as soon as she saw him. "With his limited strength, he could never harm me. Instead, he ended up captured by me." As Wang Tung spoke, he tossed the unconscious white-haired demonic cultivator to the ground. Meanwhile, the rescued girl in his other hand slowly regained consciousness. She wore a pink silk dress and appeared quite young, perhaps 17 or 18 years old, with a delicate and pretty face. An exquisite pearl hairpin adorned her hair, clearly marking her as a daughter of a wealthy family. Was I rescued? The girl shook her head dazedly as she gradually became fully conscious. Yes, I've captured the white-haired demonic cultivator. You can safely go home now, Wang Tong comforted her. Only then did the girl turn her attention to Wang Tong. Upon seeing his handsome features, a subtle brightness ignited in her gentle eyes. Thank you, young master, for saving my life. This humble one has nothing to offer in return, and so I pledge myself to you entirely. This perfectly embodied the saying, those who are beautiful offer themselves in marriage, while those who are plain must serve as beasts of burden in their next life to repay the kindness. Wang Tong himself was startled by her bold declaration. He never imagined young women nowadays would be so daring, offering themselves in marriage simply because he had saved her life. Liu Yanxi felt a pang of jealousy watching another girl indirectly confess to her husband. She promptly walked over and affectionately linked her arm through Wang Tang's. Little sister, my husband saved you purely out of a sense of justice. There is no need for you to offer yourself in marriage to repay him. Moreover, he already has a fiancée. Wang Tong had not expected Liu Yanxi to show jealousy, yet he felt secretly pleased. Jealousy indicated she cared for him. Upon hearing this, Lin Xingyuan felt a wave of hidden disappointment. She had briefly believed she had encountered her destined prince. Young master, may I ask your name? I wish to repay you generously in the future, Lin Xingyuan pressed. My name is Wang Tong. There is no need for you to repay me. You should return home early as well. Your parents must be deeply concerned. I have matters to attend to, so I must take my leave. As Wang Tong spoke, he tossed the unconscious white-haired demonic cultivator into the carriage. He then helped Liu Yanxi aboard, preparing to deliver the captive to Han Yan. Of the 3 tasks assigned by the Xiliu Pavilion, Wang Tong had finally completed one. On the 3rd floor of the Yinyu Tower, Han Yan, the pavilion master of the Xiliu Pavilion, sat in her chamber, playing the zither with an air of elegant leisure. The music was melodious and ethereal, lingering in the air and intoxicating the soul. As the song concluded, the lingering melody vibrated within the heart, for a long time rich with profound charm. Senior sister, your zither playing is becoming more and more exquisite. Junior sister Chu Ruo pushed open the door and entered. You have arrived. Is there any news from the crown prince's side? Han Yan stilled her fingers on the strings and asked, raising her brows. He has been busy preparing for his wedding lately. He goes everywhere with his ugly wife, and they are incredibly affectionate. Chu Ruo glanced at Han Yan intentionally or otherwise, wishing to observe her senior sister's reaction. Sure enough, upon hearing these words, Han Yan knit her willow-like brows slightly. As the Grand Crown Prince, instead of striving for the throne, he only cares about romantic affairs, and with an ugly woman who has no power, influence, or background. Han Yan's words carried a faint trace of jealousy and resentment. To think that she, the illustrious pavilion master of the Xiliu Pavilion, renowned throughout the world and possessing devastating beauty, had suitors who could encircle Qiqing 100 times over, yet Wang Tong did not care for her at all. This left Han Yan somewhat indignant. Senior sister, why does it sound to me like you are a bit jealous? Chu Ruo teased. Me jealous? You are overthinking. Han Yan's face was frosty, devoid of any emotion. All right, perhaps I really did overthink it. Chu Ruo shrugged. Just then a waiter rushed and bowed and reported. Pavilion master, young master Wang Tong requests an audience outside. Hearing that the crown prince had come to see her, Han Yan's heart stirred slightly, but on the surface she remained as calm as a still well and asked, did he say what he wants? No, but he is holding the white-haired old demon in his hand, the waiter replied after a moment's thought. The white-haired old demon. Han Yan and Chu Ruo were both utterly astonished. They had pursued the white-haired old demon for a long time, and he had escaped them repeatedly. Even experts of the perfected realm could not capture him, yet the crown prince, who was only in the grandmaster realm, had actually caught him. This was indeed beyond their expectations. Furthermore, upon hearing that the crown prince had captured the white-haired old demon, Han Yan felt a secret sense of gratification in her heart. At least the crown prince still remembered her to some extent. Let him in. Han Yan parted her red lips and said, yes, pavilion master. The waiter complied and withdrew. After the waiter left, Chu Ruo knit her delicate brows and said in surprise, senior sister, the crown prince is only in the grandmaster realm, yet he actually captured the white-haired old demon. This is simply miraculous. You know, we sent so many disciples to capture him before, including experts of the perfected realm, and he managed to escape every single one of them. The crown prince is no longer the man he used to be. There must be a supreme expert training him in the shadows, otherwise he could not have made such rapid progress, and even captured the white-haired old demon. Han Yan speculated silently. Doesn't that mean someone has beaten us to it? Chu Ruo exclaimed in shock. That is highly possible. Although the third prince has already secured a dominant position, the crown prince is still alive, which means there is still hope for a turnaround. Moreover, he still holds the legitimate title, so it is not surprising that powerful experts have their eyes on him. Han Yan analyzed once more. In that case, we must accelerate our actions. Otherwise, if the crown prince rises before we secure a significant say, the providence we receive will be meager. Chu Ruo suddenly grew somewhat anxious. Han Yan was actually quite anxious as well. Before their departure, their master had specifically instructed them to assist the crown prince, but they could not agree too easily, lest the crown prince deem the Xiliu pavilion cheap. Furthermore, Han Yan had her own selfish motives. She wanted to become the crown princess and eventually the empress who ruled over the world. Once she became the empress, her status would not only elevate, but she would also receive a massive share of providence to aid her cultivation. However, the appearance of the ugly girl from the Liu family had completely disrupted Han Yan's personal plans. Junior sister, go out for now. I wish to speak with the crown prince alone. Han Yan dismissed her junior sister Chu Ruo. With only 2 days left before the crown prince's wedding, she had to employ some means to retain him. Otherwise, her dream of becoming empress might truly shatter, and losing to an ugly girl made her even more indignant. After Chu Ruo left, Han Yan changed into a slightly revealing dress, exposing her snowy white shoulders and alluring collarbones. She even intentionally lowered her neckline, revealing a hint of cleavage. In the past, Han Yan would have utterly disdained to seduce anyone with her beauty. But things were different now. The crown prince was getting married the day after tomorrow. If she did not dissuade him, now she might truly lose her chance forever. After changing her attire, Han Yan sat before her dressing table, meticulously applying rouge and lipstick. Having finished this, she ordered someone to bring a vessel of wine. Wine could stir the senses and enhance the atmosphere. Wang Tong went straight up to the third floor after being let in by the waiter, still clutching the unconscious white-haired old demon in his hand. As for Liu Yanxi, Wang Tong had her wait in the carriage. Young Master Wang, the pavilion master is waiting for you inside, the waiter said before bowing and departing. Pushing the door open, Wang Tong saw Han Yan waiting there. Compared to her initial dignified and cold demeanor, Han Yan now exuded a hint of sensuality and charm, possessing a touch more feminine allure. Her bare snowy white shoulders and the partially concealed cleavage exuded an intense temptation. Crown Prince, you have arrived. Han Yan smiled seductively, and with a wave of her hand shut the door. Pavilion Master Han, of the 3 tasks you assigned me last time, I have completed one. Here is the white-haired old demon. I shall leave him in your hands. Wang Tong said as he casually tossed the unconscious white-haired old demon onto the floor. The Crown Prince is truly becoming more and more enigmatic. We dispatched so many people, yet failed to capture this white-haired old demon. Who would have thought he would ultimately fall into your hands? As Han Yan spoke, she lifted the wine pot, poured a cup, and handed it to Wang Tong. She then poured another cup for herself, breathing like orchids as she spoke softly to him. Crown Prince, let me propose a toast to you. Furthermore, you may just call me Han Yan from now on. This was undoubtedly an overt attempt at seduction. However, Wang Tong remained perfectly composed, though he still accepted the cup from Han Yan and drank it in one gulp. Han Yan, I have delivered the white-haired old demon to you, and the wine has been drunk. I shall take my leave now. I will complete the remaining 2 tasks as soon as possible. With that, Wang Tong turned to leave. Seeing this, Han Yan steeled her heart and hugged him tightly from behind. Crown Prince, do not be in such a hurry to leave. Ever since I saw you that day, my heart has belonged to you. Won't you stay with me a little longer? Han Yan pleaded softly, determined to use her feminine wiles to make Wang Tong stay. Han Yan, my wife is still waiting for me in the carriage below. I must head back immediately. Wang Tong tried to pry Han Yan's hands open, but she only held him tighter. Crown Prince, I love you. I cannot bear to see you leave. Won't you stay? Han Yan could no longer care about anything else. She pressed her full breasts firmly against Wang Tong's back, wrapping her arms around him from behind to prevent him from leaving. Han Yan knew that if she let Wang Tong leave today, her chances would become incredibly slim.